A rematch of last year's elimination final between the Western Bulldogs and Essendon headlines Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Both sides struggling to chalk up wins after successful 2022 seasons, and with pressure mounting on coaches and selection. There's no shortage of talking points, and we know whoever's on the losing side this afternoon, the spotlight will shine brightest. Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport from Docklands on this Sunday afternoon. Corbin Middlemaster call the action alongside me with Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, your experts. We'll head straight down to the boundary, a chance to head straight inside the Western Bulldogs camp. Jess Webster, welcome to you.
Thanks, Clinchy. I've got Jason Johannesson with me. Firstly, we know how much you would love to be out there playing at the moment. How's the calf going, and how's your recovery going as well?
Yeah, definitely would love to be out there. But, just got to respect the injury, and progressing really well now. So looking forward to coming back and playing with the boys around round 10.
What's your perspective from the sidelines? How are the boys going, and what do you think needs to happen out there today to get a win on the board?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to our ball movement. If we use the ball well and kick our goals, I think it'll go a long way in winning the game, because defensively we've been pretty rock solid. So it's going to be up to the boys to use the ball well.
What do you make of the Bombers, and what do you think their strengths lie this afternoon?
Oh, definitely in their midfield, and I think they got a pretty young forward line, and I think Peter Wright did a lot of damage against us last year, so got to nullify that. But yeah, I think the midfield battle is going to be crucial today.
Jason Johannesson with us on Grandstand AFL. Let's head upstairs to the commentary box. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
JJ, Brett Delidio here. Welcome to the recurrent calf club, mate. It's not a great one to be in. I just want to ask you about it. Since your last one, have you stripped it right back with your training and that sort of thing? You're trying to build up slowly, or is it just more about getting the run into the legs and then hopefully it just doesn't go on you again?
Yeah, no, it was such an obnoxious injury because there was a corky in my shin that just bled into my calf, and I just tried to sprint and tore it. But tried to come back too quick, aggravated it again. But really took a step back, respected it, and making some good progress now.
Oh, that's good, mate. Another guy that's just come to your club, Timmy O'Brien. How have you seen him fitting in, playing some okay footy across half-back? Maybe good to see him start to really clunk some of those high-flying ones that we've seen over his past few years. Yeah,
definitely. I think that's one of his strengths, is his ability to read the ball and, take intercept marks, and I think it starts our ball movement. And, he's a pretty good user of the footy as well for a big man. So, he's going to be crucial again today, and, hopefully he can take some nice marks and start our ball movement.
JJ Murphy, mate. Saw Tom Liberatore play a bit more through the midfield last week. Bont playing a little bit more forward. Are we likely to see a bit more of that this week?
Yeah, definitely. I think, everyone knows Libba's strengths in the phone box, as a contested ball king, and, his ability to find, the outside players is elite. And obviously Bont, he can probably play any position on the ground, and, his ability to win one-on-ones forward of the ball is going to be crucial for us.
Jason Johannesson's with us on ABC Sport. Obviously a lot, JJ's been spoken about your scoring, sort of 4 of your 6 games, 75 points or less. So Marcus Bontempelli going forward, what have you tried to do at training? Just, you touched on the connection at the start of the interview, to try and improve that on match day.
Yeah, most of the things we've been reviewing is probably that connection between the mids and the forwards, a bit more chemistry, and I think the way we're going into our forward line hasn't been great in terms of kicking the ball to advantage to our forwards, and our forwards just can't get outmarked. Have to halve the contest at least and keep the ball in there and build some pressure with forward 50 stoppages, and that's going to be such a key part of the game, is the way we move the ball and give our forwards a chance.
Now, Josh Dunkley celebrates his 100th game this afternoon. I'm told he's made some additions to his house post-COVID. How would you rate that? Are you aware of that? He's added a gym and a sauna and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, Josh is an ultimate professional. He'll find anything or ways to improve, and he's taken his recovery to the next level. He's got sauna, spa, hot colds. He's got it all. I think he never invites the boys over, though.
I was going to say, is that as professional as it gets at the Dogs? Is he number one?
Yeah, him and probably Adam Treloar are right up there. They got, the compression boots. Yeah, you name it, they've got it. And I think they have the competition of, who's got the better brands of whatnot. So, but yeah, it's a credit to him. He, as I said, ultimate professional. And as you see, when he plays footy, he just goes hard at it. And he's so important for us.
He's off contract, Josh, at the end of the year. It looks like he was going to Essendon a couple of years ago, decided to stay. You mentioned Adam Treloar. All of a sudden, they're now best friends. Was that a little bit of a surprise for everyone at the Dogs? And what happened to Josh and Adam's former mates? Are they a little bit upset that all of a sudden they got squeezed out and there's this new bromance that's blossoming since then?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, their bromance. But I guess, what can you say? When you click with someone, and which they do, they absolutely click and they get along like a house on fire. And they do absolutely everything together. So, hopefully they can both play well and help us get the win.
Mate, speaking of bromances, I saw you and Jakey hugging it out there where you were talking to a few kids. What did the big fella have to say to you?
Oh, no, he's just checking in. He actually just had a baby girl a couple of weeks ago. So, just checking in with him and his family. And, it's good to see him back out playing because I think he was injured for a bit. And, hopefully he doesn't do too much damage against us tonight.
He would have been an ultimate professional like Joshy Dunkley, no doubt, when you lived with him.
No comment.
Jason Johannesen with us on Grandstand AFL. The other thing that's new this season is obviously the moustache that Luke Beveridge is rolling with. Obviously, your premiership coach, he's got it's not the Chopper Reid sort of handlebar moustache, but it has been observed that it seems to be getting a little bit smaller week after week. Have you got any update for us as to what on earth's going on there?
Yeah, maybe the stress of our ball movements, he's starting to lose some hair. But have you seen Bont today? I think Bont's rocking a moustache as well. So
wow.
Yeah, have a look out for that.
Okay.
The other thing is it's the 1,000th game here at this beautiful stadium with a roof at Docklands today. We've had some magical moments here over the years. Of course, AFLX comes to mind with the Rampage victory. Have you got anything, Jason, that particularly you look at this venue and you think, gee, I remember I was here that magical day?
I didn't obviously grow up in Perth, so I didn't come across here and watch many games in person, but probably my favourite moment here would probably be unfurling the flag in 2017. I think we did it here in round 2 or 3, so yeah, that was pretty special.
Did you get to wear the Thor jumper on this ground as well, round 1 a couple of years ago?
What jumper, sorry?
When you guys wore the Thor jumper that had the cape on the back of it?
No, I didn't play that game.
I
was sitting with Chris Hemsworth in the box.
Oh, there you go.
That would have been a cool night.
That's a win.
Righto, so what was that experience like? What did you chat to Thor about?
No, I'm only joking.
It was a better story. You should have run with it.
Run with it.
In terms of your best position, we've seen you used as a forward. Traditionally, you were a half-backer in your premiership year. I know that stock standard answer is you'll play wherever Luke Beveridge asks you to play, but where do you feel like your footy is at this stage of your career?
No, I think, last year I got sort of thrown playing forward and, had to learn a lot pretty quickly. And I think coming back in the pre-season was, a benefit for me to actually train in that position and feel more comfortable and confident in my ability to play that role. And, had a really strong pre-season and unfortunately got the injury. But, I'm going to play most of my footy this year up forward and, hopefully can make some impact when I get back.
And finally, on a serious note, obviously a challenging week for Mitch Wallace with the arrival of a new child, but the tragic news of his mother-in-law passing away, struck by a car. Bulldogs fans love seeing him so much out there in your colours. How's he doing?
Yeah, no, it's such a shame, but also with such happiness as well with the birth of their boy, and he's good, and hopefully he can have a really big day out and play really well and get us a win.
Jason, always a great chance to catch up with you. Good luck to the Dogs this afternoon and look forward to seeing you back on the park, hopefully around round 10.
No, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Jason Johannesen from the Western Bulldogs joining us on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. So Matt Klitsch and Corbin Middlemass to call the action. It's great to welcome Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy now formally. Now we've done our commitments downstairs. Welcome, Lids.
Thank you, Clinchy. Yeah, good to be here. We haven't been back at Marvel for a while, have we? We've been stuck at the G. Good to be back here, and I'm looking forward to this game. Two teams that really need a win, don't they? So it's going to be a interesting game. In my own opinion, I think the Dogs should, and they look better, but you never know when a team's up against it, where they can flick a switch and turn it on, hopefully, and that's what the Bombers will be hoping to do. Obviously, the big news of a good friend of mine, Dill Shield, being demoted to the sub, but a lot made of that, but we'll be interested to find out a bit more about that later, hopefully. But Yeah, good game. Good one to be at, to see who wants to come out on top and make the most, see if they can get their season up and going.
So no late changes for either side. The Bulldogs going down last week to Adelaide in Ballarat. They're 2-4, 11th on the ladder. And the Bombers obviously going down to Collingwood on Anzac Day. They're 1-5. So Josh Shackey and Dylan Shield, as Lyd mentioned, the medical sub. Mark Murphy, welcome to you. Great to see you, Murph.
Good to see you, Clinchy. I was just thinking about some of the highlights I've had on this ground, and probably one was winning the NAB Cup and doing a lap of honour, thinking like we'd won the actual premiership back in my second year, and I think it was Bryce Gibbs' first. We hadn't even played a game yet, but we won the NAB Cup, and we celebrated like we'd won the actual flag that year.
Was that in the old days when I think it was sponsored by Wizard, and it was the huge, big bowl that they had? It was almost like a...
There was Wizard, but then it went to NAB, I think.
Did it?
So it was the year before I got there, so it might have been Lids' first year that played for the Wizard Cup.
Yeah.
And I think the boys celebrated for 2 years before I got there, and then we were lucky enough to win the prestigious award. I'm a nighttime premiership player,
correct,
obviously. So it brings back some great memories being up here. But I actually got lost on the way coming to the box here as well. So looking forward to calling today's game here at Marvel Stadium.
1,000 games.
Yeah, there's that famous one, isn't there, of Grant Thomas and Lenny Hayes.
Yeah,
It's almost like they're both at a funeral, refusing to smile, and as if this means nothing until the season starts. You're trying to chalk up some of your favourite Docklands memories.
I mean, the grounds had, obviously, various other events. Interesting to note that the highest attendances for games here, I was going to do this as part of our game show today, but I tried to make the questions a little easier on Grandstand AFL Sunday. But a lot of them aren't for footy because of the dimensions of the ground. So it's usually when you can have people actually on the playing arena. So concerts, when the Pope visited, they had the
darts,
the darts, the wrestling, the UFC is usually sort of polling. It's pretty high up on attendances, but. It's had a fair few footy moments, and 1,000 games is a lot of footy, isn't it, since the first one between Essendon and Port Adelaide back in 2001. And even these two teams have had a number of interesting moments. Of course, in 2000, the Bombers had... 2000 was the first game here, and then later that season, the Western Bulldogs were the only team to beat Essendon that season to stop their perfect year. And Gary Moorcroft's mark, which you touched on.
I was here, actually.
You were here that night?
Yeah, young country kid come down, and then my older cousin, brought me along, and I was sitting... Which end was it? I can't remember.
It's to our right.
Yeah, to our right as we're sitting here. And I was sitting right at the top deck, but right behind it. I just remember looking straight down on it. It was one of the biggest marks of all time. I always tried to emulate that on my brother every chance I got around the house after that. It was huge.
Buddy kicked his 100 goals in a year, obviously back in 2008, and ultimately Murph... Big Fevlution falling just one short.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be out there on that day. It wasn't great for the Blues. We got done by probably 10 or 12 goals. Probably the usual story against the Hawks during that period. But Buddy kicking the 100, and then Clarko flooding back I reckon all 18 back into the back 50 and stopped Fev kicking it, being stranded on 99. And I think Fev's a little bit disappointed because he had quite a few jumpers to sell and quite a few boots to sell for the 100 goals in a year. So he was extremely flat. But good memories of being out there in the middle and being surrounded by security guards and having a chat to a few of my mates who had just run out to say good day. So that was nice.
I did the Brent Harvey record-breaking night, which was a special night to be here as well when he went past Michael Tuck, and obviously he's now the game's record holder. So it does have a... and it's been criticised at times, particularly the playing arena early days. I think Craig Hutchison's famous line calling it Death Valley at one point, and there was so much sand and obviously built on a car park and pretty hard for players to sort of run around on, and how they pulled up in the aftermath. But there's been some pretty special moments in the history of the competition over the last 20 years here.
We have that poster of Brent Harvey's record-breaking game signed at the back of our commentary box. There is also a signature of Joe Biden, which I'm not sure it's 100% authentic.
It's his or not.
But I think one member of our team has actually met the US president. Did you meet him, Lee? Murph?
I did, and that was when he was vice president to, obviously, President Obama. And the amount of security that were there was quite extraordinary at the MCG, playing against a side that I can't remember, but I remember meeting Joe, obviously, and I remember walking off the ground and had quite a few good words with the president, and it was an awesome experience. But then a few of the people told me afterwards that there would have been no doubt there would have been some security with probably a gun pointed in my direction at some point. So there's a fair security contingent there. So huge experience here, and obviously when he got named president, got quite a few pictures sent through the phone at that time.
Oh, well, whenever you get to meet these high rollers, it's always good to, if you get a photo, have it as part of your memory and experience.
So quite seriously, though, when you are playing out here, it's a packed stadium, there's probably no ground like it.
Oh, so loud.
I remember playing in Simo's 250th, and we got over the line in a really tight one, and the crowd would have been 45,000 plus, and that's huge in here. And the whole joint was just rocking. You can really feel the whole ground almost move when the crowd is actually getting right amongst the game. So it's I usually love playing at the MCG, but when you play out here in front of a packed stadium and it was tight, it was awesome to play in.
I remember thinking in 2000 that this is just the way forward, and we've got this futuristic stadium with a roof on it. And I'm surprised in Australian sport it really hasn't been replicated at all. We've just seen in the US in recent times the stadium in Las Vegas and now in LA, which has that beautiful sort of canopy over the top. Out in Inglewood in California that has a roof on top of it. But obviously the stadium's gone up in Perth. There's been redevelopments made in Adelaide. We've had different grounds that have had work on across the country, and yet this remains the only stadium that we've got which has a roof. And I think there was a few design flaws in it when it first got made, as well as to how the sunlight's actually going to hit every patch of the grass to make sure it grows properly. And obviously, as players, you guys had issues with that in the early days of the stadium. But it is amazing that we haven't seen it replicated more.
Do you think it is because of the surface? Like, is that the reason why that they've had so many issues, and probably it's cost them a fortune as well over the journey? Is that one of the reasons as to why you don't think you've seen another stadium with a roof on it?
I don't know. I mean, there's talk that the new stadium in Hobart's going to have a roof. That's certainly part of the design plan.
That's pretty crucial down there, yeah.
I think
and heaters, hopefully, in the ceiling.
Well, I think Perth eventually came back with, look, for the climate in which the ground is, we don't really need one. I mean, it might rain, half a dozen match days a year, but it's not a really wet climate or is really heavily impacted by the weather the same way that somewhere like Hobart would be. But yeah, it's a little odd. That's 20-something years ago. Think about
Sydney
how much
needs one then.
Yeah,
if you're going to worry about the weather.
Well, I
Sydney
suppose those sort of grounds like Adelaide Oval and Sydney, like their cricket grounds, and they've got obviously the old stadium that is there, and obviously Adelaide Oval had a bit of the grass hill and the old scoreboard, so you're probably hard to get a roof over that. But it's I actually enjoyed it when it's the middle of winter and you're turning up and you know it's going to be a dry day. It's always pretty nice knowing that everyone outside's playing in the wet conditions. But it's been a great. They're actually starting to get the surface quite reasonable over the last few years.
Well, I don't know if the ground showcases its best, whether that's the development of the Docklands era. Eddie Maguire's come up with about 15 different suggestions for redesigning the ground to try and get the best out of it, but that might be one of the reasons as to why we haven't seen it replicated as much. Of course, there is a game taking place at the moment. We're going to keep you closely across that. Third quarter action from the MCG. It's Collingwood and the Gold Coast Suns. Ben Cameron, welcome to you.
Yeah, thank you, Clinchy. Hello, Corb, Murph, Lids. Very interesting, this contest. Magpies leading by 9 points as it stands early in the third term. So the Gold Coast Suns have kicked the first 2 goals of this second half to go with the last 2 of the first half to bring it back to that margin. Before that, interesting to note that Chol has 3, Casbolt has 4 for the Gold Coast Suns, while for Collingwood, Myercheck has 3, Cameron with a couple, and also Jack Ginnivan with a couple, including a fantastic goal in the pocket where he gathered, tight-roped the boundary, slipped a tackle, was able to sidestep a couple of others and then snap the finish. He's got something about him, that young man. But we've seen goals come in runs for both teams throughout the afternoon. But as it stands at the moment, the Magpies leading by 9 points, 6.5 minutes into the third.
Thanks, Ben. We'll stay close throughout the afternoon. We're about to be joined by footy boss from the Bombers, Josh Marnie. So just a thought or two on the week that's been for the Bombers, making the decision that they were going to drop Dylan Shield, and then now he's found himself as the medical sub. No doubt you guys would have had periods throughout your career where the team feels the need to make a statement, and often there's a senior player who's in the crosshairs of that.
Yep.
What's the right way to deal with that? How do you try and set standards and put the rest of the group on notice? And does it need a certain type of characteristic to be able to handle that?
Well, no doubt. I think it does in terms of, it'd be interesting to get Dylan's thoughts on if we could follow Marnes up with Dill. That'd be really good. We can get both sides of the story. But I think it does need to be a strong character. I know another friend of mine up north in Steve Canelio, when he was dropped, like that was a big decision, dropping your captain right at a time when you ultimately needed a win to come out. And Cogs is a sort of bloke who could just take that on the chin, but no doubt, I mean, that can do all sorts of things to your confidence, and I don't think we saw the best of him until probably even this year, so I only ever came close to it once, and that was after Jade the Blade Rawlings took over from from Terry Wallace, and he didn't like how I was playing on this ground, actually, trying to tag Brendan Goddard, of all people. And we got thumped by 10 goals, and they said, right, next week you're out. Alex Rance is going to take your spot. So luckily they kept me in, and then I became a tagger for the rest of that year, which was that was as close as I ever come, but I was filthy on them at the time, absolutely filthy.
In the 2 years you worked with BJ, you never brought that story up about the time you tried to tag him. So.
No, well, I've played on him a couple of other times and pantsed him as well.
He remembers those ones.
Yeah, that was a good night. But,
were you trying to win games at that period? What year was that?
In 09. Not late. Although we did try and beat Melbourne. Yeah, and Geordie kicked that goal, and then we got dusty at pick 3, which helped. So the rest
You played
history.
your role, didn't you?
Well, I was tagging. Yeah, I was probably playing on Nathan Jones.
Murph, you went through this recently. You're obviously on the back end of your career, but when you find yourself out of the team, I imagine that's a really difficult time for someone who's been looked at as one of the premier midfielders in the game.
Yeah, it only took me 296 games to feel what that was like. So, it's obviously really tough. Like, you've never been in that situation before, and no doubt Dylan is the same, but I'm not sure if it's the weeks leading up that he's had an area of his game that they've been a little bit disappointed with. It might be interesting to know whether it's a player-driven decision, whether it's a combination of the coaches and players, or just a coach's decision. Because I've heard the Essendon players talk about how they've had enough of what's going on, and maybe some steps forward about how to go about it, maybe just to make a statement. And obviously Dylan being one of their premier midfielders, it is a statement. So
they've already done it with Dev, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. So they obviously have something in mind that they want these guys to obviously work on and contribute more to the team. And it is a bit of a rude shock when you do get that tap on the shoulder, and no doubt you look for a response in the way in which you handle yourself around the football club. So you'd hope that Dylan would be doing that and playing his role in terms of being still a leader around the place and still communicating and not dragging the bottom lip, so to speak. So he's obviously subbed today. If he gets his opportunity, you'd love to see him come out there and play some really good football. But he'll most likely have to probably wait another week or two to force his way back in.
The voice of Mark Murphy alongside Brett Delidio, Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass. Let's head inside the Bombers camp down to Jess Webster.
Thanks, Clinchy, here with Josh Marnie. Josh, big occasion, Sunday afternoon footy, coming up against a good rival. Great opportunity against the Dogs to get your season back on track. Are you nervous?
I think you always got to have anticipation for every game that you play, and Bulldogs got a lot to play for, and as we have, and both haven't started the seasons with the ways we'd like, but a great opportunity for us. I mean, we've got a pretty young side in today, and that's probably the main thing we're getting out of this season so far, just seeing some guys coming in and really competing hard. There's elements of our game that have been a fair way off, and we've had to make some changes around that structurally and personnel-wise, but looking forward to a good challenge against the Bulldogs.
There were some external expectations for the Bombers this year and probably haven't started the season off in the way that you wanted to, but internally, what's the mood like, and how do you feel placed at this stage of the season?
Yeah, internally it's all about improvement, and then sometimes that can't be seen on the ladder or the wins and losses, and there has to be other elements of the game you have to look at, both the game style wise and individual wise. So there has been still some good signs, but certainly not enough at this stage. So we've had a tough draw. We've played against some really good teams, and I think that's has probably exposed us in a few areas, and if we're able to learn from those and then come into games like today with those learnings, we're able to give ourselves the best chance.
Let's head upstairs to the commentary box now to our experts, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Josh, it's Brett Delidio here. Just want to talking about today's game, Sammy Draper in the ruck. Do you see that as a real opportunity for you guys to capitalise and ultimately get the ball rolling forward first up in that first quarter?
Yeah, g'day, Brett. Sammy, like last week, was much more the type of player that we want. He was very aggressive. Probably the first few weeks he was a bit down on his own form, but last week was definitely a step in the right direction for him. They've got obviously Steph Martin coming in, who played last week, so good opportunity for Sammy. He's such an important player for our midfield. He gets a lot of our drive going out of there, so certainly trying to take advantage of his hit-out dominance potentially.
And Zach Reid playing his first game. Obviously some big hype around the three boys playing their first game together in Archie Perkins, Nick Cox and now Zach. Mate, you must be pretty excited as a club, coming in.
Oh, really excited about Zach. Been watching him now build up for the last 4 weeks in the VFL. It hasn't been a great start to his AFL career. He's just had injury after injury, but he's in really good touch at the moment. Last week's VFL game, he was dominant, and he's coming in really good form, and we look forward to seeing him play a really key role for us down back.
Josh, Mark Murphy here, mate. Just got a question for you. If you're an Essendon fan turning up today, what do you want to hang your hat on leaving the ground today? You're probably not looking to the 4 points in terms of, that's exactly what we want. What's some of is it a work rate thing? Is it an effort, intensity? What are you looking at?
Yeah, g'day, Mark. Probably the key things are our work around the contest that have been off. We started to get that in the right direction last week, so it'll be that. And also just our defensive part of our game. Our tackling numbers have been down. We want to start owning the ball, a bit more ball in our territory game, so more turnovers through the middle. They'd probably be the two things. So looking around our numbers around the contest, making sure we're winning enough ball and then turning the ball over in our front half of the ground, which is going to be a big challenge because the Bulldogs move the ball very quickly and very well.
You probably won't tell me this, but the Dylan Shield decision, was it a coach's decision, or was it a combination of players and coaches, or a players-led thing? Was there something that really stood out to you throughout the week?
Oh, it was a match committee decision in the end. There's parts of our game that we haven't been happy with, and also Dylan's been doing some really good things, but also some things he needs to improve on. He's clear on that. He's subbed today. It's not a hanging offence. He's just out of the team this week, and he knows he's going to improve in these areas, and we're sure he's going to play a key part for us moving forward.
Josh, it's Corbin Middlemass. Is part of that his work in and his role in team defence? I mean, it's been well highlighted that your midfield accountability just hasn't been there in the way it has been in previous seasons.
Yeah, he's one. That's one part of it. Our whole midfield group have to lift in that area. It's so important the way that teams play their defence now. You need 18-man defence, and if one person drops off, it really does put a lot of pressure on others. So it's not only Dylan who's doing that. A lot of other players have had strong conversations, particularly in the last couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll see an improvement across the board in that.
One thing that's been stark in the turnaround, we highlighted this last week, is you've gone from the best tackling team in the competition, averaging over 70 a game at this time last year, to now ranked 18 in that category, averaging 40 a game. How has that happened in 1 year that you've gone from the best to the worst in that category?
Oh, it's a little bit of the way teams are playing against us at the moment. They do identify we are good around the ball and have been playing a bit more kick mark. So that's one probably element. There's been less opportunities, but also our intensity around the ball. We haven't been sticking tackles, been missing far too many. So that's been a real focus for us as well, to get that number closer to what you said about last year.
Did you do enough work in the pre-season on your sort of pressure on ball drills? When you look back on what you prepared for over summer, did you focus enough on that leading into the season?
Yeah, I think our focus over pre-season was probably two things, and one of them was our blitz around the ball, making sure we got the pressure around it. So, yeah, it's not as if we haven't trained it. It's just a matter of just getting back on track and really simplifying it for our players, that if we bring that, we're a good side. If we don't, we're right down the bottom of the ladder, as it's shown already this year.
And just last one from me, Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody, are there certain markers that have been put in front of him that he has to meet from a fitness component to be considered for senior selection?
Yeah, there are, and he's still working towards those. He's missing this week because he's out with health and safety protocols, so it's going to put him potentially back another week. But he's clear on what the markers are, and really for us, we want to, if he's going to play AFL, we want to come in and perform, not just to be out there. So we're trying to set him up to have a good input into our season, and he's tracking in the right direction.
Is he close?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. He's missed this week, so we don't know the impact of what COVID's going to have. So, yeah, as I said, it might be still another few weeks for him.
Josh, Bombers fans will obviously remember when you faced off last year in the home and away season. Peter Wright was able to kick 7 with no Alex Keith. How do you examine the Western Bulldogs in terms of their early season struggles?
Yeah, we'd be happy with the same result today. Yeah, he's been in really good form, Pete, and he's been probably one out in a lot of stages. So we brought Kane Baldwin back into the side to give him a little bit more support. The Bulldogs, I mean, they've been good in some games and been off their best in other games, but still such a dangerous team. We know when they have their pressure on the ball, just like us, and their ball movements up and going, they're a really tough side to play against. So we're going to have to win enough ball around the contest, as I said, be strong in defence, and then when it goes forward, kick the ball, and hopefully Peter Wright and Kane Baldwin and Jake Stringer down there can kick enough goals.
There was a lot of conversations around Darcy Parish with his great start to the Anzac Day match, with 30 disposals in the first half, 44 for the game, and 12 clearances, but just 3 inside 50s. Is that been sort of communicated to him to try and be a bit more damaging when you do get as many clearances as what he did?
Yeah, I think it's funny to have a discussion when someone has 44 disposals. You analyse it that closely, and I want more out of him. I mean, he's 30 possessions in the first quarter. Sometimes you take what the opposition gives you, and we probably did over handball a little bit around clearance, but still to be able to get that amount of the ball, his work rate's up, which is really positive. But overall, our clearances last week, we dominated centre clearances and didn't get enough out of that. So I've got to make sure, probably across the board, mid clearances and from centre bounces, we're not only getting the ball inside 50, but scoring off the back of it.
Josh, we know we need to head back into the change rooms. Thanks for your time on ABC Sport.
No worries, guys. Have a good call.
Essendon boss Josh Marnie joining us on Grandstand AFL. Matt Clinch, Corbin Middlemass, Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy and Jess Webster down on the boundary.
I feel like Corby left a couple in the chamber there. He had a couple more ready to go, but not sure. I just feel like he was just pressing a few buttons, didn't quite get the answers he wanted.
Didn't quite get the Wayne Campbell. I've answered that question.
Yeah.
I think it's time to move on. But
true.
It was getting there, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Questions needed to be asked. I mean, the team's
Well, you're a
1 and
passionate
5
supporter.
Yeah, what are you looking at today, Corby? Like, obviously you'll be calling the game, but as an Essendon supporter,
I was here a fortnight ago and I watched the game against Fremantle, and it was well highlighted in all the footy shows after that their midfield accountability just hasn't been there, and so that's a worry. And that tackle count, I know it seems like a real basic thing, but you don't have to be a very skillful team to bring that. And Mick Moldhouse said last week to us that once you sort of learn how to tackle, it's completely a desire thing, whether you want to do it or not. This is a team last year on Anzac Day laid 86 tackles. They had 40 last week. So they don't want to do it. Their midfield doesn't want to defend, and they're 1 and 5. They haven't played consecutive final series since 03-04. They're trying to do that this year, and at the moment they look a long way off it.
In Darcy's defence, it's hard to tackle yourself when you got the footy that many times. But that was always what I rolled out anyway to the coaches. I can't tackle myself.
The Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody thing's a concern. So he obviously fell out of the team last year back end for personal reasons, took time away, wasn't there an awful lot of the summer, hasn't come back in sort of, he's not match ready in his conditioning at the moment, and it doesn't, I mean, you read between the lines, it doesn't sound like he's close.
No, sounds like he's a fair way off it, unfortunately. But that's just only going to come down to hard work, isn't it? It's no secret that that's what allows you to play your best footy. And it's just going to be whether or not he's willing to do that.
Yep.
I didn't have them sort of a guarantee to feature in finals.
Nah, neither did I.
This year, I mean, Peter Wright's kicked 13 goals for the season. He kicked 29 last year. Jake Stringer with 41 has obviously been missing in the early stages, and Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody and Harry Jones haven't been there either. Carl Hooker retired. So it's funny, the natural progression for the Bombers, I wasn't sure if they'd be able to repeat the expectations they set last year. Did you kind of feel the same way?
No, I felt the same way. I hadn't seen... I felt like last year was like a year where they cashed in and got some good wins and played some exciting footy, no doubt. But I wasn't sold on just everything falling into line to go again on that one. And then, obviously, it just was going to come down to whether or not they could get better again, and that was going to be the key. And obviously, they've let the ball drop just a little bit, and the competition just moves so quickly, doesn't it? When you're not on your game week in, week out for 4 quarters, it makes it very, very hard to compete.
Well, going into last season, they almost thought about being a wooden spoon prospect, weren't they? And they probably surprised everyone in the whole competition with how well they actually did go. They had probably an easier type draw because they played finals last year. Their draw was a little bit tougher this year, but yeah, they just haven't had that natural progression. It's not always like on the incline. Yeah. Sometimes there is a dip that happens, and obviously we're seeing that at the moment. But I don't like to lay the boots into too many midfielders that they've got, but they are getting a lot of the ball. But for Parrish, I know Merritt's only played the 3 games. He's kicked 1 goal. McGrath as well. I think McGrath's kicked 1 goal and Parrish hasn't kicked a goal. So they're getting a lot of the ball. So the focus has been on their defensive attitude, which obviously needs to improve from a whole midfield group. But they're also not getting forward and being really damaging as well. So it'll be interesting to see today, and that's what I'm keen to look at today, is their work rate and the actual running patterns and seeing where they are actually running to and where they're getting their ball. Because if they are running defensive and they're trying to support, but they're not getting hard enough forward, where are they getting all these possessions? Are they junk possessions, really? So that's something that I want to look at today.
Score involvement, Scorby. That's what I'm massive on, especially for midfielders. Ones that can be involved in scores or they're kicking them themselves. And that's why I think Marcus Bontempelli is one of the best. Paddy Cripps now has added that to his game this year. He's kicking multiples most weeks. Petrarca's another one that's the reason why he's so good.
There's actually a lot of similarities between both teams' midfields and the way that they've gone about it this year. So high possession teams. And without trying to get sort of too much into the weeds on the nerdy sort of footy chat, when you're around a stoppage, a lot of the Essendon midfielders, and same with the Western Bulldogs, they would rather camp out around the stoppage because they're a chance to get a handball and a quick touch than any one of them spit forward and be more damaging but less likely to get a kick. So
Chalor does that. I reckon Chalor is the best of anyone playing here today in terms of getting forward and breaking the 50 and kicking a goal.
You mentioned the inside 50s and the score involvements and how damaging they are. I think I saw, was it Adam Ramanaskas last week highlighted the 3 guys for
Collingwood, and then for Essendon it was 13-7.
Here we go. Bailey Smith, Jack McRae and Josh Dunkley had 83 disposals between them last week for 7 inside 50s. And I mean, I'm sure if you stack the Essendon numbers up, that would be similar as well. So they've got sort of high possession count, what we call sort of empty calorie numbers in their midfield, but it doesn't really translate a lot into dangerous elements of the game.
And I was doing a little bit of my homework the other day on these two sides, and I noticed that about Bailey Smith, someone who you think such an aggressive power runner and real goal scorer, which he has showed over his early part of his career, I don't think he's kicked a goal this year either. So whether or not they're reverting back and getting touches from a stoppage, or they're not getting that initial person who's at the front door just to run hard and really challenge the opposition midfield that way, it's going to be interesting to watch today.
Your man Cogs yesterday. So instead of his 35, has 20 and kicks 3.
And I think he's a far more damaging player when you're doing that. And I'd say that for any midfielder. Give me 10 less touches and a couple of goals, and I think you have more impact on the game. That was one of Plow's big things, is like a goal is worth 5. So any time you kick a goal, that's worth another 5. So just add that on the end. It's unfortunate when you're getting tagged by Lingy and he's keeping you 10 and he's kicking 3 and having 20 himself.
You would have been there when Trent Cotchin sort of went through that change, and obviously when he had his Brownlow medal winning year, he went from really a 30-something plus disposal a game midfielder to all of a sudden sort of mid to low 20s, but much more damaging.
Well, that's it, and that's where you really find out where your best midfielders sit. The ones that can kick goals, I think they're worth their weight in gold, and otherwise you become a bit run-of-the-mill, don't you, probably, if you're not able to do that.
We'll continue to work our way through the Bulldogs in just a moment's time, but we're time on in the third term from the MCG. Collingwood taking on the Gold Coast. Let's check in again with Ben Cameron.
Yeah, thanks, Clinchy. Collingwood lead by 19 points. As you said, we're about 5 minutes away from three-quarter time in this contest. Interestingly, just moments ago, Levi Casbolt, he had a set shot from about 15 metres out on a slight angle. He missed it. It would have brought the margin back to one straight kick for the Gold Coast Suns. It would have been the first time in his AFL career that he's kicked 5 goals, big Levi. He couldn't do it. Collingwood went down the other end, and Jack Ginnivan kicked his third major of the game, and they're now out by 19 points. So sliding doors moments in these fixtures, but Collingwood 13-10-88, leading Gold Coast 11-3-69, 4 minutes to play in the third.
Thanks, Ben. Ben Cameron keeping a close eye on things at the MCG. The Western Bulldogs have made their way out onto Docklands, and the Bombers are a few moments away. So just a few quick thoughts about the Dogs, and then we'll get you to launch into your full game preview. But the Bulldogs are a midfield that don't want for too much, and yet a lot has been spoken about their efficiency in front of goal and their ability to punish sides. So it feels like it centres a lot around where's the best position to play Marcus Bontempelli, but it's also the fact that they're missing Josh Bruce, who was such a huge cog in their team success last year.
Well, I think that's the key, isn't it? That they're missing that extra big forward up front to be that target to give Norton the chop out. Jamara has come in and he's going to take time. He's only a pup, pardon the pun. Playing down there and just learning his craft at the moment. So to have Josh out, Bontempelli gives him that extra bit of height and the ability to be a good player that you're not just going to sag off and sit back in front of Norton, because you can only catch so many when you're 1v4 down there, So and conversely to that, down the other end, they just haven't got that big. My old man used to call him a bear tamer, someone who can play on the big key forwards and really nullify their influence. Like, who is it? I don't think Cordy's in, Keith's out. And Gardner's probably fighting out of his weight division a little bit, so it's that's probably their two areas where they they really lack at the moment.
Well, that's where the midfield battle is going to be really important, because if Essendon are really going to put the sword to the Bulldogs, they're going to have to try and get the ball in quick and give their forwards an opportunity, because they certainly do probably outsize their opponents. But conversely, if the Bulldogs get the ball and have time and space, or just allow them just to use the shorts, don't need to almost bail out to a big tall key, because they don't have one down there other than Bruce, but which obviously is not playing. But that's why it's so important that, as I spoke about Smith getting on the board today, their midfield, McRae, I know Bontempelli's kicked quite a few goals this year because he's been playing a little bit more forward, but their midfield getting on top, but also getting forward and hitting the scoreboard is really crucial for the Bulldogs today, and it'll be all up to whether Essendon want to defend it or not.
Yeah, 8 goals for the season for the Bont. He's only kicked multiples against North Melbourne, but he is the number one goal assist player with 10, so he's that important last kick inside the attacking 50. Have you seen the role of Mitch Wallace? Does Luke Beveridge say, Jamara out, Wallace in, at least we know he'll give us a one-on-one battle, and if the ball goes out of play, we'll take that and we restart, as opposed to Jamara Ugelhagen, who's still very much learning the forward craft and how to provide the pressure once the ball does hit the ground.
Well, that's what Mitch Wallace was only a couple of years back, wasn't it? He was... I think he won their goal kicking. I'm not sure how many years ago, stats man. I'll have to get that to you, Corby.
Might have been the Hub era. I think.
2020 maybe.
Right, yeah, 2020.
And he was like, what he did was, yes, he's got a huge work rate because he's used to playing in the midfield, but then he just competes because that's his natural game. And you know that the ball goes above his head. He's strong through the hips. He can provide a contest, but then it's not game over once it hits the deck. Yeah. You know, and he's able to scrap and fight and try and lock it in, which is, you know, you don't want to just be leaving it all to Waitman and probably Vandermeer down there. Yeah, I like that Mitchie Wallace has come back in. He's one of the good guys of footy that, you know, you want to see those guys get looked after because they've given so much back.
Yeah, he's one of the genuine good blokes. I used to live around the corner from him in Port Melbourne years ago, and always used to run into him, and usually we'd be on the end of a bit of a disappointing loss, and he'd always ask how you're going and how's things, and he is generally one of the good guys, and he's obviously had a really tough period the last couple of weeks with his mother-in-law passing away, but obviously the excitement of having a newborn as well. It's been a big couple of weeks for him, so I think we're all sitting here at the ground all hoping that he can go really well.
William Wallace, how good's that name? No? That's awesome.
The best.
So the Bulldogs sitting 2-4, obviously having featured in last year's grand final, the expectation was to come out and hit the season running. So when it doesn't go that way, how does Bevo try and create a bit of enjoyment, perhaps relax the mood? Does he put it back to the leaders to say, righto, let's set some standards here so we're not as focused on the win and loss early in the year?
Well, I think back in the old days, Murph, it was like, righto, we're not doing a review. I'll meet you at the pub and we'll have a few beers and we'll talk about it. And I'm not sure it's that way inclined too much anymore. I reckon they're a little bit more recovery-based and whatever else. But it is a tough one, Clinchy. I know Corby's big on this in that teams that cop a hiding in grannies, the next year they tend to go south. And I saw that firsthand with the Giants boys after what happened in 2019. So, look, I don't know how you try and reinvigorate. Yes, they're missing some troops, which doesn't allow them to play their best footy. But, you know, at the same time, it's going to be about whether they can compete for long enough. And then, look, they've been in games, let's be honest. We did that Carlton Bulldogs game, and they should have won that game late. They missed a heap of gettable opportunities. They've been in other games as well, but it's about capitalising when they've got the momentum and being able to do that. But so far, they just haven't been able to do it.
It might be just a case of just saying, right, we're not where we want to be and where we expected to be. Let's just wipe it. The next 5 games are obviously really important. Today's a very winnable game, and they should win if they're going to play finals this year. They've got Port next week. Obviously, I sort of thought that they'd get over the top of them, but that's going to be quite a difficult game. But they'll be on the back end of a trip that up in Cairns, it was obviously pretty tough conditions. So they'll go over there thinking they can win that. But then they've got Collingwood, Gold Coast, and West Coast. So the next month and a bit of football was really important, where they could basically get their season back on track and almost wipe that start of the season and be forgotten, really. But it obviously just comes back to today and how hard they want to work for each other and get that 4 points so they can try and get on that run.
I think everyone thought they'd just find their way in the season until they lost to Adelaide in Ballarat last week, and you thought, okay, hang on, maybe there's a few more concerns here. And the comments from Luke Beveridge post-game was that the team started fit and then they really don't have enough players to call on. So he feels like the best players they've got are the players in which they're playing. And so you compare that with Melbourne, who all of a sudden lost 5 players because of COVID, and they've got depth galore. You know, similar sort of position, having played in a grand final. And with Tim English out, it's back to Steph Martin, and this is a midfield side which a lot of teams would envy for. So is it personnel related, or do the problems run a little bit deeper than that?
Well, I was in that same camp, Clinchy, thinking that, you know, they'll be right here. I remember we were talking about it, Corbs, on one of our shows, that the next 6 games, put them down for 6-0. You know, they just look like they'll get on a roll here. There'll be no worries. Let's not write the dogs off. But once they lose to Adelaide in Ballarat, which is their home game, you know, they play the ground pretty well, reasonably well. Then the doubts start to creep in, don't they? And that's when your best players, regardless of what talent is there involved in their midfield and up front, even across their half-back line, still pretty lethal. You know, doubts creep in, and that's where you start to just see, you know, you get challenged in games. Have you got that mental resolve to continue to just push the standards that you've been doing right when you're a good side? You know, you have to go right back to that, I suppose, and that's going to be the key for the Dogs today if they are to get over the line.
Well, they've got such strong midfield depth, but they couldn't afford to lose 1 or 2 big, tall keys, and they have done that. So it's just decimated them when you lose your key ruckman, and then you've got only one real key forward in Norton down there at the moment, and you're still trying to find out whether Shaki's going to be up to it or not. And then Ugelhagen, he's obviously early into his career, so they're still trying to find that next bit of support, whether that's Jamara. I think it will be, but that's going to take a bit of time. But
and then they've got Darcy as well to come in at some stage, but he's a long-termer.
Yeah, he's had a foot injury, hasn't he?
Foot injury, so
hopefully see him in the back end of the season, but probably not before that. I mean, the Bulldogs at their best were a high-octane handballing side whose midfield was the difference between them and a lot of other teams. So you feel like this afternoon under the roof of Docklands that you'd be one of the midfielders to hit the scoreboard a bit more than what we've seen, wouldn't you?
Well, and I think it's going to have to. It's a bit like the old the Eagles back in their day with how good their midfield was. Like, yeah, they had big cue ball up front who was clunking them and throwing the gloves and knocking them through from 70, but their midfield kicked a lot of goals.
Philip Matera, though, back in the day.
Oh, yeah, the old slow clap Phil Matera. Chrissy Newman's worst nightmare, Phil Matera. Look, yeah, well, I suppose they did have Phil Matera. I'm writing them off, but that's the example that I'm talking about. Strong midfield that you want being damaging. Even the Lions at their best, like they were damaging through their midfield. Their mids could always kick goals. But it's going to be what it is, Clinchy. I think it's if they can kick goals, they'll be right in it.
With the one key forward with Aaron Norton, they're going to have to find a few different ways to attack the goals. Cody Waitman's had a great start with 10 goals won, but 5 of them did come against North Melbourne. Three-quarter time at the MCG, Collingwood and the Gold Coast Suns. Ben Cameron.
A 31-point lead the way of the Pies at three-quarter time, Clinchy. It's fascinating in the sense that I mentioned it before, and I don't want to single out the moment, but Levi Casbolt, he's been fantastic for the Suns, probably having a career year. 20 goals through his 7 games this year, 4 of those today. He had a set shot, 15 metres out, slight angle, a chance to kick a 5th AFL goal for a first time in his career in a single match. He missed it. It would have brought the margin back. Inside one kick, he missed. Collingwood kicked the next 3 goals, and all of a sudden they're out by 31 points and leading comfortably at the final change. They've crossed triple figures for the 3rd time this year. The previous 2 in round 1 and 2, they won, of course. So Collingwood by 31 at three-quarter time.
Thanks, Ben. Of course, the Suns beat the Magpies last year, but new coach and Collingwood looking a bit better in season 2022, especially at the MCG. They're not happy with you, Corby. A few in Tassie. As always, would like to point out that Tassie is the 2nd driest capital city after Adelaide. Your suggestion that places like Tassie, Western Australia could have thought about a stadium with a roof on the top?
Well, I think Tassie are looking at getting one with a roof on.
That was in the proposal, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the wind as much as anything and stuff down there as well. That's the problem in Tassie. It's not just
the
what
cold
comes out of it. Yeah. Freezing cold.
Lovely place, Tassie.
It's a little nicer to be inside. I love
getting down to
too.
Salamanca when the test is on down there.
Oh,
also got a tweet from Jeff on Twitter. Interesting facts regarding stadium roof conversation. Perth's average rainfall, 733 millimetres, which is 70 millimetres higher than Melbourne. And more than Hobart. So I know there was a strong push when Perth made their stadium. They wanted a roof, but
when it rains, it seriously rains there. I've played in some real damp ones over there, but that's all right. Well, hopefully we'll just keep campaigning and throw things up, and usually Gil listens, but
my point
won't be him anyway.
My overall point was, let's not get too bogged down in the weeds, that I was surprised there wasn't more stadiums that had a roof.
Yeah, it's pretty cool having the roof. I used to love it. Train, as you said, during the week, you're just like, we don't need to train outside today. Let's go down to MSAC and we'll have a session inside.
How about both teams have sort of put out the messaging in recent weeks. Luke Beveridge after the game against Adelaide that the next tier's not ready. We're a little worried about the guys that are unavailable. Blake Caracella with us on Monday went pretty quick to, we've been missing 8 of our best 22. From last year's elimination final, the Bombers have 18 of their 23 playing today. So that's only 6 games ago for Essendon, while the Western Bulldogs have 16 playing from last year's elimination final. So the guys that the Bombers are missing, Smith, who they haven't picked, Gleeson, who they delisted, Snelling, Stewart and Francis are all injured, so there were about really 3 there. Dylan Shields the sub, so they chose not to pick him. And then for the Western Bulldogs, they're without Lewis Young, who they traded to Carlton, Lockie Hunter, who's been stood down, Easton Wood, who's retired. And so really the 4 guys that they haven't got are Hannon, Johannison, Keith and English. So, I mean, every side's without 1 or 2 at this stage of the year. I'm not sure it sort of runs as deep as what sort of the messaging has been.
Masking over the...
I think so.
It's cop-out, Corby, isn't it? Especially from Essendon's side.
You're all
that
over
feeling
it,
through the microphone.
And I like it. I like it. You're going to hold into account this afternoon. So who's going to win today? How are you seeing this contest shape up?
It's a good question. I think won and lost ultimately in the midfield, as it always is. But I think the Dogs, for mine, I think they just bat a little bit deeper. I'm excited to see those 3 debutants, 3 first rounders that Essendon picked play all together for the first time. So I'm excited to see what young Zach Reid can do. And Bulldogs for mine, Murph.
I think the Bulldogs are just going to be too strong. Their midfield, I suppose midfield, the top 3 are probably pretty evenly matched, but I think the Bulldogs certainly bat a lot deeper. It's going to be who's going to get hard back and support the defence and who's willing to work hard and try and get in the end and deliver some balls inside 50 and that score involvement stat that we've talked about earlier, but also just hitting the scoreboard as midfielders. That's where you're worth your weight in gold. So for mine, I'll be looking at the midfield battle and seeing which team comes out on top, but I think the Bulldogs for mine.
There'll be a lot of handshakes at the start, I would have thought, and I'll see you at the end. Yeah. It'll be nice and wide tonight.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, your experts on ABC Sport. The final member of our team sitting in the front row of the grandstand this afternoon. Jess Webster, welcome back.
Thanks, Clinchy. Great to be here under the roof. It's a good crowd building already. The Dogs are expecting about 30,000 this afternoon. I have no doubt fans from both sides are going to be full of voice this afternoon. Two sides desperate for a win. I'm looking forward to watching this one unfold from the boundary.
Thank you, Jess, as are we. The players just making their way into position, and with the new state-of-the-art lights and the sexy screens for Gill, the stadium goes into darkness, and now the full lights take effect. So the players are ready to go. The umpire holds the ball aloft, and so are we. Round 7 of the AFL, two sides who featured in finals, trying to find their rhythm in season 2022. Here's Corbin Middlemass on ABC Sport.
Parrish standing next to Bontempelli. Draper looks across the circles at Big Steph Martin and Jake Stringer, the Bulldogs premiership player in the centre square for Essendon. Draper wins the first hit out, but it's Liberatore who sockers it forward. Ball ricochets though to Merritt off a couple of bodies. Hand pass to Draper. His handball went to no one in particular. Likewise, Liberatore coughs it up. Merritt's hand pass missed his intended target, Stringer. And Stringer's tackle on Bontempelli results in Essendon winning possession back as Redmond kicks it out wide, and Nick Martin marks on the defensive side of the wing.
Looks to come inboard. It's a Cutler who works it around the boundary line where the mark is taken by Merritt. Has it centre wing, no options really presenting, so comes inboard, and the mark's taken by McGrath. Decides to launch a kick up towards half forward. Peter Wright out on the lead, spoiled away by Gardner from the Western Bulldogs. Liberatore couldn't take it. Parrish could with a hand pass to Redmond, to McGrath, almost tackled down by Liberatore, but did get it to Redmond, to Parrish, who now looks inside 50, kicks into the corridor. Guelphy's the target, and he takes the mark. McNeil had a crack at it, trying to spoil it away, but he couldn't get it out of the grasp of Matt Guelphy.
Great start by the Essendon midfield. Darcy Parrish talked about score involvements and getting inside 50 balls to their forwards, and a great spot-up kick. They've obviously already had a few touches of the Essendon midfield, so started well.
A couple of goals last week against the Magpies, 4 goals, 2 in his last 3 games. So has become a goal kicker for the Bombers. Can he kick off proceedings here directly in front, 40 metres out? Yes, he can. And the Bombers are on the board through the opening 90 seconds. They're 1 straight 6. The Bulldogs yet to score on ABC Sport. You're with Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Well, they certainly haven't changed their style of play. Still flicking it around. They've, 15 touches to 2. All of their mids getting involved early. What I like is there a few question marks about Darcy Parrish last week about his effectiveness and his damage on the game. That's one way to change it with one of your first touches going. Could have gone the easy option, just bombed it long to the square. He had Peter Wright sitting in the pocket, but decides to go hard and smack it inside to Guelphy, who's become a goal kicker for him. I like the blonde locks too, Corby, right in my wheelhouse.
I think Parrish and Merritt are set up for 40+ each tonight. They look ominous early signs, and I reckon McRae might join them from the Bulldogs side, but perfect start by Darcy Parrish.
4th game in a row, he's got a snag. Matt Guelphy in the first one of the game here. Essendon with the opener, back in the middle. Draper wins it down. Stringer fighting on for it. Got it out, too big Draper. Hand pass to Merritt and hands it across the centre square to Parrish. He links up with Kelly. The Bombers going forward again. Kicks it for Big Peter. He can't take the mark. Spills down towards Martin. Hand pass to centre half forward. Stringer knocks it to Guelphy. Snap goalward. As he's being tackled, Gardner with the pressure and affects the kick. Guelphy puts it out on the full. So no change to the score. 2.5 minutes in. Essendon 1 straight. The Western Bulldogs just with the 3 disposals so far.
O'Brien switches the play for the Dogs out to the right back pocket, where it's worked up by Bailey Dale. Rourke Smith back into the lineup, gathers. Hand pass to Daniel, back to Dale, who kept running. Links up with Bailey Smith. All the Baileys are combining. He's kicked towards half forward. Redmond back with the flight, couldn't take it. Bontempelli pounces. Mitch Wallace free at the top of the goal square, and he finds him.
How good was that pickup from Bontempelli? He had his bootlaces. Forget that this bloke's 6'4", and just lopes around the ground. Terrific for this bloke too to find the ball in his hands early in the game. Just bobbing up. Just got good forward craft.
A tough week for Mitch Wallace. His second child, the death of his mother-in-law, but he's kicking goals for the Western Bulldogs here. And he looks to the heavens as his teammates come from everywhere to celebrate with him. Mitch Wallace back in the Bulldogs senior side. And his third goal of the season. Scores level after 4 minutes here at Docklands. It's 1 goal apiece.
Well, another coast-to-coast goal that Essendon will no doubt be reviewing throughout the week. It was out of bounce on the full, and they were just to transition the ball quite easily and just left a lot of the Essendon midfield and forwards in their wake. And Mitch Wallace, good forward craft, as you said, Lids, but to find one out the back there from a stop play the way that was, maybe that's a tale of what's happening to Essendon at the moment. But, 1 goal apiece, and Essendon like to sharpen up the defensive skills after that one.
1 straight 6 apiece. 4.5 minutes in under the roof at Docklands. The yellow Sharon whacked into the turf. Martin wins it down for the Bulldogs. Here's McComb off the wing. Hand pass back to Steph, who's mowed down. Tackle from Parrish, taken to ground, and the umpire says, I'll have it. Both teams in their traditional jumper. Western Bulldogs home game, so they're in the blue shorts, and Essendon with the red sash and the white shorts on as Liberatore, the best clearance player in the comp last year, wins another one here. Down to half forward, Norton turns Ridley inside out, slips over, hand pass to Waitman, short kick inside 50, and Vandermeer takes the mark 3 steps inside the 50.
Great composure there by Waitman, just allowed Vandermeer just to get forward enough so that the kick became a legal one. Again, talk about the gather of some of these big blokes, and Aaron Norton steaming out there just like glue on his hands. Unfortunately, he slipped over. I think he was going to set sail if he hadn't have.
You've got to love the sweatband, don't you, as well?
Vandermeer to shoot from the 50-metre arc, back from his hamstring injury. Missed the last couple. He's missed the whole set here. Out of bounds on the full to the near side. Scores level. 6 minutes in, 1 straight 6 apiece. There's no late change, and the most unusual subs duo, Josh Shackey for the Bulldogs is the sub, and Dylan Shield for Essendon.
Laverty up to half-back. DeRay flew over the back of the pack for the Dogs, spoiled it down to the front. And Caleb Daniel can't keep it alive. A throw-in between wing and half-forward for the Bombers.
Is Shackey an unusual choice as a sub?
Well, it doesn't give you great flexibility, but I suppose you can go either end, not so much in the midfield.
The other guy I'm surprised we haven't seen is Hayden Crozier since he had that heart scare in the game against the Blues. A free kick here in the ruck battle. The Bombers are about to break clear, but it's a free kick going the way of the Western Bulldogs to Steph Martin. And he wanted to try and play on and feed the hand pass to Caleb Daniel, but the umpire hadn't put him behind his mark. Now he does just that, but the Bombers have got numbers back inside the defence. Long ball towards Norton. Redmond set himself in front, almost took the mark. And then he and Vandermeer become the tacklers, locking the ball 30 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal. Scores level at 1 goal apiece.
It was 15-2, the disposal count. It's now Essendon 23, Dogs at 18. So Dogs getting back on top from the ball up. 20 out from the Bulldogs' goal. Trelaw, hand pass away to McComb under pressure to Bailey Smith. Links up with McRae, 50 out. Kicks to the hot spot, leaping Waitman. No mark, spills to Vandermeer. Hand pass to Norton, he goes without it. He's bowled over in the process. G. Reid left it behind completely. Kelly goes back in. Another go for Essendon. He's taken high by Trelaw. And Jake Kelly, the former Cry, will get the free. Back pocket, swings it across the goal face to Parrish, and he continues the shift out to the Dock side. Cox takes the mark for Essendon. Hand pass to Redmond, kicks down the wing, and Guelphy, who kicked the first goal, marks in front of the benches.
Oh, wanted to kick inboard to Martin, who made it work. Took it away from Jack McRae, and then works up to half forward, where the mark is taken by Perkins. Hand pass to Heppel, kicks inside 50, right on the lead. Takes the mark in front of his eyes. They got there eventually, the Bombers, but the kick inboard wasn't without risk.
Great kick, wasn't it, Lids?
Oh, it was.
Just by Dyson Heppel, just to take a little bit off it, just put it in the space of big 2-metre Peter. Hopefully he can put it through.
Kicked 7 goals when they faced in the home and away match in round 21. Didn't kick a goal in the elimination final. There was no Alex Keith there, as there isn't today. And Peter Wright's on the board early here for the Bombers. They retake the lead. They're 2 straight 12 to the Bombers, to the Bulldogs 1 straight 6. 8 minutes gone, opening term. Let's check into the MCG. Collingwood and the Gold Coast Suns. Ben Cameron.
It's still floating around that 5-goal margin for Collingwood. Both sides with a goal in this 4th term, but Collingwood leading by 30 points 9 minutes into this 4th term. Clinchy?
Was as you spoke about, Murph, it was just a great kick by Dyson Heppel. He almost drew the defender coming at him to allow the body to get hit so that he could just take that bit extra time, allow Pete Wright to do his work. The big fella's had a pretty consistent year so far down there for the Bombers, being a bit of a lone hand given the absence of Harry Jones through most of this year. So he's going well at the moment. We'd love to have his partner in crime down there with him, no doubt.
Averaging 2 goals a game. He's up to 14 for the season. The Bombers 2-1 lead it early. Draper palms it down to Perkins, who's in the centre bounce. Hand pass to Parrish. Kicks out wide for Baldwin. Leading Williams to the footy. Williams lays the tackle. Baldwin dispossessed. Ball spills out of play, but not before he's been pinged for holding the ball. And a free kick for Williams. Half back for the Bulldogs. So no shield and some centre bounce attendances for the second-year Bomber in Archie Perkins, the teenager, and Bailey Williams taking the free, kicks it straight into the bonce of Kane Baldwin. And the ball ricochets off his scone and over the fence and we'll have a boundary throw in. That's one way to stop the footy, just with your forehead.
Sure, Ben Rutten would like it in the coach's box, regardless of how it comes from the throw-in. It's sharked by Rourke Smith, who kicks a high ball close to the boundary line. Awkward one for Cody Waitman, who tries to swat it back into play. Cutler with a hand pass, but it was over the boundary line. So a throw-in just short of half forward for the Dons.
Doesn't matter how you smother them, Corby.
Yep. Just get something on it.
Got a big lid, put it across the ball.
I wouldn't recommend it too many times.
No doubt those sort of efforts are highlighted in the team review during the week. Thrown back in. Draper knocks it down to Parrish. His hand pass just chopped off by Rourke Smith. Ricochets out to McRae. Got it to Dunkley. Kick partially smothered. A chance for Cutler. He's thrown to the turf by McRae, and the umpire will throw it up almost centre wing on the outer side.
No late change, Dogs. Dons, Shackey and Shield, the two subs. Bombers 2-1 lead it early. Free kick here from a ruck infringement. It's against Draper, just holding out Steph Martin illegally. And in game number 201, Steph Martin at his third club will take the free. Kicks out wide to Daniel. In their headgear, as we've come to expect. Daniel wants to switch play. Kicks to centre half back for Gardner. Continues to flick the ball over to the dock side. His long drop punt finds Duray. Short kick down the wing to Dunkley. One of two players in his 100th today. The other, Andy McGrath, the Bombers' only number one pick, as he heads to half forward. Bont the target. No mark follows up. Heppel tackles him. Bont gets a hand pass to Dale. His hand pass swatted down by Cutler. Remains with the Dogs. There's Dunkley. Sweeping hand pass, but only to Heppel. And Heppel was just mowed into the turf after getting rid of it. Advantage applied as Merritt kicks down the wing.
Duray got it down to McRae. The hand pass to Bailey Williams. Long kick to Norton. One-on-one wrestling there. Brought down in the end by Ridley and sent out of play for a boundary throw-in. Up against the left behind post. The Dogs deep in attack. The Bombers leading by 6 points.
That's a good matchup, isn't it? Ridley v Norton. A couple of nice high-flying boys that don't mind taking the grab. Hopefully they play on each other all day.
Kelly has Waitman. Redmond on Vandermeer. Dunkley and Bailey Smith also started forward for the Dogs from the throw-in. Waitman onto it. McGrath onto him. Ridden into the turf. Umpire's going to pay holding the footy. Tough one for Cody Waitman.
Not sure that one's holding the ball.
He got that much opportunity.
Got the bloke trying to create their play. Gets caught with it. I reckon he had half a second to get rid of that.
McGrath from the defensive 50 kicks long to the wing. They all miss it. Slips out the back to O'Brien, who was tackled out of play. And Baldwin, the tackler, out of bounds it goes, and a throw-in right on halfway. Of course, last year's elimination final, the Essendon fans will remember, Cody Waitman kicked 4, had 6 free kicks, kicked a number of goals resulting from those frees, so a little bit of the Bronx cheer as one went against him early here.
It's funny how some things just stay in the memory from the throw-in. Perkins tried to throw his body at it to knock it onto McGrath, couldn't get a disposal away. Dunkley gets it to Bailey Smith. He's tackled over the boundary line by Andy McGrath, and a boundary throw-in. Did like the comments from Andy McGrath in an interview spoken about Essendon trying to regain some form. He said we need to stand up and lead by example, show the younger players what the Essendon way is. He responded with 31 disposals against the Magpies last week. Caldwell tries to knock it out to McGrath, who gets a hand pass to Redmond, to Cox, brushed off the tackle of McNeil, and then kicks up to Perkins at right half forward for the Bombers. Kicks inside 50, Peter Wright one-on-one with Gardner. Gardner wins this battle, rises over the top and spoils it out of play for a boundary throw-in. Wright just had a couple of metres on him, thought he might have clunked the mark, but Gardner made up the ground well.
Another inside 50 for Perkins. The 3 picks that Essendon took in that 2020 draft out here together today for just the second time, first time all year from the boundary throw-in. Wright grabs it out of the ruck, tries to hand it away to Caldwell, and in the end it bounces off Cordy's knee and over the boundary line, a throw-in, 40 out from the Bombers' goal. So it was Zach Reid at pick 10, Perkins at 9, Nick Cox at pick 8. And the first round pick from last year's draft, Ben Hobbs at 13, also out there. Bombers by 6 points, 2 goals to 1. This throw-in inside their forward 50. Wright hooks it down behind, McComb taken high. Free kick for the Dogs, coming back to the back flank, and it'll be the second game of the 26-year-old Robbie McComb to take it. Half back for the Western Bulldogs.
Pressure's been pretty good so far, Lids, I think, from Essendon. I think they've been good around the ball, won some good clearances, and also been attacking the man quite well.
Clearance is 7-5. The Bombers' way as the Bulldogs kick it across the half-back line. O'Brien all the way out to Ed Richards, who takes the mark at right half-back. He wants to try and take on Cutler on the mark. Gains his full 5 metres. Up towards Rourke Smith. Spoiled away by Redmond. Hard against the boundary line. Kelly was looking for it. Couldn't find it. Rourke Smith gathers it. Hand pass to Dunkley. Kicks inside the 50. Norton against 2. Out the back. Mitch Wallace kept his footing. He runs onto it. Hand pass fires it out. Flying shot on goal from the left forward pocket is offline from Robbie McComb and misses everything. Out of bounds on the full. Had plenty of time and space.
Third one in the game. Third out of bounds on the full.
Bombers by 6 points.
From shots at goal, that is.
Yep.
Unusual to start. 2 straight to 1 straight, 15 minutes in. Laverty out of the defensive 50, kicks up to the wing. Hobbs missed it completely, goes back in for a second go. Dogs win it at the source. Here comes Daniel, threads a hand pass through to Treloar. Bulldogs over halfway. Great kick to the advantage of Wallace. Put it out into space on the fat side, and Wallace runs into the open space and the fall of the footy to take it 40 metres out, just right of centre.
Well, we spoke about it before. It's nice to see the good guys get on the end of it, and there's no doubt that the harder you work, the luckier you get. He's been on the end of a couple now, and this one was just through pure forward craft, reading the play, reading the cues, and just knew that he had to go to the fat side of the ground.
An emotional week for him, back in his work clothes. Mitch Wallace with 1 already. He doubles up in the opening turn. Wallace with a couple in his comeback game. And we're all knotted up again, 16 minutes in, 2 straight 12 apiece. Grandstand AFL, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
It was smart work from Mitchie Wallace. Just saw that Caleb Daniel, with obviously the short steps like he usually does, but just weaved his way inside out the traffic. Didn't just bang it on the boot and kick it long to with the Essendon defenders dropping off. Took a bit extra time and then used someone, handballed the ball forward to Treloar. And Treloar's just a great user going inside 50. Those are the type of hands you want the ball in when you're looking up as a forward and you see Adam Treloar with the ball in hand. Mitchie Wallace to identify the space behind him and run really well towards goal, and Treloar did the rest, and Mitchie put it through for his second.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Let's check in at the MCG. Ben Cameron.
Well, Took Miller has kicked a goal for the Gold Coast Suns to bring it back to 4 goals the deficit. Collingwood leading. There's 7.5 minutes left. You wouldn't think so, but the Suns are a faint chance, Clinchy.
Bailey Smith got the clearance for the Dogs. He was able to volley it inside 50. Dunkley just couldn't quite get a disposal away. And the footy's locked up 35 metres out from the Western Bulldogs goal. A lot of numbers around this. Steph Martin wins down the tap, looking for McRae. Stringer pinches it for the Bombers, kicks to half-back. Hobbs is onto it. Hand pass out to Martin. He works it towards Durham at half-back. Kick is a tad too wide. And it goes out of play in front of Archie Perkins. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Taylor Duray's come to the bench looking a little ginger. It looks like a corky. He's getting it strapped up as his right leg. He'll be back out there and trying to run it out.
Thanks, Jess. The Bulldogs swing the ball from one side of the ground to the other. This is Dale on the city wing. Kicked inside 50. Steph Martin out to meet it. No mark. Spills to Heppel. He's tackled. Lost it. Inside the forward 50. Wallace grabs it. Is he taken high? There's going to be a free kick. It's going to go the Bulldogs' way. It won't be with Wallace. It's going to come to Lockie McNeil. So McNeil gets the free inside the forward 50. He'll kick from 35 out straight in front.
We can tell the Western Bulldogs they've come with a game plan of trying to stretch the Essendon midfield. They're just going around. I reckon it's happened on 3 or 4 occasions now where they've used the width, gone out the fat side of the ground, and their midfield has just been working too hard to get on the end of it and delivered inside 50, and here we have another shot at goal.
So to give the Dogs the lead for the first time today, Lockie McNeil, the 20-year-old, for his first in the season, he pops it through, and we got our first lead change. 18 and a half minutes in, the Dogs are in front, 3 straight 18, Essendon 2 straight 12. 18 and a half minutes played, Bulldogs by 6, Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio.
Well, just further to what you were saying then, Murph, I feel like the Essendon forwards are letting down their mids here at the moment. They're allowing that switch. They're getting sucked in too much on defence. They're defending too close together, which is just giving up the open side of the ground.
Got to try and cut off that first 1 or 2 initially, don't you, and leave that further one who's probably 60 or 70 metres away from the ball. Come off him and help your defence by coming across and
forcing him down the line.
Covering up another man and, forcing him down the line, because at the moment, I reckon on 3 or 4 occasions, they've just gone wide and be able to transition the ball quite easily out the opposite side and get the ball forward.
The Dogs are the last 2 goals of the match, and they take the lead. Back in the middle of the ground, Draper up against Steph Martin. Draper wins down the tap. Bontempelli can't get a disposal. Martin on all fours trying to lock it in with Parrish over the top, and the umpire will throw it up. Still in the outer of the 2 centre circles. Pretty good crowd for a Sunday afternoon. Somewhere over 30,000. Draper wins down the tap. Parrish loses it. Bontempelli for the Dogs. Hand pass to Bailey Smith. Works it backwards by hand to McRae. And now out to Dale. Kicks towards half forward on a long lead. Cordy couldn't take the mark. Then a good tackle laid by Reid, who wins a free kick. And McNeil is penalised. Great to see Reid back there for Bombers fans. Out wide to Martin. Inward to Caldwell. Just gathered the footy as Waitman was losing, trying to spoil it away, and out to Durham on the broadcast wing.
Heads down to half forward. Guelphy the target. Marks in front of Richards between wing and half forward. Guelphy looks inside the forward 50. Big Draper's down there. The kick's in his direction. Got hands to it. No mark. Follows up. Snaps over his shoulder, but he's offline. Bounces through from behind. First one of the game. Essendon 2-1. The Western Bulldogs are 3 straight. Dogs by 5 points after 21 minutes.
I love how ambitious the big fella was, but I reckon there was a couple of other options just between us 4.
It was a great contest and follow-up, but then I'd probably use the smalls, get into the front.
Straight down the middle go the Bulldogs through Bailey Dale, and it might be coming back. Merrick gathers, hand pass to Heppel for the Bombers, around Liberatore, kicks laterally, but it's over the head of Cutler, and racing back is Daniel, who taps it towards the boundary line, eventually out of play.
Interesting, the Bulldogs all year, they've decided not to stand the mark. We've seen Collingwood now do it in recent times, so they try and get back to essentially have an extra player back in the team defence. But just one to keep an eye on for you two. I'm not sure they're exactly standing the mark, and I'm not sure they're back far enough either, but a difficult one for the umps.
Free kick in the ruck battle going the way of Sam Draper. So again, Steph Martin. He's 52, 53 metres out, so I'd imagine this is beyond him. But given the creative shot on goal previously, who would know what he will do? He puts it towards the teeth of goal. Peter Wright's in the pack. Gardner spoils it down. Almost Stringer. Just couldn't quite get boot to ball. Dunkley threw his head back. Thought he might have had high contact. The umpire didn't agree. He'll throw it up 15 metres out from the Bombers' goal. The Bulldogs by 5 points.
So just on that, the point is either stand the mark or get right out of the zone. Sort of get you 5-10 metres away from where they need to be. From the ball up, top of the goal square for Essendon. Under pressure, Daniel ushers it through for a rush behind.
Just going to that, Corby, I think as a player, like thinking back to when you played Leeds, you'd love him to come off the mark, because that just opens it up for you, doesn't it? 100%. You don't have to go back and work out where to go. You can actually just stand there and deliver.
Dale, long raking kick, looking for Dunkley. Spoiled down by Durham. He combines with Waterman. Back to Durham, hard against the boundary. Long ball to back to where it came, and Dale will take an uncontested mark. Hobbs couldn't quite get back to spoil. And 50 metres against the Bomber. So perhaps a perfect example there of young Ben Hobbs not knowing whether to stand or what to do. In the end, Dale's taken to the back edge of the centre square, so not the full 50. Gives it to Daniel, kicks straight down the middle, but was pushed as he got his kick away, despite Redmond marking for the Bombers on the defensive 50. It's going to be a downfield free kick. And everyone's looking as to who it's going to be. McNeil's going to give the free kick back to Dale, who slipped over. Redmond lays the tackle holding the footy, so the Bombers get it eventually. It's a crazy couple of moments there.
Martin, hand pass away to Perkins. G tries to hook his kick back into the corridor. Spills to Martin, has to mop it up. To Merritt, hot hand pass to Perkins. Gives it to Redmond, back to Perkins. Slips through his hands. Martin for the Western Bulldogs away to Smith. He gives it to Liver, who kicks inside 50, but Draper's back. Takes the intercept mark at Essendon. Just slow it down a little. He links up with Ridley, who kicks out wide for Cutler. Back in the team today, having been the sub against the Dockers a fortnight ago, Cutler goes very short. And up against the boundary line, it's Jake Kelly. Left half back, just about every player in the ground is on the City wing, so Kelly just goes along to the contest in that direction. Wright climbs in the pack with about 5 others. Spills front and centre towards Hobbs. Hobbs can't control it, but knocks it away to Heppel. There's a free kick. Gee, it's going against Hobbs. I think the upset he threw it, so Waitman's going to take it. Logo City wing, Bulldogs by 4 points, approaching quarter time.
Waitman decides to go long and direct towards the Bont, who juggles the mark. Did he have it long enough? No. He had Ridley cooked, just not hanging on long enough. Now a chance for the Bombers. Through Parrish, quick 1-2 with Merritt in quick confinement. Now to Kelly, works it back to Merritt. They're going backwards, not forwards. All the way back to Redmond in the back pocket. He wants a switch play and finds the chest of Ridley in the right back pocket. They're out of defence now.
Kicks to Durham. He takes the mark defensive side of the wing, pokes his pass down the line to Guelphy, who kicked the first of the game, takes the mark. And now Guelphy just loads up and kicks long to right. Lending a hand from the side is O'Brien. He spoils down, but Draper's there for the Bombers. Hands it to Caldwell. Snaps goalward, but he's offline. Misses out to the left. 3 straight behinds for the Bombers, the last 3 scoring shots in the game. It's the Western Bulldogs 3 straight, Essendon 2-3. The Dogs by 3 points, 25 minutes in.
Dale brings the Western Bulldogs back into play. Short to Daniel. He's going to receive it back, having kept running. Has it at right half back for the Dogs, and then with a precise kick finds Ed Richards between wing and half back. So the Dogs by 3 points. Looks to work it. McComb dropped the mark. He now has to try and regather it. Hand pass away to Treloar. The Dogs are going to get a chance to go forward. Hand pass to Liberatore. High kick inside the 50. Waitman the target against 2. And Ridley, with support from Kelly, spoils it out of play for a boundary throw in the right forward pocket for the Dogs.
What's happening at the MCG, Ben Cameron?
Collingwood are going to be winning, Corbin. They're up by 31 points, 27 minutes into the final term.
Come back to you shortly and a full wrap at quarter time on what's happening at the G. From the boundary throw in, Waitman away to McComb for the Bulldogs. Hand pass to Smith in the pocket. He's caught at the back though, and in the end seen out of play by Cutler. So a throw in again, same spot. 25 out from the Bulldogs goal at the Lockett end of the ground. Roof on, Dogs home game. Bulldogs by 3, approaching quarter time. Draper palms it down. Parrish to Durham. Hand pass away to Merritt. He kicks out of the defensive 50. Right up to meet it on the wing. Spills the mark. Invites Dale in for the Bulldogs. Hand pass to McRae. Hands it back to Williams. He can pump the Bulldogs back inside 50. Norton the target deep. A hand on it from Ridley. Did well. Spills to the boundary line. Norton wants to keep it alive and does. Hand pass to Vandermeer. Gets around Redmond. Snaps goalward, but he misses. Kicks it across the face of goal. 3-1 to 2-3. Bulldogs by 4 points. 27 minutes in.
12 to 9, the inside 50s, the way of the Western Bulldogs. As Merritt brings it back into play to Zach Reid, who has it still inside the defensive 50 for the Bombers. Long kick up to the wing. Stringer flew. Free kick for a hold going the Western Bulldogs' way. And Richards wants to take it quickly. Works it to Treloar at the edge of the centre square. Vacant goalmouth. He goes for it. It bounces offline. And in the end, bounces out of play up against the left behind post. The Dogs leading by 4 points and deep in attack with 27 minutes gone in the opening term.
Adam Treloar put the hand up there to say, "Oh, sorry, mate. No, you miskicked it." I don't know what you were doing, young fella.
Better to beg forgiveness than ask permission.
So from the boundary throw in, Draper and Norton to do the ruck work. Draper got a little more on it. Spills down to McGrath. McNeil wraps him up straight away, and the umpire says, "I'll have it." Centre half forward for the Bulldogs. A bit of territory here. A few repeat stoppages inside their front half. Draper tries to kick it away, falling into his back. McRae on Durham and a free kick for the Bombers. And Sammy Durham out of Richmond's VFL in the mid-season draft last year. He's only missed 1 game after making his debut in the back end of 2021. Shifts the ball away to Ridley. And he kicks up to the outer wing and finds Redmond between wing and half back for Essendon.
Work it over the top to Cutler. So the Bombers have it on the wing. And the Bulldogs have His outer wing pretty well covered, so has to try and drive a long kick in the direction of Draper. Clears him, bounced off the chest of Peter Wright, gathered by Bailey Williams for the Dogs. Hand pass to O'Brien, kicks up towards Dale, spoiled away by Cutler. And the ball goes out of play, centre wing. Bulldogs by 4 points. They keep the... the Bombers kick the first goal, they kick 2 of the next 3, and in the end, the Dogs have been in control from that point onwards.
Draper palms it down. Here's Dunkley's hand pass and turnover. Cutler's kick smothered. Ricochets back into the pack of players. Merritt extracts a hand pass, but it runs out of play, and the umpire says deliberate. Didn't do enough to keep it in. Zach Merritt, and a free kick for the Bulldogs.
Almost the old handball forward and run onto it like primary school days.
Didn't quite work out on that occasion. As Dunkley goes back to Williams, and Williams all the way back to Gardner inside the defensive 50. He goes on a bit of a trot, has a bounce, not sure where he's heading. Long drop punt out to the wing. Giray flies, they all miss it again. Spills through to Wallace, went between his legs. Durham jumps on top of it, could have a problem. Wallace locks him up, he's in strife, holding the ball. Free kick for Wallace of the Bulldogs.
Gets the hand pass away to Richards, who kicks wide, and Treloar takes the mark just inside the boundary where the 50-metre arc meets. On the run, you'd think he's half a chance, but this would be tough. Veers out to the right, puts it to the teeth of goal, asking for Bontempelli to fly. He almost juggled the mark. And now a chance for the Bombers through Caldwell, trying to get the hand pass clear to Cutler. He kicks up towards half-back. Good pick-up from Peter Wright. Feeds the hand pass to Guelphy, and the Bombers are away.
Guelphy lifts a hand pass to Caldwell, city wing. Caldwell does a U-turn, tries to give it back to Guelphy, coughs it up. Liberatore for the Dogs, gives it to Richards, hand pass to Williams, kicks deep to the top of the goal square. Norton running back, Ridley beats him to it. And Jordan Ridley takes the intercept mark, swings it across the goal face to Kelly, and he can poke his pass out to Zach Reid on the bell. And we've reached quarter time at Docklands, Sunday afternoon footy, and the Western Bulldogs lead it by 4 points. The Doggies 3-1-19, Essendon 2-3-15. It's the 5th time in 7 games the Bulldogs have been in front at quarter time, despite having only converted 2 of them into victories. The goal kickers, Mitch Wallace on his return, has been well publicised, missing last week's game after the arrival of his second child, baby William, and also the tragic loss of his mother-in-law, who was killed in a car accident. He has 2 in the opening quarter, 1 for Lockie McNeil, the 20-year-old, while for Essendon, Guelphy kicked the first of the game, and Peter Wright has their only other goal.
In just a moment, we'll get a wrap from the MCG, where Collingwood have defeated the Gold Coast Suns. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport.
The aged care sector.
Cost of living.
Tactics from the government.
Young people really care about climate change.
Keep across all the election news that matters to you.
With a lineup of some of the ABC's best podcasts on the ABC Listen app.
Get in-depth reporting from podcasts like Hack,
The Party Room,
and daily coverage from Australia Votes, hosted by Melissa Clark, James Glenday and me, David Spears, as we run through the issues that matter to voters.
All the latest election news that matters to you.
With the ABC Listen app.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Daniel back to Dale, who kept running, links up with Bailey Smith. All the Baileys are combining. He's kicked towards half forward. Redmond back with the flight, couldn't take it. Bontempelli pounces. Mitch Wallace free at the top of the goal square, and he finds him. Tough week for Mitch Wallace. His second child, the death of his mother-in-law, but he's kicking goals for the Western Bulldogs here. And he looks to the heavens as his teammates come from everywhere to celebrate with him. Kick inboard to Martin, who made it work, took it away from Jack McRae, and then works up to half forward, where the mark is taken by Perkins. Hand pass to Heppel, kicks inside 50, right on the lead. Takes the mark in front of his eyes. Didn't kick a goal in the elimination final. There was no Alex Keith there, as there isn't today. And Peter Wright's on the board early here for the Bombers.
Hobbs missed it completely, goes back in for a second go. Dogs win it at the source. Here comes Daniel, threads a hand pass through to Treloar. Bulldogs over halfway. Great kick to the advantage of Wallace. An emotional week for him, back in his work clothes. Mitch Wallace with 1 already. He doubles up in the opening turn. Inside the forward 50, Wallace grabs it. Is he taken high? There's going to be a free kick. It's going to go the Bulldogs' way. It won't be with Wallace. It's going to come to Lockie McNeil, the 20-year-old, for his first in the season. He pops it through, and we got our first lead change.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Quarter time at Docklands. The Bulldogs leading by 4 points. 3-1-19 to the Bombers, 2-3-15. Great to have your company. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Jess Webster on the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are your experts. But full time at the MCG, a win for the Magpies over the Gold Coast Suns. To tell us all about it, here's Ben Cameron.
And what you can probably hear in the background, Clinchy, is the Collingwood song ringing out around the MCG. Their fourth win of the season as they move above 500 this year. It's also a win that will see them move above Richmond and into the top 8. The way it played out in the finish, a 25-point win. The win really set up in the first quarter. They kicked 7 unanswered goals in a period during that opening term after Gold Coast kicked the first 2 to really set up a buffer which they largely held for the remainder of the match. I want to point out one moment, and I don't want to harp on it, I don't want to pick on him, but Levi Casbolt, he missed a set shot from 15 metres out, a slight angle, which at the time would have brought it back to a 1-goal margin midway through the third term. He missed it, unfortunately. Collingwood kicked the next 3. They led by 31 points at the final change, and that was really the game. He did finish up with 4 goals for Levi Casbolt. Would have been the first time in AFL football he's kicked 5. It wasn't to be, but he was impressive nevertheless in spite of that miss. Brodie Myercheck finished up with 4. Tuke Miller, impressive for the Suns, 36 disposals, 17 of those contested in a losing side. But as I said, Collingwood winning by 25 points over the Gold Coast Suns to move into the 8.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for your work this afternoon. So Collingwood winners there at the MCG. And, of course, after this match, we'll be taking you to the SCG where the Sydney Swans take on the Brisbane Lions, 3rd versus 4th. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Well, for not harping on it, Benny, he certainly mentioned it a few times. Poor old Levi Casbolt. Jeepers.
He's kicked 4, he's kicked 20 odd for the year. He doesn't want to harp on it. Anyway, poor Levi.
We'll go back to this game, but you'd have to be pretty comfortable if you're an Essendon supporter with where they sit. I think, as you mentioned, Murph, during the call, that their effort and intensity is okay. I'd just like to see them step through and out of traffic a bit more. I feel like Merritt and Parrish, and it's probably been a bit like that way all year, they've got a tendency just to refer pressure, and they're just passing it on to the next bloke and say, here, you have it now, give it back to me, and I'll give it to someone else. And rather than, I'm going to take this on and step through, take on the tackle a bit, and release to someone who's on the outside versus just trying to flick it and get it moving through hands. So that might be something to look at. I'm sure they'll be encouraged to do that, but it just seems instinct at the moment, isn't it? First given.
I sort of feel that momentum, they're all running back away from goal. They need someone to run forward. So if you can't impact the play, rather than reverting back, and then you need someone to actually go, right, I'm going to run towards goal here. And that way, does it draw a Western Bulldogs midfielder with them? And if it does, then it opens up more space around the ball carrier. If they don't, then you've got that handball release forward. I just feel they keep on reverting back a little bit.
Yeah, you've got to have the courage to step through, don't you? And that's where guys like Dusty and Paddy Cripps, Sammy Walsh is even doing it now. He's not big in stature, but has the ability to step through and try and take that tackle on to get out the front of the stoppage versus let's go back, and then I've got to hoik it forward, So that'll be something for them to try and change in this second quarter.
Into the second quarter we go, with the Western Bulldogs holding a 6-point advantage. The chance for the Bombers to get a disposal here as Merritt trying to get the clearance, can't get it, and Richards emerges with it on half-back for the Dogs. Takes a bounce and a second as he bounced through the middle of the ground. Now a third running away from Stringer, spots up Norton, just spoiled by Ridley at the last moment. Vandermeer onto it for the Dogs, 60 metres out, pokes a kick towards the goal mouth, Waitman out, off balance. Bailey Smith tries to race after into the right forward pocket, squares the ball up, past Liberatore, but finds Vandermeer. He marks down low, 40 metres out from goal.
I don't mind Bailey Smith down there in that forward line. I think he adds some real zip, and no doubt he's got the work rate, but that ball's a dart back going away from goal, but gave him a composed possession, didn't it? Gave his great mate Vandermeer a real good sniff at it.
Pretty hard to stop Bailey Smith when he's quick like that. Latham Vandermeer back from his hamstring injury from just inside 50. That's a nice kick. Steers it straight through the middle into the Essendon cheer squad. And the Bulldogs with the opening goal the second quarter through just a minute. They're 4-1-25 to the Bombers 2-3-15. The Bulldogs by 10 points.
It's a very pure strike of the football, unlike his effort in the first quarter, young Latham, but good to see him put that one through. But it's opened up this game at the start of the second quarter. really important time of the game here for the Bombers. They need to get the next one and get the ball forward and really put some pressure on the Western Bulldogs defence.
Well, they had their chance in the middle here. They just couldn't grab it cleanly, could they? And that's going to be the difference for them. The team is clean. We saw Richards, though, and that's that exact thing. Cut through and went forward out of the stoppage versus back, refer pressure, bomb it forward.
Gives your forwards a great opportunity, doesn't it? Like when the ball's coming quick and straight, it's easy for them to know where to run and where to get to.
Biggest lead of the game, 10 points. The Dogs' way through the opening minute of the second quarter. Martin wins it down. Has Stringer onto it. He's tackled. Bontempelli runs him down. Tried to fend off Treloar, and he had the blinkers on as Bontempelli got him from the other side. And the Dogs win possession back inside the centre square. And that left-footed, heat-guided missile from Bontempelli finds its way to Bailey Smith. His mullet flowing in front of the logo on the City wing. Kicks for Norton, who climbs in the pack. Again, it beats all of them out the back. Corny, hand pass to Waitman. Waitman tackled by McGrath. Great chase. Free kick. And the umpire's going to say holding the ball and a free kick to come back for Andy McGrath. And that is a goal saver.
Love to see that from one of your leaders.
As McGrath goes short to Ridley and Ridley out wide to Redmond, who takes the mark. The junction of the boundary line and the defensive 50. He's just going to give it a whack as he kicks a cannon all the way down the City wing. Hobbs climbs forward. Again, it carries the pack. Out the back to Bontempelli. Defensive side of the wing. Hand pass away to Giray. Bulldogs back with it. Slides up the side of his boot. Dogs retain possession. Bontempelli off the deck. Whacks it away, but straight to Cutler. The former Lion kicks a high up and under down to half forward. Good luck marking that. Wright had a crack at it, flying through. Comes to Parrish. His hand pass to no one in particular. Wright can run onto it.
Got the hand pass to Merritt to Stringer, 45 metres out. Turns, kicks goalward. Just doesn't quite have the distance. And Gardner takes the mark in the defensive goal square for the Dogs. Kicks out to Bailey Smith, who takes the mark with not a lot on offer on the broadcast wing. Waits for Richards to run into space. He takes the mark, looks up, has Wright for company, tries to run away from him, drives a kick towards Waitman. One-on-one with Kelly. It's through Kelly's fingertips. Laverty with the don't argue, which works. Back to Kelly under pressure. To Merritt, feeds it back to Reed. And now Laverty's going to switch play. Out to Redmond in the back pocket. Had Rourke Smith coming late, put the boot up to try and protect himself. And the umpire says that's all legal. Oh, kicked to Perkins in a battle there. Just was able to win the footy away from Duray and work it back to McGrath, back to Redmond. They're treading water here, the Bombers, and now Redmond with a long kick up to the wing. Baldwin the target, Guelphy there with him. But Williams for the Bulldogs knocks it back to O'Brien.
Hand pass to Bailey Smith from the wing. He can pump it back inside the forward 50. Bombers backs trying to withstand a surge here, and Redmond underneath it takes the intercept mark, flicks it out to Merritt, who kicks quickly to the wing. Cox getting forward, takes the mark, links up with Stringer. He's got right deep. That's not a great kick for him. Competes anyway in a 2-on-1. Wins it off the deck. Hand pass back inside the corridor. Baldwin. Hand pass away to Nick Martin. Martin can snap. Can he bend it back enough? No. Are behind. Essendon's last 4 scores have all been behinds. They're 2 goals, 4-16. The Bulldogs 4-1-25. Doggies by 9 points, 5 minutes into the second term.
We welcome listeners who have joined us from the MCG to Docklands in Melbourne. Matt Clinch, Corbin Middlemass, Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio and Jess Webster down on the boundary. The Bulldogs led by 6 points, by 4 points at quarter time. They now lead by 12 and they work it from end to end. And the kick from Jack McRae finds the chest of Cody Waitman directly in front, 40 metres out.
Well, that became everything Essendon would not have wanted. That was circle work there for the last 2 or 3 minutes, and unfortunately that last passage of play was borderline embarrassing for Essendon boys in the way they've defended that. They just got opened right up. Poor old Jakey Kelly, he stood there while Waitman just let up and open air kick, easy.
Failed to hit the scoreboard last week against the Adelaide Crows. Cody Waitman from directly in front hangs it out to the left. And a minor score. So the Bulldogs 4-2-26 lead the Bombers 2-4-16.
Heppel from the kick out sends it to half back, but it's in dispute and the Dogs win it again. Daniel to McComb to Dunkley, hand pass to Bailey Smith, kicks inside 50. Waitman flies for it, no mark, spills out to Ridley of the Bombers. Hand pass to Heppel, sweeping hand pass to the back flank for Kelly, gives it to McGrath who slips over, now he's lost it. Centre half back for the Bombers, Corbell grabs it, he's dumped in the tackle from Dunkley. And the umpire says, I'll have it. Ball up centre half forward for the Bulldogs.
Is it just me, or have we seen a number of blokes run underneath the footy tonight? My goodness.
Very unusual. Maybe like a depth perception thing, Lids, with the roof on here at Docklands.
I've always wondered that, whether when you've played in the elements the week before, you come down here and then it just travels that little bit further.
Bombers at the G, and of course the Bulldogs in Ballarat last week, so
Bit of a difference, Ballarat to Marvel.
absolutely. A free kick for a ruck infringement. Draper's going to get it, so Essendon free kick centre half back, hand pass to Merritt. He's got nowhere to go, so just stops, looks around, puts his hand out, and then kicks it short to Laverty, who marks still at centre half back.
He's going to go wider still to Ridley, who has it at left half back. Kicks up to Kelly. He can come inboard to Merritt, but they've gone no further. They're still at half back. Back to Ridley. Gives the hand pass back to Merritt. Now looks to drive the kick up to the wing. Cox the target. Able to fly in front, Dunkley, and take the mark for the Bulldogs. Releases Richards by hand. Kicks long inside the 50. Up. Bontempelli almost took the mark. Bulldogs fans thought he could have been taken high. Ridley emerges with it. Gets the hand pass away. Links up with Heppel and now to Andy McGrath. He kicks up to the wing. Waterman on a long lead and he takes the mark.
Dogs by 10. 7 minutes into this second quarter as Waterman comes inboard to Parrish. Set a club record on Anzac Day with 44 disposals. A couple of votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year for his troubles as he kicks along. Parrish beyond the wing. No mark for Draper. Spills the Dogs' way, but immediately under the pump. Umpire says play on. Treloar gets it back for the Bulldogs. Hand pass to Daniel. He sends it out wide for Martin, and Martin can't reel it in. It's over the boundary line. So now we've got a neutral ball situation and a boundary throw in between wing and half forward for the Bombers. Full time at the MCG. Collingwood by 25 points over the Suns. And here it's the Bulldogs by 10, 8 minutes into the second.
Martin one down the tap against Draper. The non-officiate umpire said that there's a hold and it's going the way of the Bombers, and Andy McGrath's going to take it. So a chance to try and move it quickly here. Puts it into the pocket. Peter Wright comes out on a lead. Richards had set himself in front of him and he marks on his chest for the Bulldogs. That's the problem for the Bombers. It can be a bit predictable with Peter Wright, the main target, coming out of the goal square. Short to Caleb Daniel. He's going to switch play back out to left half back. McRae takes the mark. Wants to try and hug the boundary line with a kick to Rourke Smith. Beautifully executed by the silky left footer. And Rourke Smith now where to for him. He has Norton Long down the line against Ridley. Call to play on. Thinking about trying to switch play all the way back inside the defensive 50. As he retreats back to Tim O'Brien, he can switch it to Gardner. And the Bulldogs are actually further away from the goals than where they started.
Coming out to the Dock side as he kicks to Richards, who marks still at right half back. And Richards with the blue boots is going to kick beyond halfway. Dunkley takes the mark. A late pressure from Cox. Still in the marking contest at the umpire. Dogs by 10 points, 9.5 minutes into the second. Essendon well set up back. Short kick to McRae, not 15. Hands it back to Dunkley. Ugly kick to half forward. McComb on the half volley. Tackled, lost it. Here's Martin for Essendon. He's mowed down from behind by Dunkley. The umpire says ball up. Right half forward for the Bullies. They're about 55 out from their attacking goal at the Coventry end. 10 minutes into the second quarter. Bulldogs by 10.
Umpire tosses it up in the air, but a free kick for over the shoulder going the Dogs' way in the ruck battle. Steph Martin to take it against Draper. Gives the hand pass boundary side to Daniel. Kicks long towards Norton, in from the side. Good juggling mark taken by Zach Reid. At the top of the defensive goal square. So he seems to have settled straight back in for the Bombers. Not a great kick off balance. It does find Cox, though, who was able to rise over the top of Dunkley.
That was ballsy.
It was. Still inside the defensive 50.
That's not a great kick to Martin. Got to him on the hop. Hands it back to Cox. They're under the pump. Essendon at half back. Hand pass to Parrish. Back to Martin. That's Nick Martin. Short kick to Heppel. Heppel hand pass for some reason to Cox. He gives it back to Martin. Hand pass out wide. Misses Heppel. And it's out of play and Essendon over-possess it. Now we've got a boundary throw in just forward of halfway for the Bulldogs.
And they're trying to get their game up and going, the Bombers here, with a bit more run and dare, but they're just lacking that execution. The Bulldogs are defending far too well.
Footscray by 10. Game high margin at the moment. 10 minutes into the second for the boundary throw in down the Liberatore. Hooks a kick to half forward. Dunkley and Laverty there, and Laverty helped out a play, a throw in. Half forward for the Bulldogs. Story of the day so far, Dylan Shield named as the sub for Essendon. Josh Shankey for the Western Bulldogs. No late change. The Bombers kicked 2 of the first 3, but the Dogs have kicked the last 3 in the game. So just the 1 lead change. And now a game-high 10-point lead for the Dogs.
Cordy having a run in the ruck here. Draper wins it down, but there's no clearance. As Caldwell's on the very bottom of the pack. Umpire throws it up. 50 out from the Bulldogs' goal. Draper drops it down, trying to find Martin. Feeds the hand pass back to Merritt under pressure. Back to Heppel, to McGrath. He's corralled by McComb. Kicks around the corner up towards Peter Wright. Gardner rises, spoils it down to the front. And it rolls out of play for a boundary throw in. So the clearance is heavy the way of the Western Bulldogs. Well, the hit-out's actually the way of the Bombers, 17-9, but it's the Bulldogs 13-12 who lead the clearances.
Mitch Wallace has a couple of goals for the Bulldogs after missing last week. It's really a emotional week for the Bulldogs forward. From the ball up, Cox is caught. Umpire says play on. Ball comes out. McGrath to Merritt to Heppel by hand. Heppel caught, lost it. Bont centre half forward. Hand pass to McComb. Gives it to Wallace. Wallace for his third. He's off target. Hooks it back too much. Missing out to the left.
Just been watching Zach Mer. Is he playing defence at the moment?
Halfback, maybe. Could be.
Interesting.
11 points, the Bulldogs lead, so new game high, 13 minutes into the second.
Ridley brings the Bombers back into play to Heppel. Cox was downed off the ball, so it's going to be his free kick. Gains another 5 metres against Cordy. Still has it at left half back. Looks long down the line, has Peter Wright and Baldwin there. Goes shorter still than that by foot and finds Redmond. Thought about poking it over the top to Heppel, but he's going to get a 50-metre penalty here. Don't think Cordy stood when he was told to stand.
He's had a bad couple of minutes, as Cordy, hasn't he?
Is that even because he was back? Can you still, if you don't come back far enough, that you can still be told to stand? Is that what happened?
Yes. Yep.
There you go.
I think he was leaping up and he was jumping up and down too, which...
Are you not allowed to do that?
Man, I can't jump.
Yep.
I don't know about that. Whether that's really what the
around the grass blades,
rule was designed for. Mason Redmond has kicked a goal before this season. So he's shooting from right on 50. The Bombers defender sets fly and he just hangs it out to the left. And a minor score. He's kicked 9 goals throughout his career, Mason Redmond. It's the Bulldogs leading by 10 points.
Zach Merritt up to 20 disposals already, but only the 6 kicks.
Daniel Long straight down the pipe to Libba, who takes the mark inside the centre square. So the Dogs are going forward in 2 kicks. Long to Wallace, arriving late, can't mark, brings it to ground. Redmond though at the drop for the Bombers. Ugly kick across the half-back line. Dogs win it. Rourke Smith to his namesake Bailey, kicks out to half-forward Norton the target. They're outside the attacking 50 now, the Bulldogs, but Giray wins it under pressure. Hand pass to Rourke Smith, kicks to the top of the goal square. McNeil fights for it, spills down to McComb, chucks it on the boot and bounces it through. Robbie McComb in his second game kicks his first in the big time at 26 years of age. The Footscray VFL best and fairest winner gets the call up onto a senior list and kicks his first goal in AFL footy in his second appearance. The Bulldogs now by 16 points. They've kicked 4 in a row. The Doggies 5-3-33, Essendon 2-5-17, 15 played in the second term.
Well done to the not-so-young man out there in his first game at 26, but...
Second
game, was it? But just got to the right spot at the right time, and there's no Western body on him, just clever little finish.
What was impressive, though, there was 2 parts of it. First was a long one down the middle, and Mitchie Wallace created that contest, which keeps it in their forward half, doesn't give an intercept mark. But then the high ball comes in, and McNeil is just able to create that spillage, which ultimately goes straight to McComb, who pops it through.
Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport. The Bulldogs with the last 4 goals of the match, out to a game-high 16-point lead. Liberatore on all fours trying to get the clearance. Hand pass back to Bailey Smith. Can't get a disposal away. Martin had a crack at it. That's Nick Martin for the Bombers, then becomes the tackler, and that's going to be rewarded. Holding the ball against Steph Martin. Nick Martin kicks the Bombers inside 50 towards Baldwin. Spoiled away from him by Bailey Williams. Waterman runs the boundary line. Got the hand pass away to Peter Wright. And he fails to get a clean hand pass away. He's penalised holding the footy. Rourke Smith back to the last line for the Dogs. Finds Bailey Dale. Wanted 50 against Guelphy. Not coming. Switches it out. And McComb's going to take the mark at left half back.
McComb lays off a hand pass to the run of Caleb Daniel, kicks down the City wing. Strong mark for Dunkley, lays off the hand pass to Liver. Dogs up and going now, kick inside the forward 50. Martin, the target, that's Steph, knocked away from him by Ridley, close to the boundary line. McNeil has it, Laverty tackles him. Umpire says ball up. 40 out from the Bulldogs goal. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Yeah, I've just been watching Nick Cox on the Bombers boundary. He came to the bench looking really sore, had a long chat to the physios. He's been pacing up and down the boundary line. Looks okay, just might not be 100%. Potential corky, I think, maybe.
McRae from the stoppage, kicked inside the 50. Heppel was underneath it, got a shove and just couldn't quite complete the mark. As in the end, it was good body work from Zane Cordy, so one back for him after giving away the 50-metre penalty. And a throw in with the Bulldogs deep in attack in the left forward pocket, leading by 16 points. Martin sets himself in front. Baldwin having a run in the ruck. Tapped it straight down to Dunkley. Pinched though by Caldwell. Gets the hand pass to the run of Durham. Straight through the middle of the ground. Kicks to Stringer. Now he only really has Waterman inside the attacking 50, one-on-one. He carefully waits his kick. Works it to half forward where Hobbs runs onto it. Could have given the hand pass to Cutler instead. Turns to his right-hand side. Good vision, but it's over the head of Guelphy. He completely missed him. Gardner taps it forward at left half-back. Gave away the free kick over the shoulder despite having a 2-on-1. And the Bombers are going to take it back. Matt Guelphy at right half-forward.
Stringer standing on the spot at centre half-forward with his hands out. Wants the footy, won't get it. Now Guelphy's just going to lay it up to the top of the goal square. 2-metre Peters down there, no mark. Off his hand, spills down to Dale. He breaks the would-be tackle from Durham. And the tackle slipped and he's going to get a free kick for being legged. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Nick Cox is headed into the Bombers' rooms alongside a couple of physios, so I'll keep an eye on him. There's no obvious signs of injuries, but obviously going down there to get assessed.
Dale to Williams, and Williams' long kick to Cordy, who marks it right half-back. Zane Cordy kicks inboard, dangerous kick. Hobbs trying to intercept. Traps the footy for Essendon, gives it to Heppel, his hand pass cut out. Caldwell and McNeil bang bodies. Ball spits out to Reid, he's tackled, lost it. Gee, it's tight in there at the moment. Norton held without it, will get the free. And Aaron Norton on the wing will take it for the Bulldogs. Looks inside the forward 50, Wallace is all alone. Takes the mark, they're streaming back into the goal square. Laverty lays the smother on the mark. Ball spills out of play and we'll have a throw in. 40 out from the Dogs goal, and Mitch Wallace quite rightfully asking the question. Laverty had to step off his line to lay the smother with the old stand rule, but the umpire wasn't buying what he was selling, so boundary throw in. 40 out from the Dogs goal.
Bulldogs by 16 points from the throw in. Baldwin and Cordy neither can get a definitive tap, and then they scrap forward at ground level. Treloar and Parrish locking it up.
Do you think as a call stand didn't come out?
Yes. You don't have to stand until he tells you.
Yep. Cordy wins down the tap towards Wallace. Had it tapped away from him. Merritt picks it up for the Bombers. Hand pass to Redman. Almost run down by Waitman. Gets a kick to half back. That might work as Perkins sliding in down low. Marks it left half back. Spots something he likes in the middle of the ground. That's Guelphy. Racing back Dale. Gets to Guelphy with the kick. And now he's got Hobbs free at half forward. The kick hangs in the air a long time. Ray up, drop the mark. Still a chance for the Bombers. Waterman comes up. Hobbs trying to get it to him. Now Waterman has it. He's tackled by Gardner, lost the footy. Liberatore over it. Gets the hand pass to DeRay. Back to Daniel. Feeds it away to McComb, and the Bulldogs are out of defence.
Had numbers out the back. Essendon just couldn't get it to him as McComb kicks wide to a one-on-one.
Oh, I thought he was going to play it then.
Pitches and play, it bounces out of play, so the umpire says throw it in. He was looking for McNeil, who was there with Guelphy. The kick missed him by about 5 metres and one bounce went out of play. Earlier today, Collingwood by 25 points over the Gold Coast. If you missed our updates, it was because Levi Casbolt missed a goal in the third quarter. And the Pies were able to prevail, so big win for Collingwood. From the boundary throw-in, comes down to McComb, kicks down the City wing, spills to Dunkley of the Bulldogs. Hand pass out to half-forward. Laverty over the top of the footy, becomes tackler on Dunkley. Umpire circle says play on. Dunkley and managed to get the footy out. Heppel for the Bombers. Hand pass to Merritt under pressure. Gives it to Kelly. He's hot too. Comes to McGrath. His kick smothered. Bulldogs win it back at half forward. McRae's hand pass to McNeil. A little fumble. Vandermeer wins it. Hand pass through to Waitman. Waitman short to Cordy. Can turn and snap. They've got another one, the Bulldogs. They've slammed on 5 in a row either side of quarter time. And Cordy joins the list of goal kickers And Essendon, their last 5 scoring shots at the other end have all been behinds. The Dogs move to 6-3-39. Essendon 2-5-17. The Bulldogs by 22 points as many minutes travelled in the second term.
Well, it's been a real arm wrestle, hasn't it, Lids? And you just feel the last 2 or 3 occasions, Essendon going inside 50, they've just missed a kick by a couple of metres or just haven't quite nailed that last possession going inside 50 where they should have been lining up for goal on a few occasions. Just haven't had that luck because their skill hasn't quite been there to go inside 50, and then the Bulldogs go down and make something out of nothing, really, and kick 5 in a row. So they certainly need the next one, Essendon.
How good's Joshy Dunkley going at the moment? Doing absolutely everything. Leading tackle on the ground. I think he's up to 15 disposals.
He's at 8 in this second quarter. Caleb Daniel with 16, but Zach Merritt with 22, as Murph may mention. 16 hand passes and just 6 kicks. As the umpire is going to ball it up once more. Bontempelli on the bottom of the pack, unable to break clear. Tackled by Jakey Stringer, who tries to emerge here with the clearance. Just lost the footy. Bailey Smith had a go, but Merritt gets it. Gets the hand pass away to Nick Martin. Kicks inside 50. Right flies. Can't take the mark. Hops front and centre. Hand pass to Stringer. 40 metres out. Turns on his right. Curling shot on goal. Won't have the distance. And Bailey Williams punches it through for a minor score. So 3 goals for the Western Bulldogs in this second quarter. And the Bombers have managed 3 behinds. Bulldogs by 21 points.
I think he's the most interesting off-contract player, Lids, Josh Dunkley. 25. Oh, short kick from Daniel on the kick-out. Reaches Richards on the hop. Goes back to Daniel. Short kick to Bontempelli, not 15. Short pass finds McComb, who marks in the defensive 50 for the Bulldogs.
Hang on, do you think he's more interested than Tim English or Luke Jackson?
Yep.
Okay, tell us why.
Goes back to Gardner. Gardner to half-back for Dale, who puts it inside the centre square. Dangerous kick. Chichere won a 1-on-3. Got it away to Bailey Smith. His hand pass at turnover. Comes to Merritt. Essendon on it. Hand pass away to Nick Martin. Gives it to Parrish, who kicks out wide for Stringer. The premiership winning Bulldog gets the jeers from the Dogs faithful. Kicks it deep to Wright. And a 1-on-1, and Wright takes a contested mark. He had McRae outside trying to fight with him. And at 2 metres tall, Big Peter just put the Jukes overhead and clunked it.
Well, if he was ever going to clunk one, Murph, it was going to be then. I don't think Jack McRae's known for his defensive half-back traits and ability to spoil the footy down there, especially against a bloke Pete's size.
Boy, do the Bombers need this to end the run of 5 consecutive Bulldogs goals, and he slams it through. 1 back for the Bombers. Peter Wright kicks his second for the day, and Essendon, after 6 consecutive behinds, have a goal. 3-6-24. They trail the Western Bulldogs 6-3-39. The Dogs by 15, time on second term.
Well, it was a smart kick at the end from Jakey Stringer. Just put it on Jack McRae's head and let 2 metre Peter do the rest. But I'm happy to see Zach Merritt go back inside into the centre square bounce here, because he's actually been playing quite well. But he's been playing off the half back line and getting a lot of his possession, which are, have been a lot of handballs. So hasn't been quite as damaging as what he would have liked, but he has played quite well. But I just like him to take the game on and just go forward. I know Jakey Stringer's probably in there in the centre bounce now with him to play that role, but I'd love to get more of the ball 50 to 70 out from Zachy Merritt, delivering inside 50.
The voice of Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. The Bombers' first goal since the 8-minute mark of the opening term. The bounce is going to be recalled and will be thrown up in the middle of Docklands. Bulldogs by 15 points. Steph Martin sets himself against Draper. Draper wins down the tap to Parrish. Tackled by Bontempelli. Feeds the hand pass back to Merritt. Back to Redmond on half-back. Back to Merritt, who kicks an awkward ball across half-back line. Bouncing ball for Durham. Gathered it well. Hand pass out in the path of Heppel. Looks to kick the Bombers towards half-forward, where Redmond's kept running. He gets on the end of this in front of Bailey Smith. Veers out to the right, looks to send the Bombers into attack. Long kick looking for Stringer, up with one hand, almost took it on the second. Did he have enough of it? Umpire says yes, as he claimed it on the third bite. Hard against the boundary line, he was dragged down by DeRay. And a tough shot on goal for Jake Stringer.
It's a good mix, I reckon, having Zach Merritt and Darcy Parrish and Jakey Stringer all in the centre square bounce, because Jakey's just going to run hard forward, so the other two can play that win the ball, handball the ball around, get some space, and let Jakey Stringer run forward and really challenge the Bulldogs midfielders and see if they can try and defend him. And he's such a hard opponent to defend, so Jackie Stringer from tight on the boundary.
3 goals, 2 in his return last week from a hamstring injury against Collingwood. This is as tough as they come. Jake Stringer comes in, starts at left, almost bends it back. But the wrong side of the left goalpost and a minor score. So 1 goal, 4 in this second quarter to the Bulldogs 3-2. The Bulldogs leading by 14 points, 26 minutes gone, second term.
Jake Stringer played 89 games for the Bulldogs. He's up to 72 now with the Dons. As Dale goes long, straight down the middle of the ground to Bontempelli, who marks, flares it to the wing. Waitman takes the mark. Dogs up in the front half already. So efficient from the kick out, and Essendon have struggled to defend it all season. Short Waitman to Liberatore. Forward 50 fills up. Libba goes deep to the top of the goal square. Towering fly from Bont. Can't take the mark. Spills to Norton. Hand pass to McComb. Kicks to the goal mouth. G. Martin comes up with it for Essendon, but not 15. Calm under pressure. Kicks out wide. And Baldwin marks at half back for Essendon.
Can come inboard for Hobbs, who just is able to take the mark, leaning back, backpedaling. Feeds the hand pass to Durham, and the Bombers are out of the defensive 50. Up to Redmond at left half back. Hand passes boundary side towards Merritt. Not really sure where to go, so tries to double back away from Bailey Smith. Hand passes back to Hobbs, off the right boot, up towards Caldwell. Had to wait underneath it, and in the end, Treloar is able to spoil it out of play in front of DeRay for a boundary throw in. So the Bulldogs by 14 points. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Jess Webster down the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you. Collingwood 25-point winners over the Gold Coast Suns, and Brisbane and Sydney from the SCG still to come.
Zach Merritt's had 16 in the quarter, 27 in the game already for the boundary throw-in. Bailey Smith, hand pass to Treloar, kicks down the boundary line. Norton the target, Ridley spoils and then goes back and collects the footy that never went out. Half back for the Bombers, Ridley's kick smothered by Norton. Now Norton grabs it, he's tackled by Ridley. Pinged holding the ball. Great one-on-one battle a couple of times, Norton and Ridley at half forward for the Bulldogs. And Ridley will stand up and take the kick for Essendon right on the half-time siren. Big quarter for the Bulldogs. They kicked 3 goals to 1 in that term. They kicked 5 in a row in the game either side of quarter time. And at half-time, it's the Western Bulldogs 6-3-39, Essendon 3-7-25. Doggies by 14 points, a game which they've led by as many as 22. The goal kickers Clinchy, Mitch Wallace kicked 2. They both came in the opening quarter. 1 for Zane Cordy, 1 for Vandermeer, McComb and McNeil. While for Essendon, Peter Wright has a couple, 1 in each quarter. And Matt Guelphy kicked the first of the game. Dogs by 14 at the half.
The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Well, Murph, it looks it's the game's relatively in the balance, but I feel like Essendon just over-possessing. So what are the stats there at half-time? Clinchy, 212 to Essendon to 199 the Dogs. We know the Dogs like to flick it around, but the Essendon are more than capable in that area as well. Well, and I don't want to harp on it like Benny Cameron did with Levi Casbolt, but
I like that you keep mentioning that. Don't think I've forgotten about you, Corby. I'm coming back to Josh Dunkley as well.
Yeah, well, their ability to step through, and I just feel like Zach Merritt's the main culprit here, and I'm not bashing him by any stretch, but I'd much rather see him say, right, I'm not just going to sit at the back and be that quarterback who just goes sideways and then goes backwards again. Come through, mate. You're one of the best kicks in the comp. Go through and use that leg. Stop being a handballer.
You just love to know what the instruction is to Zach, because he looks like he is playing that quarterback role and trying to set up his teammates and work hard defensively, which has been doing a great job. So every time he's got the ball, he's got it in the right position, but he's sort of just then going wide and going slow rather than taking the game on. So I'd love to see him just go, I'm going to have a go here, go straight through the corridor, hit a 45, because there has been opportunities for him to do that. And even some of his running patterns, it's not just him, but it is a lot of the SN midfield. They, rather than run towards goal and open up space and come back in it, they sort of run towards and wide. So they sort of crunch up a lot of the space, which just forces their teammate to have to go short or go wide rather than seeing a little bit more space or a little bit more length and being able to go more direct. I saw Jakey Stringer just before call out to his teammates saying, let's get it in, let's get the ball going rather than just going wide, because they're out possessing and they actually had a few more opportunities. If they just didn't, make a blue going inside 50, they probably would have scored an extra 2 or 3 goals, been right in amongst this game. But they're just a few skill errors, but then also just the decisions just to go a bit too wide and a bit too safe, I think, too often.
For a side that lacks height, it's surprising how slow they are. Sometimes you get it inside 50. Matt Guelphy was free a couple of times at the top of the 50-metre arc, the edge of the centre square, and the ability to hit that kick was sort of what's let them down in various patches.
Well, that's it. A couple of times they've had the easy option, but it's either been just the wrong side, which has allowed the Bulldogs defender to come in and just impact in the air. But if they haven't done that, they've run underneath it, which I'm almost getting tired of seeing how many times they haven't been able to get a contest and bring it to the front where your numbers are. The ball gets out the back, and that's where the Dogs players, particularly Daniel and Dale, will always be sweeping around the back there and cleaning that up. So there's a reason why those two boys are at the top of the list for the Dogs in terms of possessions. But I mentioned him, and just before we go to our main man, Big C, but Josh Dunkley, I loved his work in the first half. 15 touches, 10 of those contested, 4 tackles. Super strong overhead for a guy who's not the biggest out there, but I like his first half. And, we've mentioned Merritt and Redmond probably off half-back for Essendon, probably been their two best.
I assume you're Big C, Corbin, but in a moment, Jess Webster on the boundary.
Yeah, Nick Cox re-emerged from the rooms just before the halftime siren and did a bit of a fitness test along the boundary. He was pointing at one stage to the back of his right ankle. My best guess is about Achilles or maybe a calf. He didn't look great. He did a bit of an agility test and then went back into the rooms with the rest of the players. So we'll see what happens during halftime, but Essendon might have to make their sub and bring Dylan Schill into the game.
Thanks, Jess. Great work on the boundary. Jess Webster with us. So, Big C, you reckon Josh Dunkley's the most sought-after out-of-contract player?
No, my comment was I find him the most interesting off-contract.
Interesting. Sorry, I didn't misquote you.
Off-contracted player. So that would mean that I probably think English and Jackson are likely to stay at their particular club. So
Jordan De Goey?
Jackson, same. I think. But whereas I think Dunkley's fascinating because he's in his prime. He's 25.
Yeah.
I feel like he's kind of gettable because the Dogs have a lot of those kind of guys. He almost went 2 years ago, decided to stay.
But now what about Adam Treloar? They're so connected.
Correct, they're bros, but that might sort of get broken up. But I just wonder if it's not just because it's not so much even about Dunkley this time. Maybe it's in the Dogs' best interest.
Yeah. Well, they got off for 2 first-rounders last time, didn't they? So I wouldn't have thought that's going to come again, would you think? So,
but say it does. Given where the Dogs are at in the cycle, is it almost more on them that maybe they get the 2 first-round picks?
Well, that's it. Look at their last 2 drafts that they've had. Ugelhagen and Darcy. They've been out the back end off that, so they're probably lacking that top-end talent they're looking to, other than those 2 key position boys. So can they get some more? Maybe they can. I don't know. Look, it's going to be a very good wait and see.
Interesting, isn't it?
It's interesting. That's the word that you use. I was always with you, mate. I just
think it's interesting because I feel like there's 2 parties to it, whereas I think all the other cases are the club wants to keep them and it's up to the player to decide whether they want to go or whether they want to stay, whereas in Dunkley's case, I'm not sure that the Dogs would even pay him market value because they've got to fit everyone into this cap. English is off contract as well. I imagine he'd be a priority, harder to replace a big guy. Whereas they might look at their midfield and go, as good as he is, we already got that we're paying like Bailey Smith and these kind of players, and maybe we shop him, get someone else in, reset the cap on 2 first-round draft picks.
Well, you'd almost feel that he'd almost get double going somewhere else. And if it all comes down to whether the Bulldogs play finals, how well they do go at the back end of this year, because if they are contending again, which you'd like to think they are, but they've got a long way to go from where they sit right now, that money almost comes secondary because he's happy in his environment. He's obviously got his best mate in Adam Treloar there. And they're a successful side, and he sees a premiership, whereas he's probably likely to go to a different side where he's going to get paid more money and maybe not at that top echelon in terms of looking towards a premiership straight away. So who knows what happens. It'll be a lot down to, I think, the money and then obviously how the Bulldogs are going.
Did you ever become... But if you're the Bombers, Murph, you're not offering double for him, are you, given the team set up now?
That's not what the Bombers need.
No, well, probably not. No, well, he'll fit someone quite well because he's a very good player. So there's no doubt there'll be teams coming for him, and the paychecks will certainly be a lot higher than what he's going to get at the Bulldogs.
Did you ever become best friends with a new recruit that arrived at the club straight away?
Yeah, he come from his club, Grigger.
Yes.
We were very tight.
Yep,
and you haven't shaken him yet?
No, he's still there.
Yep. So I'm trying to think. Daisy came from Collingwood, and he was MC at my wedding.
There you go.
Wasn't quite good enough to get in the bridal party, but
MC's usually the next one down, isn't it?
And he can talk a lot of rubbish, as we all know.
Yeah.
I've had a few of those gigs where you're not quite in the bridal party, but you're the MC responsibilities. You don't get to drink till after the speeches.
I didn't quite work with Daisy, I don't think.
Half-time here at Docklands. It's the Western Bulldogs leading by 14 points. We've digressed enough. Let's get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Labor is promising to drop the price of medicines on the pharmaceutical benefits scheme by $12.50 if it's elected in 3 weeks' time. The changes would take place before the 1st of January next year. The coalition's promised to reduce the cost of PBS medicines by $10 to a maximum of $32.50. Launching the party's campaign in Perth, the leader, Anthony Albanese, has argued healthcare will be stronger under a Labor government.
The maximum price for PBS medicines will be just $30 because we know that the price of medications has gone up under the Morrison government, just like the cost to see a doctor has gone up.
Ukrainian forces trapped inside Mariupol's Azovstal steel plant say 20 civilians have managed to evacuate, but hundreds more are still sheltering in the facility. A commander of the Azov battalion says he hopes the group have been transferred to Zaporizhia, but their whereabouts are not yet confirmed. Sister Love Palomar says an agreed ceasefire had held an evacuation order had gone ahead.
As of 1940, we transferred 20 civilians rescued from the rubble to the agreed location. These are women and children, and we hope that these people will go in the agreed direction, namely to Zaporizhia, to the territory controlled by Ukraine.
Reports from the Kherson region in southern Ukraine say mobile phone signals and mobile internet access have disappeared. It's not clear why, but reports quoted one operator as saying it was not an accident. The Russian ruble will also be used in Kherson from today, according to Russian-backed forces that have occupied the city for the past 2 months. The Ukrainian government's warning that Russia's preparing to hold a sham referendum in the region intended to turn it into a people's republic. A Tasmanian man in his 80s has died from COVID at an aged care facility in the state's south. Here's Liz Gwynn.
51 people have died with COVID-19 in Tasmania since the start of the pandemic in 2020. There are currently 43 people in hospital with the virus. 19 patients are being treated specifically for their symptoms. 3 people are in ICU. The state recorded 816 new COVID cases in the past 24 hours, which is down from yesterday's number of 1,054. There are currently 6,289 active cases in Tasmania.
Western Australia's recorded 5,551 new COVID-19 cases. WA Health says there are 221 people in hospital with the virus. 7 of them are in intensive care. There are currently 43,437 known active cases in WA. 2 men in their 40s and 50s have died in South Australia after contracting COVID-19. The number of patients in SA hospitals with the virus has fallen by 21 to 229. 16 people are in intensive care. 1 person's on a ventilator. There have been 3,070 new infections with fewer tests taken yesterday. There's currently 24,700 active cases. Police are appealing to the public for information into a fatal gangland shooting in Sydney's southwest. Cecilia Connell has the details.
39-year-old Mahmoud Brownie Ahmed was killed in a hail of bullets on a Greenacre street on Wednesday night. Police say they're following up specific lines of inquiry and the investigation is progressing. State Crime Command Director Detective Chief Superintendent Darren Bennett says Mr Ahmed had been warned many times that his life was at risk.
Brownie Ahmed's been like a toddler on the freeway for 10 years.
In an unrelated incident, police say 2 men aged 36 and 25 will face Parramatta Court today on drug charges after being arrested on the way to Mr Ahmed's funeral yesterday.
An anti-gambling lobby says the number of gambling ads on Victorian free-to-air televisions increased by more than 250% in just 5 years. The Victorian Responsible Gambling Foundation says data released by Nielsen shows an average of 948 gambling ads were broadcast daily on free-to-air TV in Victoria, up from 374 ads in 2016. An emergency service official says a drought-driven bushfire in the U.S. state of New Mexico has exploded into a mega fire and could still more than double in size. Fueled by ferocious spring winds in parched mountain forests, the Calf Canyon fire is by far the largest and most destructive currently burning in the United States. The blaze east of the city of Santa Fe has already destroyed hundreds of properties and triggered thousands of evacuations. ABC News.
It was never their plan.
You've got to stop running the business out the back of my van.
Don't throw everything away for a dream that's never going to happen.
To become billionaire surfwear barons.
Tracy and I, we're building the future. The company is called Lightwave.
So how did that wave get so far out of control?
It is my company, Tracy.
We started this business together.
Catch new Aussie drama, Barons.
When did all this stop being fun?
Sunday nights on ABC TV or log in to stream on ABC iView.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL. On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Vandermeer onto it for the Dogs. 60 metres out. Pokes the kick towards the goal mouth. Waitman out off balance. Bailey Smith tries to race after into the right forward pocket. Squares the ball up. Past Liberatore, but finds Vandermeer. Lathan Vandermeer back from his hamstring injury from just inside 50. That's a nice kick.
Norton the target. They're outside the attacking 50 now, the Bulldogs, but Duray wins it under pressure. Hand pass to Rorke-Smith, kicks to the top of the goal square. McNeil fights for it, spills down to McComb, chucks it on the boot and bounces it through. Comes to McGrath, his kick smothered. Bulldogs win it back at half forward. McRae's hand pass to McNeil, a little fumble. Vandermeer wins it. Hand pass through to Waitman. Waitman short to Cordy, can turn and snap. They've got another one, the Bulldogs. Parrish, who kicks out wide for Stringer. The premiership winning Bulldog gets the cheers from the Dogs faithful, kicks it deep to Wright, the 1-on-1, and Wright takes a contested mark. Boy, do the Bombers need this to end the run of 5 consecutive Bulldogs goals, and he slams it through.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Half-time at Docklands in Melbourne. It's the Western Bulldogs leading by 14 points over the Bombers. 6-3-39 to Essendon 3-7-25. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlebass call the action. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy are your experts, and Jess Webster down on the boundary. After this match, we'll be taking you to Sydney and the Brisbane Lions. That match about to get underway. No late changes with James Bell, the sub for the Swans, and James Madden for the Brisbane Lions. The one match earlier today, Collingwood their 4th win, defeating the Gold Coast Suns by 25 points. Levi Casbolt with 4 goals. Brody Myercheck kicked 4 in after the game. He caught up with Lauren Borden.
So I've got Brody Myercheck here, 4 goals for you for today. It felt like a little bit of a regulation win. How did you feel it was out there?
Good win, still enjoyed it. They come at us a few times throughout the game, and we just did our job. They're the ones we need to win, and we got the job done, which was good. And then, everyone played their part, and it was, good end to the day.
They did kind of come out at the start of each quarter and jump you a little bit. Did you feel like you were always in control, though, and could bring it back your way?
Yeah, felt in control. We'd been scoring pretty good all day and pretty quickly, so we knew when we got it in the forward line we could score. And just composed all game, and I think that helped us in the long run.
You're obviously tall marking target. You took some good marks today. You've got Ginnivan playing that smaller role. Is it a bit of an exciting and a fun forward line to be playing in?
Yeah, it is. I would like another tall down there. We're losing a few talls, but I'm doing well and I'm happy with myself. I wouldn't think I'd be the main forward of our forward line, but I'm enjoying it, and it's a good challenge and a good way to build my leadership down there as well.
And you mentioned tools there, obviously Brodie Grundy, first game without him, Cameron and Begg coming there. You didn't win the tap-outs and the clearances that way, but how do you think that'll play out for the rest of the season, or at least the next few months?
Not sure how it'll play out. Beggy went well today for his first game, competed well, and Darcy just sticks at it, and he took a few marks and kicked some goals as well, so not sure how it'll play out or who will come in, but we'll sort it out, and I'm sure we'll be fine.
Big game next week with Richmond, the Western Bulldogs and Fremantle. A bit of a difficult run coming up. How does this win, and obviously last week against Anzac Day, kind of set you up for this run coming up?
I don't know. Well, everyone says they wouldn't have tipped us to be 4-3, so any win's good and any form's good coming against Richmond, who belted West Coast on Friday night. So, we just play our game plan and see how it holds up against the better teams.
Any win is a good win. Thanks for joining us on ABC Grandstand.
Thank you.
That's Bryden Myercheck chatting there with Lauren Borden and the ABC Grandstand team, and Aidan Begg getting a win in his first game as a Magpie. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. Some big numbers in the NRL, round 8 of the competition there. The Melbourne Storm 50 to Newcastle 2. So the Storm by 48 points, and in the match which has just gone underway, the West Tigers lead 2-2 zip against St George Illawarra. Actually, it's half an hour in, so scorelines don't reflect the game duration. Matt Clinch and Corbin Minimas call the action. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you. Jess Webster, the final member of our team. Jess, we've seen a sub at half-time.
Yes, it's bad news for Nick Cox. He's out of the game with a right ankle injury. Dylan Shield, the medical sub, comes into the game for the Bombers.
Thanks, Jess. So Dylan Shield, the surprise axing, and then even surprising her that he was named as the medical sub.
The Bombers have won only 2 of a possible 12 second-half quarters this year, so they've been poor after half-time. How do they use Dylan here, Lids? What would you do with him? He's sat on the bench for the first half. Yep. He's had the embarrassment of being dropped, then he's been named the sub. Now he gets a full half, so he actually gets to warm up at half-time and then go at it for 2 quarters.
Well, his strong suit, mate, for mine, is straight inside and allow him just to work on the things that you've obviously put him out of the team for. You know, your defensive transition is what we've been told. The things he needs to improve on. Plonking him out in the wing where Nick Cox has come from, I don't think that's going to play to his strengths. Get him inside, allow him to burst through, and that's exactly what they need in terms of get out the front of stoppage. That's where he has played his best footy for the Giants and even for the Bombers since he's been here. So it'll be very interesting to see. And right as we speak, he's lining up in the middle, so he'll be told just to go, and hopefully doesn't need to come off for too many rests because he'll be fresh.
No, well, I hope obviously he's going to work on his defensive side of his game, but I just love him just to try and get hard forward. He's playing with Merritt and Parrish, who are getting a heap of the football, but they're probably not getting it where they really want to be getting in terms of just delivery inside 50, other than the first of the game from Parrish. But Dylan Shield, work hard, get some tackles, outbody your opponent, and then get hard forward and try and give it to some of your forwards.
Don't handle it, kick it.
Out of some space, because he's a great user of the football and he can break the lines, is what they need.
So the Western Bulldogs by 14 points, 6 goals to 3 in the opening half, and Josh Shackey, the sub still for the Western Bulldogs, who hasn't been required. Into the second half we go. Bulldogs by 14 points. Here's Corbin Middlemass.
Dogs have kicked 5 of the last 6 in the game as we get ready to go into quarter number 3. As umpire Johannesson whacks it into the turf, Draper palms it down, and Shield involved immediately. Has a 1-2 with Merritt and then kicks it out to the wing. Guelphy should have taken the mark, spills it. Comes down to Daniel of the Bulldogs, heads to half forward. Bailey Smith the target. Spills to Reid though, hand pass to Shield. So there's number 3. Away to Heppel, hand pass inside to Durham. To Parrish, back to Shield. He's caught. Got a hand pass away as he's tackled by Vandermeer. Bontempelli gives it to McNeil, and Durham locks him up in the middle. And a ball up alongside the centre circles. The Doggies by 14 points, 30 seconds into the third term.
Tossed up in the air. Draper wins down the tap, but straight to Bontempelli. Couldn't get a disposal away. Here's Shield once more. Another disposal into the action. Kicks towards Stringer. Spoiled away from him. O'Brien fisted the ball away. Andy McGrath on the bottom of the pack, and Rourke Smith locks it up.
5 quick ones to start. That's not a bad way to come into the game, is it?
Taken his medicine, hasn't he, and really shown him early.
Probably the only thing you've got to be mindful of is whether they look to give him the footy too much when he's not in position.
He's fresh, let him burst out.
Liberatore wanted to try and take the advantage from a free kick going the Bulldogs' way. McRae held before the ball was tossed up, and now 50 metres. Matt Guelphy was the player on the mark, but it's Zach Merritt with the arms outreach to. I'm not sure if it's 50 metres against him for. McRae doesn't waste any time, kicks inside the 50. Norton had a grab of it, couldn't hang on to it. Ridley was there with him. Nick Martin for the Bombers, hand pass to Kelly under enormous pressure, tackled and lost it. Now Martin trying to be dragged down by Cody Waitman, who's lying on the turf. The umpire will throw it up in the left forward pocket for the Bulldogs.
How good was that tackle from Laith Vandermeer? He has laid out Jake Kelly.
Did we just see a descent 50 metres? It's back.
Well, I think it was.
Wow. Up it goes, half forward for the Bulldogs. Draper knocks it to the boundary line, and McRae's crunched by Nick Martin out of play. So the sub's been made. Cox out, Dylan Shield on. Josh Shackey is the unusual medi-sub for the Bulldogs. He hasn't been required as yet.
I say that with no confidence because Merritt had his arms outreached, but without the umpires mic'd up, it could have been for Guelphy not standing.
Merritt had 26 touches in that first half for Essendon after Parrish had 30 in the first half last week for the Bombers. Draper grabs it out of the ruck, kicks it forward, but Hobbs caught behind Giray. And the two-time premiership winning Hawk takes the mark. Dogs lock it in their front half. He kicks wide to McRae. Forward 50 fills up. Kick heads in Norton's direction, out at half forward. Ridley leads underneath it, hands on it from Norton, can't complete the mark. And Waitman fumbles it out of bounds. A throw in 40 out from the Dogs' goal. Earlier today, Collingwood by 25 points over the Suns after Levi missed a goal in the third quarter. And in the game between the Swans and the Lions, no late change. Brisbane the first score after 5 minutes. They've got one behind. Swans yet to get on the board.
Jack Ginnivan with 3 goals after 5 and an Anzac Day medal. Bailey Smith kicks inside the 50 towards Norton, but at the back of the pack, marking on his chest is McNeil. Not sure the intended target, but if you put yourself in the right place at the right time and it clears the hands, you can end up with the footy in your lap.
Quite sure whose man that was. It just he'd slipped. Dyson Heppel went forward to Bontempelli. McNeil just sat there at the back all by himself, didn't he? Just fell all the way through. As I said, everyone's been running underneath, and so the smart place would be to be at the back.
Lachie McNeil kicked a goal in the opening quarter at a 45-degree angle. He comes in and steers it straight through the middle. McNeil with his second, and the Western Bulldogs strike first in the second half. They extend their lead out to 20 points. 4 minutes gone in the third term. 7-3-45 to the Bombers, 3-7-25.
Not sure if you can answer me this question or not, Lids, but Dylan Shield has 5 touches within 2 minutes, then goes to a half-forward flank.
Yeah. When you're running hot, you sort of want to stay in and around the footy a bit. Maybe that's one of their rotations where they have someone from half-forward come up and play more as the on-baller, and he shoots forward, but, geez, he started the quarter okay. I'm not sure he's going to be your marking target as a half-forward, is he? So, no. Back in the middle, with the centre bounce now, though, so try and give him that drive.
Just slot back in with some quiet boots, Dylan Shield.
No. Got to be loud, out and proud.
Just roll out the bright yellow wheels for Dylan Shield with 5 early touches after being subbed on. Back in the middle, it's the Dogs with the centre break. McRae hooks the kick to centre half forward. Heppel there. Hand pass in the Redmond direction. He's under the palm. Draper got it. Stands up with the footy. Dispossessed in the tackle. Advantage applied from half forward. Wallace kicks to the goal square. Dunkley's out the back, and another one for the Bulldogs. They got their foot on the gas early in this third term. And the Dogs have now kicked 7 of the last 8 goals in the game. The Bulldogs by a new game high. They're up by 26 points, 8-3-51. Essendon 3-7-25. 5 played third term.
Great tackle by McNeil on Draper, but I have a feeling before that, Dyson Heppel had the chance. He won it back from the centre bounce, and he just tried to invent a handball going. He kept it in the area. Mate, you're in the back line. Clear that thing. Get it out onto the wings and allow your mids to spread and then make a contest further down the ground. Allow your backs to find their men, get set up again. But that pressure, that forward pressure from McNeil on Draper, little bloke on a very big bloke. Great tackle. And well read by Dunkley running back into goal.
Bulldogs out to a game-high lead of 26 points. Back in the middle of the ground, bounce favoured Martin, who wins it down against Draper for the Dogs. Gets it to McRae, to the runner, Bailey Smith. Kicks wide to half forward, Waitman one-on-one. Against Kelly, takes the mark. Bounces to his feet, kicks to the lead of Norton. It bounced off his chest. Tried to grab it on the third bite. Ridley had a touch of it. It spills out to Treloar, 65 metres out from home. He kicks to the pocket. It's wide at Bontempelli. He gathers against Shield. Good tackle laid. And Dylan Shield ends up with a footy. Off half-back, kicks up to Baldwin. Got nudged underneath it by O'Brien. The Bulldogs come up with it. O'Brien's hand pass to Treloar. Ducked out of a tackle. Pinned along in the footy.
Right call.
As Treloar tries to plead his case, he thought he was taken high and then carefully puts his hands in the air to not show dissent.
So free kick for Kelly. Goes long down the wing. Martin floating across in front of the pack. That's Steph. Free kick. It's a push. It's going to Baldwin. And Kane Baldwin in his third game to take the free between wing and half forward. A young key forward for Essendon. He looks in the Peter Wright direction. Comes down towards Durham. Can't get boot to ball. Now off his knees. Hands it out to Draper. Shoots goalward. Hurried kick misses to the left. Dons were 2 straight. They're now 3 goals 8. So I'll make that 1 goal 8 from their last 9 scoring shots. It's the Bulldogs by 25 points, 7 minutes into the third.
Chance for the Dogs to try and take it back, although a good tackle laid by Zach Reed, which locks the footy up. And a ball up at left half forward for the Dons. Bulldogs by 25 points. Opening goal the way of Sydney's against the Brisbane Lions. Through Errol Goulden, they lead by 5 points. Caldwell breaks away from the clearance. Kick partially smothered. McRae, great courage, rushing back with full force. He's tackled by Waterman. And the umpire will throw it up 40 metres out from the Dons' goal.
Up it goes. Wright and Steph Martin lock up. Wright pushes it down the throat of Caldwell, who's under the pump from the stoppage. Got it out to Guelphy. Hand pass to Hobbs. He's gang tackled. Ball comes out. Umpire says play on. Baldwin chases down the Bulldogs defender on the last line. The ball comes out. The umpire says holding the ball. It's Gardner who's tackled and dispossessed, and Baldwin will get the free. Pressed up against the fence, left forward pocket.
Great work by the Essendon forwards there, just pressuring, harassing, scrapping away. That's what you like to see from your forwards.
Manly did 2 ACLs before his draft year when he was highly touted to go high. He gets his crack now, and in his 3rd game, the teenager has his first goal in AFL footy. Baldwin bends it true from the boundary line, and a much-needed goal for the Bombers. The Bulldogs lead cut to 19 points. The Western Bulldogs 8-3-51, Essendon 4-8-32. 9 minutes played in the 3rd term on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, you're right, Murph. It was good forward craft, forward pressure, wasn't it? But I'm not sure what Gardner was doing there. He thought he'd just stroll out and lace out a target. No, mate. In the last line, I reckon you're going to be under the pump, and we're trying to turn the ball over down there. But that's something that no doubt they would have been big on, the Bombers, given their lack of tackle intensity, tackle pressure. To get one in your forward 50 and to get a goal out, well done, young fella. Nice way to kick your first.
We like a player kicking their first goal in AFL footy, don't we?
We do, absolutely.
Absolutely. Kane Baldwin.
In his 3rd game for the Bombers, a goal for Dan McStay at the SCG, so a goal apiece there. Brisbane leading by a point. Back in the middle here, Caldwell tried to break clear, lost it. Cordy comes up with it for the Dogs. Hand pass over his shoulder, the voice of McRae. He feeds it wider still to Rourke Smith, stripped of it by Shield. Comes the way of Guelphy of the Bombers. Hand pass into the middle of the ground for Draper. Back to Caldwell at half-back. Kicks up towards half-forward. Waterman on a long lead. He toe pokes it away from DeRay. Out towards the boundary line, and he's happy to see it across. Gathered it just in front of where Jay Stringer's getting his left knee looked out. He sort of rolls his shoulder over and has a look. Yep, righto, throw it in. Didn't seem too deterred by the fact that he was about to be cannoned into. Puts the arm up to say he's right to come back on. Bulldogs by 19 points. Toss back in. Draper and Cordy. Draper down to the front. Treloar trying to get after it. McComb knocks it out. It comes the way of Redmond of the Bombers. Kicks across half back. Challenging one for Durham. Didn't take it cleanly. Now Rourke Smith does. Chips a kick out in front of Dunkley. Can't quite take the mark. Laverty dragged him down when he wasn't in possession of it. And Josh Dunkley 60 metres out from goal. Norton comes out on a lead. Ignores that. Waitman as well. 2nd or 3rd lead from Norton out to the left forward pocket. Can't take the mark. Durham over the footy. Hand pass on one knee, genuflecting, works it back to Cutler, and then to Redmond. Switches play out to Perkins at left half back. Right there with him, McRae, the 2 tangle. Perkins was held by the umpire when not in possession. He'll take the relieving kick at right half back for the Bombers.
The 20-year-old Archie Perkins. This kicks a high ball down the line. Guelphy, just a little nudge on Daniel, and then takes the mark against his opposite number 35. The peroxide blonde hair, Guelphy pokes it down the boundary line, and Caldwell takes the mark. Dogs by 19 points, but the Bombers kick the last of the game. They've now travelled 12 minutes into the 30, goes short to Parrish. Had 30 in the first half last week. He's got 18 so far as he kicks in the Peter Wright direction, charging out. Pack of about 5, spills down to Waterman, can't take it clean. Waterman eventually collects, tackled immediately. And the ball up, 5 in for the boundary line, 45 out from the Bombers' goal. It's the Bulldogs by 19 points, 12 minutes into the 3rd.
Wright sets himself against Cordy, tries to tap the boundary side. Caldwell couldn't take it. Treloar's in there, bounced into Hobbs, was tackled when not in possession. And the Bulldogs number 1 will take it in the left back pocket. Gets up and quickly switches it to the goal line where Bailey Dale goes a barrel towards Rourke Smith. takes the mark at half-back. Liberatore through the middle of the ground, receives the hand pass, wants to try and get onto his left-hand side, squeeze the kick out to Richards, plenty of space on the City side, takes the bounce, now 2, Redmond tries to corral him, Richards back onto his left, kicks inside 50, won't get to Norton, lunging forward, dropping the mark was Reed. Still a chance for the Bulldogs though. Liberatore's locked up, spills out to Norton, hand pass to McNeil, couldn't take it cleanly. Reed has another go for the Bombers. Hand pass away to Redmond, high up and under kick towards Peter Wright in the middle. He and Bontempelli do battle in the middle of the ground. Spills out now to Cordy, hand pass to Treloar. Couldn't quite get it to McComb, but good fight for it at ground level. Treloar takes it, ringed in the turf by Hobbs. A good tackle, but the Bombers emerge with it through Martin.
Oh, Martin just threw it out to McGrath. The umpire, a little delayed, eventually blows the whistle and a free kick for the Dogs. Nick Martin had one arm pinged and as a result just laid it off. Liberatore takes the free across the centre square to Duray. They're queuing up. Rourke Smith all alone. Takes the mark, 25 out right half forward for the Bulldogs.
It was a bit of a raffle then going inside 50. Had probably about 3 or 4 options, which is not ideal if you're an Essendon supporter or an Essendon fan coming along today to Marvel, because at the moment it looks the Bulldogs are starting to run away with it a little bit.
Unlucky Nick Martin though, he just lost control of the footy. Unfortunately it slipped off his hand. It was a throw, but a bit stiff.
Genuine good scoop, wasn't it?
It was a good scoop.
Rourke Smith, first game since round 3. The lefty moves in, slots it. Dogs back up by 25. 14 into the third, 9-3-57 Essendon, 4-8-32. The Dogs just responding to every Essendon push. Grandstand AFL, Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio.
They certainly are, Corby. They have responded every time that Essendon have kicked one. The Bulldogs have just gone bang, bang, just to try and close the door again. And other than that chase down tackle, it sort of looks like going inside 50 for Essendon's pretty tough at the moment. They just can't get any free ball, any flowing ball. I have liked the start of Jai Caldwell, though, in this third quarter. He's actually trying to get on the move and get some momentum going forward towards the Essendon goal. So he's starting to get something going for them, but not quite working out for them at the moment.
Former Carlton 300 gamer Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Still the Brisbane Lions leading by a point at the SCG, a goal apiece. Wright's able to get a second tap, gets it to Parrish, who gets the clearance, kicks over the head of Perkins, and 2 wide in the end for Baldwin. And it rolls out of play in the right forward pocket for the Bombers.
Just a perfect opportunity there, Liz, just to go long and strong. Get a
straight.
centre clearance straight out the front door and end up in the forward pocket, about 35 out from goal.
It's been one of the frustrations for the Bombers, the inability to hit a target inside 50. Wright wins down the tap towards Shield, the sub into the action at halftime in expense for Cox. Dale intercepts, hand pass to Richards, kicks around his body, and Vandermeer at half-back for the Bulldogs. Away to the runner, Treloar. 2 bounces. He's got Daniel laterally wide on the City wing. Feeds the hand pass out to him. Now trying to find a way around Kelly. Kicks up to McComb, who marks it right half forward. He tries to return it to Treloar. The kick was off his shin, though. And Durham for the Bombers. Combines with Nick Martin. He turns and kicks towards Parrish. Had to wait a long time underneath it. And Dunkley pinched it. Trying to take the second grab. High ball inside 50. Wallace is there. And Bontempelli in from the side. Ends up with the footy 15 metres out directly in front.
Oh, Darcy Parrish had liked that one over again. Josh Dunkley had almost given up on it. But with the fumble, it just brought him back into the play. I just want to highlight the clever work and the subtle, but Mitchie Wallace just allowed Bontempelli to come and have that free run at the ball. He just held his ground, kept Zach Reed out of it. Bontempelli comes back with full confidence, knowing that no one's going to crash into him.
Jason Johannison told us before the match that he's channeling a bit of Luke Beveridge with the moustache. The Bont looks to come in and steers through his first of the game. The Western Bulldogs all of a sudden are out to a 31-point lead. 10-3-63 to the Bombers 4-8-32. The Bulldogs with 4 goals straight to the Bombers 1-1 in this third term.
It's a tough game at times, and it leads him. Darcy Parrish works hard to try and support his defence and then gets a ball kicked to him on inside 45. And yeah, would have loved to have that opportunity again. And Dunkley gets the ball and just delivers to Bontempelli, and they kick another one. And Darcy Parrish should be kicking himself there, but they need a response here from their senior players inside the centre square just to get ball forward and just give their forwards just an opportunity.
Well, they had it the last one, didn't they? But they went wide rather than just going direct and really put him under the pump.
9-2, the Dogs' way after Essendon led by 6 points at the 16-minute mark of the opening quarter. It's been all the Bulldogs. They lead now by a game-high 31. In the middle, Draper, palms it down to Parrish. Hand pass to Merritt. Kicks to centre-half forward. Off hands it spills to Waterman. Hand pass from Parrish away to Caldwell. Kicks into the forward pocket. Baldwin leaps for it. Can't come down with it. Spills to Williams. He goes off the left boot. That's not his thing as it slides away towards the boundary line. McGrath gets to the bouncing footy. Surge kick inside the forward pocket. Clean bowls everyone through for a behind. For the 100-gamer, Andy McGrath, the only number 1 pick in Essendon history. They might be getting a second one this year. The Bulldogs by 30 points. The Dogs, I kid. I'm allowed to say that. The Dogs 10-3-63 lead Essendon 4-9-33. A 5-goal lead for the Bulldogs, 18 played in the third.
Behind the Lance Franklin, they're 1-1-7 to the Brisbane Lions, the same scoreline. We'll take you there at the completion of this game. Bailey Dale straight down the middle for the Dogs. Short to O'Brien. Kicks out to the right back pocket. Ed Richards takes a bounce. Drives a kick up from right half back. Up towards the wing. Bontempelli caught behind. Laverty is able to juggle the mark. Has it between wing and half back. And this is what the Bombers have done a lot this afternoon. Chips it back to Redmond. Across half back and now to Merritt. He returns the hand pass back to Redmond. Running through the centre square, goes with a short, precise kick to Hobbs, intercepted. Liberatore for the Bulldogs, works it to Dunkley, to Treloar. He thought about the hand pass to Rourke Smith, now kicks inside 50. Vandermeer the target in the left forward pocket. He's corralled by Merritt, one way then the other, taken out of play and a boundary throw in. In the end, it was a good chase from Merritt. Hemmed him in over against the boundary line and then pushed him over.
Yeah, it was good from Zachy Merritt, just worked hard. Obviously, a turnover and the last thing you want when you're getting the ball up there. But well done, Zach Merritt.
4-1 in the quarter. The Bulldogs by 30 points. Game on the line right here from the boundary throw-in. Baldwin doing some of the ruck work. Comes down the Dogs' way. Libba snaps out of congestion. Misses everything. Out on the full. We had 3 of those in the opening quarter from errant shots on goal.
Feeling the same spot too, Corby. I reckon they're all out in the full in that left-hand forward pocket.
And now Heppel to bring it back into play next to the behind post. Kicks to half-back. Gardner goes for a climb. Knocks it down the Dogs' way. Steph Martin. Hand pass to Daniel. Away to Dale, and the All-Australian half-back can put the Dogs inside 50. Climbing in from the side, McNeil. No mark. Comes down to Vandermeer. And gee, kicks the fat part of the footy as it balloons across the half-back line for Essendon. Durham takes the intercept mark. Links up with Waterman.
Gives the hand pass to Kelly, who's going to kick it back to Waterman. Don't have a lot of options around the City side. Hand pass to Heppel, who kept running. Drives the kick long towards half forward. Perkins in front. Takes the mark. Spots something free in the middle of the 50. It's Cutler who's pushed forward and he takes the mark. Almost the best passage of play in terms of ball movement from the Bombers all afternoon.
You know what I love about it is that young blokes, they don't tend to overthink things. No. They just see it and they go for it, and that's what Archie Perkins did there. Took the mark, nice mark too. Like, I had to stand in front of a couple, but then just sees Cutler streaming down inside 450. Doesn't think, oh, maybe it won't. Just bangs it.
Just great confidence for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
In his third season at the Bombers, hasn't featured since round 5. Tom Cutler trying to kick one here to fight the Bombers' way back. He's able to steer it through straight into the Essendon fans behind the goal. So the Bulldogs 10-3-63 to the Bombers 5-9-39. The Bombers' second goal of this third quarter. The Bulldogs have kicked 4. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Would have loved a little bit more energy there from after kicking the goal. Probably their best passage of play for the afternoon. And still, it was a bit of a subdued celebration, wasn't it? Wouldn't mind just trying to create some own energy within the side from the boys around him and really get up and about and try and go, well, let's get the next one too. Let's see what that brings for us. But
a couple in a row, yeah.
Yeah, well, but it could have been a goal against, couldn't it? Because Laith Vandermeer, he was all on his own and could have taken so much more time, and instead kicks a fat part of the ball and they get the turnover and it becomes their best passage, Clinchy, but could have quite easily been a goal against.
Having kicked back-to-back goals all day, Essendon. The Dogs lead at 10-5, a 24-point lead for the Bulldogs. Back in the middle, Draper down to Bailey Smith. Hand pass went out to McRae. Parrish wrestles it from him. Pack forms around him. Bailey Smith stands up with it. He's taken to ground by Merritt. And a ball up in the middle. Dogs by 4 goals neat. 22 played, third term. Draper Down to Parrish, kick smothered, ricochets to Richards. He's tackled and dispossessed. Dogs win it back though. Treloar to Daniel, away to Duray, all by hand. Feeds it forward, hand pass to McRae, kicks to half forward. Heppel up in front of Libber. Neither of them come down with the footy. Liberatore fights on at ground level with Heppel, and the umpire says ball up. 51 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal. The Dogs by 24 points, 23 travelled, third term.
Draper sets himself against Steph Martin, wins down the tap and then tries to wrestle for the footy. Libber's down lowest though, wins it for the Dogs. Hand pass to Wallace, to Dunkley, kicks off the outside of the boot. Vandermeer came racing out, just couldn't quite get there. It bounces clear of a few. Norton's onto it, hand pass to McComb, who races it through for his second. The low, worm-burning finish. And in the end, the weight of numbers from the Western Bulldogs resulted in the goal. And the Bulldogs immediately answer back to restore a 30-point advantage. 11-3-69 to the Bombers 5-9-39. 23 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Warning signs here, Murph, at the moment. We've spoken about it a couple of times. Not just Norton, but Bontempelli, big boys that can pick it up at their bootlaces or at speed, and a bouncing ball just comes out clean, one take, and he's been anything but that in marking contests today. He's had a couple that bounced off his chest and off his hands, but that one clean, one take, quick little handball, and Robbie McComb, what are we going with? McComb. Dribbles one through, good finish.
Back to 30 points. Dons still haven't kicked back-to-back goals all game. Draper wins the hit out in the middle. Shield taps it to the outer wing. Hobbs comes up to meet it. He's bowled over. Shield collects for the Bombers. Gives it to Merritt under the palm. Treloar tackles him. Ball spits out to Bailey Smith. Goes on a run across the centre square. Kicks for Norton. Got separation late from Ridley and marks in the forward pocket. And the scary thing for Bombers fans is this man has not kicked one today. And already there's a 30-point gap on the scoreboard.
Beautiful weighted ball, wasn't it, from Bailey Smith? I think Merritt was looking to be able to get it back to Shield, but he lost his footing, couldn't continue on, but Smith just weighted it nicely. Ridley had no play on it.
So Norton for his first in the game, stabs at the drop punt but misses. Near side, Dogs 11-4 to Essendon 5-9, 25 minutes into the third term. Equal game high, back to 31 points again.
It's a pretty good afternoon when your spearhead hasn't troubled the scorers too much. Long kick towards half-back from Cutler, gathered by Shield. So the subs had a pretty good third quarter. Gets it to Parrish to the run of Merritt. Stringer one-on-one inside the 50. Clears him and O'Brien. Racing back Richards. Offers some reinforcements for the Dogs. Kicks off his shin as he's pressured by Stringer. A chance for Waterman. Can't get down low enough. Didn't manage to knock it on to Guelphy. Hand pass to right. 50 metres out. Sends it long towards Stringer. He's got 2 against 1 in the end as getting back Steph Martin. And O'Brien spoils it through for a minor score. 30 points, the Western Bulldogs lead at the 25-minute mark of the third term. Meanwhile, at the SCG, it's the Brisbane Lions leading by a point. 1-3-9 to the Sydney Swans. 1-2-8, we take you there next.
Bailey Dale short on the kick out to Richards. Just marks in front of McGrath. So 15 scoring shots each. Bulldogs by 30. 25 played third quarter. Richards comes out wide with a kick to Duray. Kicks down the boundary line to Wallace. Wrong foot's Heppel, takes the mark up in the front half. There's a bit of room for them to work into. He kicks in the Waitman direction. He's outsized. He leaps high. No mark. Comes down Laverty's way. Shoots a hand pass to Parrish. He links up with Merritt. Hand pass to McGrath. Back to Merritt. Caught. Dispossessed. Norton's got it. 52 out. Kicks to the goal line. Dunkley back with the flight. Takes the mark just in front of the behind post. It was a juggled effort. He almost spilt it. Dunkley hangs on to it.
Well, I'm not sure what Zachy Merritt's got over all these boys, but they are giving it to him at every opportunity at the moment. It's ridiculous. Putting each other under the pump. Jeepers.
Dunkley to snap off his left boot. He'll have to open up the angle. It's his non-preferred. He moves around. He bends it back beautifully. And the avalanche continues. It's now 6 goals the difference. 12-4-76, the Western Bulldogs. Essendon 5-10-40. Dogs by 6 goals late in the third term. And they've kicked 6 goals to 2 in this quarter alone.
I just want to go on with that a little bit because Darcy Parish wins that ball. Dill Shield wins it, feeds it to Darcy Parish, running forward, could have taken a couple of bounces and delivers straight inside. Waits for Zach Merritt, who's 10 metres behind him, and then is forced to kick to a contest at about 40-45. And then there's another one where he's coming out. Andy McGrath can see that Zach Merritt's under the pump, but gives it straight back to him. It's like, mate, just take your time. Find a better option. Zach Merritt isn't the answer to everything.
No.
He's not Dustin Martin.
And I think the voice from Zach's got to be important, just to say, well, look forward, go forward. You can't be wanting to accept the ball at every opportunity, but there's times where sometimes you just need to take yardage. There's no point in that handball there coming outside D50. He needs to get the ball, give his forwards an opportunity.
6-2 in this third quarter. The Dogs are making their moves. Smith tackle when not in possession of it. He'll get a free kick against Dylan Shield. So a chance still for the Bulldogs to add to this. He plays on, runs out to the right, drives a kick towards Liberatore at half forward, clears he and Cutler. Racing back, Heppel for the Bombers. Hand pass to Cutler, hard against the boundary. Could have been close to over the line. Ridley's going to kick it straight up to the wing, where Bailey Smith takes the mark and he'll be coming back. Hand pass for the Western Bulldogs. Away to Bailey Williams. Kicks long towards Norton. Dunkley's there as well. Great mark. Laverty taken in the pack. Only 10 metres out from his defensive goal.
It's been very good, Laverty, hasn't he, today?
He's joined the growing list of players to be subbed out one week and back up and play the next after being subbed out on Anzac Day. A long kick to half-back. Right takes a powerful mark over Jack McRae. Second time he's done that today. Over the Bulldogs midfielder. So Wright kicks it down the city wing. Pack forms there. Richards punches it away to Bailey Smith. Hand pass out wide to Bailey Williams. Feeds it forward to Wallace. Dogs back with it. Short kick to Jack McRae. Wright just collides straight into his back, trying to race after the Dogs mid. And a free kick for McRae just forward of the wing. Dogs by 6 goals, as wide as it's been. Half-hour mark in this third term. McRae kicks inside 50 but turns it over. And Jake Kelly takes the intercept mark for Essendon on the back flank. Half-hour mark, third term. Dogs by 36.
2 goals to McComb, McNeil, Wallace and Dunkley for the Western Bulldogs. Up on the wing, McRae comes up with it for the Dogs. Hand pass to Richards. Long kick inside the 50. Norton in a 2-on-1. Kelly had first grab to it. Not paid the mark. He thought he had it. He argues with it. Little topo from Norton to Waitman, who finishes the work. Well, Jake Kelly might feel a little hard done by, but as he was arguing the point, the Bulldogs were slamming on their 7th goal for the quarter, and they're out by 42 points. 13-4-82 to the Bombers, 5-10-40. We played half an hour in the third term, and Cody Waitman with his first goal of the match.
May have been a little bit stiff, Jake Kelly, but want to highlight the effort just for Aaron Norton to get there and just to put him under the pump. It may have been a mark, may not have been, but he just did enough to put the element of doubt into the umpire's head, but then follows up with the tackle as well. Jake Kelly's looking back and trying to argue. Best serve, probably just get on your bike, mate, and try and play the footy. Well, good finish by Cody Waitman, though, doing what he does best. Quite a day, though, for the young bloke.
Kick 4 in that elimination final last year down in Launceston. His first of the day, as Draper whacks it out to the advantage of Dylan Shield. Immediately looks behind him and then decides to kick it forward out wide for Stringer. Juggled attempt, can't complete the mark as he goes to ground. Nick Martin mops it up. Hand pass to Durham. 55 out. Half forward, gives it to Stringer. Stringer kicks to the top of the goal square. Baldwin slips straight through his hands. McGrath still there for Essendon. Hand pass to Wright. Feeds it to Guelphy. Hand pass away to McGrath. Shoots goalward. It's touched on the way through and ends up out of play next to the behind post.
Had a bit more time, didn't he? There,
panic,
McGrath. Just obviously just a little bit of low on confidence at the moment. The score's not going their way, and just had probably an extra second or two to just steady up and put it straight through, but just hurried the ball and snapped it and out of bounds.
Toss back into play. Bombers in attack. Draper takes it out of the ruck. Not officiating umpire has paid a free kick. He hasn't pointed whose free kick it is. That would help us all. It's going to be Sam Draper's. There's no advantage given despite Dylan Shield having a snap-on goal.
Was that the guy 3 zones away?
No, it was up against the left behind post was the one I spotted.
Right.
He was wrapped up.
He was held by Cordy, so the free kick was there. It was more just trying to work out who had made the call. Sam Draper looking for his 3rd goal of the season and first of the afternoon. Don't the Bombers need this? Unconventional as always, but is able to steer it through for their third goal of the quarter. As they try and start the long climb back, the Bulldogs leading by 36 points, 13-4-82 to the Bombers 6-10-46. Their ruckman Sam Draper with his first.
Well, you just never know if you just keep on chipping away what the opportunities may arise, but they probably haven't really looked like it so far, and they're getting goals from free kicks their last two, I think. But Dylan Shields been impressive this quarter for mine. I think he's been one who's tried to take the game on and look forward and won his fair share of contested balls too. So he's one bloke who's having a crack and probably responded well to that dropping and sub vest for this week's game. So it's good to see him making the most of that opportunity.
Big quarter for the Bulldogs. Well, they kicked 7 goals to 3 in the term. After leading by 4 at quarter time, 14 at the half, and now 36. And we got a bounce back in the middle, and that was it. So 3 quarters down, the Bulldogs 13-4-82, Essendon 6-10-46. The goal kickers for Footscray, 2 for Wallace, 2 for Dunkley, 2 for McComb and 2 for McNeil. And then singles for the Bont, Cordy, Waitman, Vandermeer and Rorke-Smith. While for Essendon, 2 for Peter Wright, 1 each for Draper, Cutler, Baldwin and Guelphy. It is 6 goals the margin as we turn for home.
Run a bit of the Mick Moldhouse Footscray reference.
Yeah, we'll slide a few of them in to
slide
keep
a few of them.
The old timers happy.
Meanwhile at the SCG, where we'll take you to at the completion of this game, the second quarter is just getting underway. A low-scoring affair, although a goal to the Brisbane Lions through Dane Zorko to start proceedings. So just 30 seconds into the second quarter, and the Brisbane Lions 2-3-15 to the Sydney Swans 1-3-9. It's all unfolding on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The election. It's easy to get lost amongst the polls, policies and pledges. And time's running out to make more sense of it. Bridget Brennan from ABC News has an election hack. A way to find out where you stand on the political spectrum.
Go online to Vote Compass, answer a few quick questions. You may be surprised how your views stack up with the major parties.
Vote Compass, exclusive to the ABC.
Go to abc.net.au/Australia Votes.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Draper got it, stands up with a footy, dispossessed in the tackle, advantage applied from half forward. Wallace kicks to the goal square, Dunkley's out the back, and another one for the Bulldogs.
Livers down lowest though, wins it for the Dogs. Hand pass to Wallace, to Dunkley, kicks off the outside of the boot. Vandermeer came racing out, just couldn't quite get there. It bounces clear of a few. Norton's onto it, hand pass to McComb, who races it through for his second.
Hand pass to McGrath, back to Merritt, caught, dispossessed, Norton's got it. 52 out, kicks to the goal line. Dunkley back with the flight, takes the mark just in front of the behind post. Dunkley to snap off his left boot. He'll have to open up the angle. It's his non-preferred. He moves around. He bends it back beautifully. And the avalanche continues.
McRae comes up with it for the Dogs. Hand pass to Richards. Long kick inside the 50. Norton in a 2-on-1. Kelly had first grab to it. Not paid the mark. He thought he had it. He argues with it. Little topo from Norton to Waitman, who finishes the work.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The sounds of the third quarter at 7-3 term. The way of the Western Bulldogs, they lead by 36 points at three-quarter time, having led by 14 at half-time. 13-4-82 to the Bombers, 6-10-46. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlebass calling the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. The thoughts of our experts, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Well, the Bombers they kicked the last couple of that quarter, or at least the last one. I'd just like to see and play with just a little bit more dare. Go forward with that footy, as we've probably harped on it a fair bit. I'm sounding a bit like another commentator that works for the ABC, aren't I? But I just want to see him go forward and play with some confidence, some flair, and I'll just try and build that on. They're not out of this game by any stretch. Like, they're a long way back.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard work, but we've seen it happen before. But my old coaches, and probably yours as well, the way you finish this game is how you can try and start the next. And it's going to be based around like trying to get some confidence back into your game with some good ball movement, coming out the front of stoppage, backing in your best players to drive their legs and get out the front.
Well, you'd probably say that if the game's going to continue on the way in which it has already, they're going to lose by 8 goals anyway. So why not change a few things up? Just the mindset, because they're winning enough of the football. I just think their work rate to just try and open up space and create some more opportunities for one another has just been a little bit lacking. They sort of run back and almost create each other's space a little bit too much. And I just feel some of their mids can just, as you said, Liz, just take a bit of that ground. When it's there in front of you, back yourself in it, drive through some tackles, try and open up, create for one of your teammates, and then use your legs and actually kick the ball rather than going back and wide and then drawing the pressure and then not giving your forwards that opportunity. When if you're coming straight out the front door, it's just easier for your forwards just to know where to lead and where to go to. So it just becomes more predictable. So that's what I like to see in this last quarter, is just a bit more run and dash, take the game on. But I think the running patterns of their forwards and mids has got to be a little bit better in terms of trying to create space for one another and get out of the way, so to speak, so you can just allow guys to run and use their legs.
If you're a dog supporter, you want to see them finish this game out, don't you? You want to see, right, foot on the throat. Let's make sure this doesn't become tight, doesn't become close. Let's bang on another 3, 4, 5 goals if we can. Go about it in the right way, in which they have so far this game. I think, I liked the work of Bailey Smith in that quarter. He got to work a little bit more, started to really take that ground that we're talking about.
Stands out, doesn't he?
All he does, because he sees space and then he tucks it under the arm and he puts the hammer down. The mullet helps, granted, but he opens the game up just through his sheer work rate, but he doesn't just get junk touches. He's actually trying to take the game on a little bit. I've liked the work of Joshy Dunkley. I've sung his praises a little bit today because his ability to go forward, but he plays both sides of the ball. Treloar's another one who just opens the game up through his dare. He doesn't just go sideways and lateral, same thing. He goes forward with it and tries to take it to the opposition.
And they can just be smart. They don't need to take any risks at all in this last quarter, the Bulldogs. They have been pretty methodical in the way in which they've used the ball, just taken what the opposition have given them and gone wide and gone around the Essendon team defence. So I think you'll see some more of that in this last quarter.
Bulldogs by 36 points as we get the final term underway. Draper and Steph Martin to do battle. Draper rises high, wins down the tap. Treloar over the top of the footy, gets it back to Steph Martin. The hand pass to McRae, kicks the Bulldogs inside 50 first. Laverty in front, spoiled away from Dunkley. Bontempelli charged onto it. Laverty slaps it away once more to the top of the 50 for the Dogs. Vandermeer with a hand pass to Steph Martin to Treloar. Heard a voice, never got it to Daniel. And Draper takes it back for the Bombers. Drives a kick up towards half forward. Right in a 2-on-1. Waterman tried to stay in front. Right gathered, tackled, lost the footy. DeRay trying to knock it out for the Bulldogs. And Zach Merritt gathers. He's tackled, and that's where play will come to a halt. Right half forward for the Dons. The Bulldogs by 36 points.
Essendon have laid 40 tackles in the game so far. They only average 41 a game for the season, so that's up at least on their season average. From the ball up, McRae, hand pass away to Rourke Smith, kicks down the wing. Norton, the target, who hasn't kicked a goal yet, spills front and centre though for the Bulldogs. They win it again at the coalface. Here's Dunkley, hand pass to Libber. Swings it out wide. The kick heads down to half forward for the Bulldogs. Slips out the back. Wallace and Durham chasing after it. Wallace gets there first. Swings it inside. Snap comes goalward but missing from Dunkley, who's been everywhere today looking for his third. He hits the post. And a minor score. The Bulldogs 13-5, Essendon 6-10. Dogs by 37 points, 90 seconds into the final term.
I felt Mitchie Wallace wanted to just put the left foot slipper into it and just kick it across like a goal across the goals of soccer. But unfortunately decided to pick it up. Would have loved the off the ground one there, Lids.
Hampel long out of defence for the Bombers towards Martin. Brought it down to the front. Guelphy's hand pass to Durham. Could have been held with 9 possession. DeRay for the Dogs. Couldn't get it to Liberatore. Parrish tries to sweat on McComb. Can't take it back. Where McGrath eventually comes up with it. Parrish off his shin. And a lunging effort from Durham. He ends up
headbutting it.
Bounced off his chin as he slid across the turf, trying to keep it alive. Good desperation for the number 22. Sam Durham in his second season. Meanwhile, at the SCG, the Brisbane Lions 4-4-28 to Sydney 1-3-9. Second quarter action there.
Dogs by 37 here. Steph Martin down to McComb, to McNeil by hand. Hand pass to Dunkley, clever. Just knocks it back to McNeil's advantage. He kicks to the top of the goal square. Vandermeer down there. Ridley kills it. Punches it through for a rush behind. Dogs by 38.
Been very good today, Ridley.
Great.
Very, very good.
13-6 to 6-10. Not that you need my assurance, Lids, on that. 2.5 minutes into the final term.
Ridley into the back pocket to Laverty. He looks to send the Bombers up towards the wing. Right caught behind, in from the side to Ray. Couldn't complete the mark. Durham onto it. Awkward hand pass, but found Heppel eventually. Hard against the boundary. To Ray, good lunging effort. Long towards, well, Richards was in the pack, as was O'Brien. Spoiled down to the front. Liberatore, hand pass to Daniel. Squeezed the kick up to the wing towards Dunkley. Tackled by Heppel, but got the ball to Ray. Kicks up to Mitch Wallace. On a lead, he marks in front. He's at right half forward. Laverde just took a couple of steps forward. The umpire was awake to that. And Wallace can just chip it over the top to Dunkley, who's kept running in game 100. Kicked 2 goals so far in his milestone match. Tries to put it in front of Vandermeer. Spoiled down by Ridley of the Bombers. Merritt hard against the boundary. Hand pass to Andy McGrath. High up and under kick. To Ray's underneath it. Waterman has to spoil from behind. Straight down to Durham. He's tackled by Dunkley. And the umpire will throw it up at right half forward for the Western Bulldogs. They lead by 38 points. 3 minutes gone. Final term.
He's just done everything today, Dunkley. Late tackles, put his nose over the top of it, had a heap of it, kicked goals. And a big day for the Dogs, number 5, from the ball up. Comes down to McGrath. McGrath's dispossessed. Bouncing through his Heppel, trying to draw a free. He'll get it for a high tackle. Essendon to take possession at half back. Dogs by 38, 4 minutes into the final term. And Heppel trying to measure his pass to Draper. Flies for it. No mark. Spills down to Daniel. Hand pass to O'Brien for the Bulldogs. Then to Treloar. Treloar kicks in the middle of the ground. And the mark taken by the Bont alongside the centre circles. He swings his kick out to Norton. Marks between wing and half forward. Open forward 50. There's a few one-on-ones deep, and in the end he's just going to kick it very high to the top of the goal square. It's allowed to pitch. There's a free for a hold. It's going Essendon's way. And it'll come back to Dyson Heppel, who goes very short with a dangerous kick to Caldwell.
Just got it past McNeil, who tried to lunge late. Short to Shield, who's decided to wipe the footy. And then kick short to half back.
Someone's gripper all over it, no doubt. Yeah.
Cutler has it. Still inside the defensive 50 for the Bombers.
It's a real lack of movement, isn't there, ahead of the ball? No wonder he's got to go slow.
Out to Heppel. Has to wait underneath a long time. McComb came late but couldn't spoil it away. Short to Perkins. Joe Danaher seems to be one of the big culprits for the Grippo. Puts it down the front of his shirt.
Yep.
Perkins veers out to the right. Long kick inside the 50. Peter Wright's there. Flyers can't take the mark. Front and centre Caldwell. Tackled by Daniel. Had the arm pin. Tried to get it onto his boot. He couldn't do so successfully. And Daniel will win a free kick for holding the ball. The Bulldogs by 38 points.
Well, we know you love the oil, Lids. Did you love the Grippo as well?
Mate, every game, without doubt. Every training session. Why wouldn't you use something that helps?
I was building there, Murph. Nicely.
Oil of the group.
Both.
Double up.
Daniel short to McRae. McRae to Bailey-Dale, who marks and then dishes the hand pass back to McRae. Keeps on moving down the city wing. Hand pass to Daniel. Dogs up over halfway. Has a bounce. Daniel looks inside the forward 50. Wallace and Norton deep. Norton floating through, marking. Dishes it off. Waitman bangs it up into the second deck. The pile-on continues for the Bulldogs. And Cody Waitman, just a little chat to the cheer squad on the way through. Dogs by 44. A new high water mark. The Western Bulldogs 14-6-90. Essendon 6-10-46. 6 played final term.
Just wasn't being that hard to play against that one, was it, Murph? They just moved that end to end. They just waited for their teammate just to get enough from the 45, pass them out on the mark, feed it through. The Bombers just weren't willing to run hard enough. But was Bailey-Dale involved, Jack McRae, Caleb Daniel, long down, and Norton takes it. I'm not sure Cody Waitman's winning any fans down there in front of the Essendon cheer squad, but
it's been a few goals today, just been a bit of training drill like, haven't there, which is those coast-to-coast goals where the opposition doesn't get a fingernail or even looks like to put some pressure on it. Probably been 2 or 3 today, which they looked a bit ugly, haven't they?
They look knackered, don't they?
Yep. Yeah. Coming off, of course, the Anzac Day on Monday. Meanwhile, the Lions have kicked 4-1 in the second quarter at the SCG. We'll take you there next. Brisbane by 19 points. Bontempelli gets the clearance. Kicks inside the 50. Good mark taken by Ridley, who marks in front of Cordy and Norton. Works it over the top by foot. Finds Caldwell, who can look laterally to right half back. He's able to find Kelly. Jake Kelly pushes back further behind his mark, looking for options. He's called to play on. Has to kick a long ball down the wing in the end. Baldwin the target. Worked it down to the front. Where Daniel gathers for the Bulldogs. Underground hand pass found to Ray. That works. Got it to McRae, who's kicked looking for Bailey Williams. He should be able to gather, but now has Cutler to try and compete with. Couldn't take the footy, and Nick Martin picks it up for the Bombers. He kicks into the middle of the ground. Guelphy had to wait a long time. Richards spoiled it away. The Dons had the numbers, but the Bulldogs emerged with it. Richards kicks straight down the middle to Vandermeer.
They've got players streaming inside 50. Waitman, one of them, trying to take the slips catch, can't complete it. Spills to Reid. He's mowed down, caught holding the ball. And flying in to lay the tackle, guess who? Josh Dunkley again.
Well, he might feature in one of the 3-2-1, I reckon, Josh. So he's doing everything out there today, whether that's marking, ground balls, running and chasing, where he's on this occasion gets reward for his effort and his tackle and have another shot at goal. That's 6 tackles.
That's it all. I trained this kid many years ago. He's down at the Tigers when he was playing with our VFL team. Ripping kid. Oh, not me, no. Does it all himself.
So Dunkley for his third from straight in front. The drop punt. Has it got the trip? No. It's marked on the behind line. He hasn't kicked it from 45 out. And Ridley takes another intercept mark. Sends it to Laverty at half back.
Waitman was able to just get a hand in there. And now Heppel has to try and clear it up. Hand tall to McGrath. Pressure coming from Cordy. Works it back to Kelly. And now back to Ridley. The switch play out to the right back pocket. Where the mark is taken by Cutler. Bulldogs' pressure has been good today. The Bombers have had their moments trying to find that composure across half-back. Short to Nick Martin, who takes the mark. 5 goals on debut against the Cats. The Bombers went down by 66 points on that day. That's their biggest loss so far this season. Trailing by 44 here, out to Laverty, who puts it out on the full, trying to find Dyson Heppel. So just some of the skill errors starting to kick in as fatigue becomes an issue. McComb to take it with the Bulldogs by 44.
They trap it in their front half. McComb, not a great kick for Liberatore, who's wrapped up as soon as he got it. Threw it out. Guelphy will get the free at half back for Essendon. Feels like the junk time's arrived early. We're only 10 minutes into this final term. It's wide on the scoreboard. Dogs by 44. And Essendon look out on their feet as Laverty chips short to Heppel. They made their sub at halftime. Nick Cox with a suspected ankle injury. Dylan Shields started as the sub but into the game for this second half and starting to build his tally numbers-wise. He's up to 10 touches. Dons get a break inside the forward 50. Hobbs hand pass to Durham. Hands it out wide to right. Has to get back on his right foot. Dangerous kick back to the hot spot. Cutler takes the mark over Rourke Smith. Gee, they made the easy look a little difficult there, the Bombers, but Cutler will be shooting from 35 out dead in front.
Just look like a team devoid of any confidence at the moment, don't they? And they certainly look out on their legs. 6-day break from Anzac Day, but only 7 games in. They shouldn't be looking this tired so early in the last quarter.
Tommy Cutler, the 27-year-old, right in front, former Brisbane Lion. He moves in. He's got one already for his second. Pops that through. One to grow on for the Bombers. 14-6-90 to Western Bulldogs. Essendon 7-10-52. 11 played in this final quarter. The Dogs by 38.
Well, you called it, Corby. They made the easy look hard. I thought Ben Hobbs was probably the one who's like, boys around him, tell him, just pin the ears back, mate. Knock it through on the run. Easy kick for him, but does the right thing. Your kid obviously trying to do the right thing by his teammates. Brings Durham into the game. Then
he was the same.
Then he's indecisive as well, and he's like, well, do I kick for goal, or am I going to be called selfish? So I handball White to Peter Wright in the pocket, who then gets good pressure, and he has to square it up to a 50-50 ball about 40 metres out. It's just...
It almost looks like the messaging throughout the week is like, oh, we're being too selfish maybe sometimes, and we just got to try and bring our teammates into the game, which is all well and good, but sometimes you just need to go at the game, and unfortunately haven't done enough of that today.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Caught into the ruck against Wright. Got it down to Bontempelli, who gets the clearance. Kicks to Dunkley out on the lead. He couldn't take the mark. Reid was right there with him. McNeil tries to tap it around the boundary line. He'd beaten Heppel at ground level, but ran out of room as it goes out of play in the left forward pocket. Meanwhile, at the SCG, Brisbane 5-4-34, leading the Sydney Swans 2-4-16.
That's Dunkley playing out of the goal square now.
Playing the bottom roll.
Yeah. Doing it all.
Toss back into play. Bulldogs deep in attack. Norton does the ruck work. Hasn't kicked a goal this afternoon. Liberatore gets the hand pass to Bailey Smith, turns on goal, and he joins the party. Bailey Smith with his first goal of the afternoon. Up to 11 individual goal kickers now. The Western Bulldogs 15-6-96 to the Bombers 7-10-52. The Bulldogs restore a 44-point advantage.
Well, they've just had the answers all day, Murph, haven't they? That every time the Bombers have looked a little bit likely, the Bulldogs have been able to go the other way and pop one through and make it look so easy compared to what the Bombers have been able to do. Just been class all over the ground from the Dogs.
After 6 behinds, it's his first goal for the year for Bailey Smith in the 6th game that he's played. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Yeah, Western Bulldogs have made a very quick medical substitute here. Josh Shackey is going to come into the game. I'm unsure who is coming out, so I'll come back to you when I know more. But Josh Shackey is got the warm-up top off. He's getting final instructions in the headset, and he's going to come into the game.
It's interesting to note, Jess, as to how that sub's been used. I think it may be Mitch Wallace. And I'm not sure he was aware of that as he came to the bench, which we'll examine that further in the post-game. Quick kick out of the centre square for the Bombers, in fact for the Bulldogs, and there's a free kick here as Kelly spoils it into the path of the Essendon defender, who's then caught. That's Kelly. Umpire said he didn't make enough of an effort to get rid of it. Now Lockie McNeil's going to get a free. It's centre half forward, so after the quick break and that Bulldog sub, the Dogs are shooting at goal.
He's had no time at all. The only thing I can say that the umpire got right was he had one arm free, I suppose, but he's trying his best to fight his way out of it.
Got to reward the bloke actually trying to make the play, don't you?
Josh Shackey trots onto the ground, and Lockie McNeil, to give himself 3, cashes in on the free kick. Through it goes, and the Dogs have 2 in a minute. They've cracked the ton. 15 minutes into the final term. The Dogs 16-6-102, Essendon 7-10-52. 50 large the margin in the final quarter. The Dogs this year, Lids and Murph, the Dons, Essendon, averaging 105 points against. And again, they've got another team racking up 100 points against them.
Well, they've been consistent at least. You've got to look for the positives sometimes, Corby, and they're being consistent at 102 today.
That's really surprising to me, given what I know Ben Rutten is like in terms of his focus on defensive structures and being hard on that. Is something that he really holds as a pillar for his teams. So that does surprise me a lot.
49 points was the margin in the elimination final at York Park. 50 points here. Back in the middle, Martin wins down the tap for the Dogs. Can't quite get it to McRae. Parrish emerges with it. His kick is wide of Nick Martin at left half forward. He can still run onto it. He's got a few metres on tail. Turns and kicks in the middle of the ground onto the bounce for Merritt. Hand pass to Parrish. Edge of the centre square. Long kick towards right. He finds him. Had it long enough as it was spoiled away by Bailey Williams. And Peter Wright with a chance to go back and kick his third.
Scores against for Essendon 138, 97, 99, 99, 107, 93, and now 102 and counting. So 93's the fewest they've conceded in any game through 7 weeks.
Yeah, some big numbers. No doubt about that. 15 goals for the season so far for Peter Wright, trying to steer through his third. Wright comes in, is able to complete the task. And it's all a little bit of comfort at the latter edge of the match. The Bulldogs by 44 points. They've kicked 2 goals in this final term to the Western Bulldogs 3. The Bulldogs 16-6-102 to the Bombers 8-10-58. 16 minutes gone. Final term, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Well, David Roden, the goal umpire down there, is trying to do his best to trying to create some energy in the ground at the moment because there's very, very few lacking passage of play, which the crowd are getting up and about at the moment. The sting's certainly gone out of the game, and it's a foregone conclusion. But just looking back to that last passage of play, the 2 main ball users getting the ball and looking direct, and you see what happens from that. So
they didn't go direct for starters.
Initially they didn't, and we threw our arms up together, didn't we, Lids? And then they finally looked forward and got the ball into a more dangerous position and looked forward and got it onto the end of 2 metre Peter.
Dogs by 44 midway through the last. Martin misses it in the middle for the Dogs, so Draper just grabs it out of the ruck, kicks to the City wing, Cutler onto it under pressure. Hand pass feeds it forward to Stringer. Stringer goes without it. Bailey Smith fends off a couple and then coughs it up. Cutler clever, paddles it to Stringer's advantage, needs it to sit for him. Bailey Smith never gives up on it, runs down Stringer, takes him out of play, and the umpire says spin it in. Forward pocket for Essendon. Great follow-up from Bailey Smith. Missed just the one game since his debut at the start of 2019. Bailey Smith has 23 today. From the boundary throw in, Cutler, hand pass to Wright. He snaps across the goal face. He misses. Wright's got 3. The Bombers haven't kicked back-to-back goals all day. 16-6 to 8-11. Dogs by 43 points, 18 minutes into the final term.
There's a few Bombers fans on the SMS who have started to have enough. 0437 774 774. We'll weave in a couple of them. Dyson Heppel right in the crosshairs as Daniel brings the ball back into play. Short to McComb, who still has it in the defensive 50. Kicks up to the wing. It's wide of Norton. Ridley's able to run onto it. Hand pass to Heppel. Links up with Caldwell. Back to Ridley. Kicks inboard to Parrish. Has it at right half forward. Spots Nick Martin free at the edge of the centre square at half forward. One-on-one's further afield. Decides to drive it long towards Peter Wright. Up with one arm was Cutler. Couldn't take the mark. Stringer hard against the boundary. Up against the right behind post. Kept it alive for a moment. Hand pass came off the hands of Dale. Baldwin couldn't gather. Bailey could for the Dogs. Hand pass to DeRay to Bailey Smith. They're out of defence with a kick to Norton, who takes a good contested mark against Ridley at halfback.
Ridley been excellent today for Essendon. Beaten there as Norton goes short to Dunkley, who's had it on a string. He's up to 27. Also laid 6 tackles, kicked a couple of goals. Goes to Daniel, and Daniel kicks on the outer edge of the centre square to Liberatore. He goes across the ground to Bailey Williams. The Dogs all getting up into the front half. Kick comes out wide for Dale. He runs onto it. The All-Australian 60 out, spears the kick, but straight to Durham. Drops a chest mark. Hand pass missed Merritt. Daniel collects 60 out. Pokes the pass inside 50. Draper underneath it. Spills the mark overhead. And then takes on the tackler. The big man Draper dumped after getting rid of it. And a free kick for Essendon in the back 50. So next week, Essendon play Hawthorn Saturday night at Docklands in a fascinating matchup. Western Bulldogs, Port Adelaide, 2 teams trying to get their season up and going in a rematch of last year's preliminary final on Friday night.
Draper kicks up to the wing. Baldwin had the footy pinned to him. Eventually it comes clear as the tackle was laid by Bailey Williams. Dale tries to hand pass it forward to Dunkley. Turns and kicks inside 50. Norton's there. Shackey as well. Spoiled away by Draper. Into the path of Laverty. He's tackled, dispossessed. Umpire waves play on. Bailey Smith dragged down when he didn't have the footy. Norton snaps towards goal. No advantage is going to be paid despite Bontempelli just about marking on the goal line. So it's going to come back to Bailey Smith with a chance to try and kick his second goal of the afternoon and second of the final term.
It's a perfect game for them really today, the Bulldogs, just to get a bit of confidence back. Quite a few of their players playing a good brand of football, and the game hasn't probably been overly taxing, which is probably a little bit of an indictment on the Essendon Football Club. But
they kicked 6 behinds before kicking a goal today. This shot is out to the left and it won't have the journey, although the mark has been taken by Shackey up against the left behind post. Cutler was there, Ridley was there, Cox was there, Reid it was, sorry, who was there, but neither of them could get a fist onto it. And Josh Shackey, the medical stub, steps out, snaps and hits the post. Into the left goal post. Couldn't quite complete the deed. The Bulldogs by 44 points.
What's happening downstairs, Jess?
Just got official word from the Western Bulldogs that it is a foot injury to Mitch Wallace, and that's why he was subbed out of the game. But I tell you what, it was so super quick. The moment that Mitch Wallace sat down on the bench, Josh Shackey got up and ran out onto the field.
We saw it 12 times through the first 6 rounds that Medi sub that's been subbed out backing up the next week, and it didn't look like he was in an awful lot of trouble, Mitch Wallace, coming off the ground. So I wouldn't have thought he's in much doubt for next Friday night against Port Adelaide. Essendon try to work it up to halfway. Dogs win it back, and now they shift the ball around the half-back line. Comes to Gardner. This is the Dock side of the ground. He chips short to Treloar.
It's probably a smart option from the Bulldogs if they have pulled that little string with Mitchy Wallace, because he's had a big couple of weeks. He's done really well today, so put him on ice for the rest of the game.
2 goals, both in the first quarter, as Treloar kicks to a contest on the wing. Steph Martin trying to claim it. Not paid, comes down to Dale, hand pass away to Shaki. Shaki's hand pass picked off, and Nick Martin through the traffic like Dustin Martin as he hits up Hobbs, who takes the mark on the wing. Looks inside the middle of the ground, kicks it over the head of Redman. Racing back after it on the wing, McComb there to apply some pressure. Redman arches the back, shakes the would-be tackle, feeds a hand pass away to Perkins, looks inside the attacking 50, kicks it towards Stringer and dropping back in the hole, Duray. Takes the intercept mark, back pocket for the Dogs.
Short to Bailey Smith. Okay, you ready for a few of these? Redmond, question mark, coming through on the SMS. Ben Rutten, question mark. Who is he? At the press conference, a meme would be more informative. He doesn't care and certainly doesn't show it. At least Matty Knights would have lost 140 to 120. Cheer out of Matty Knights if he's listening in now, of course, with the West Coast Eagles. Long kick up to the wing for the Western Bulldogs. McComb has it. He tries to kick towards half forward. Shaki comes out. Laverty right there with him, looking for the boundary line, stripped of it. As he and Cordy sees the ball out of play. Mark from Bellreeve in Hobart. Enjoyed listening to you fellas. Glad I don't barrack for Essendon. They promise so much, never deliver. I find they don't have a very inspirational captain. Just shows where they're at if their captain doesn't do much. There's a few that are getting upset, Corby.
Dogs by 44. Draper grabs it out of the ruck for Essendon. Chips it out wide to Guelphy, who marks on the wing. 2003-2004, the last time the Bombers played consecutive final series. Of course, haven't won a final since 04. Guelphy chips it to Perkins. Perkins to centre half forward. There's the skipper. Heppel takes a contested mark, looks inside the forward 50, kicks it deep. Draper and Wright coming through and marking. In front of Gardner, he'll shoot from about 15-20 out straight in front.
Well, it was a strong mark from Dyson Heppel and a really clever kick by just putting it to the space so big 2 metre Peter could run on the end of it, so good work there from the skipper.
In defence, after all those texts, Corbin at ABC.
Please. Kicked 7 in the regular season game last year. Peter Wright, he's got 4 today. Through it goes, up into the second deck. And that's back-to-back goals for Essendon for the first time today. 25-minute mark of the final quarter. With 2.5 minutes left on the game clock, the Dogs lead cut to 38. Western Bulldogs 16-7, 103. Essendon 9-11, 65.
Well, they tried their best to nearly stuff that up. Benny Hobbs has gone for that kick inside. Had a little bit too much on it. I think Mason Redmond had enough time to be able to swing it out the top. They come back across the ground. Nice mark, Dyson Heppel, as you spoke about. And it was a nice weighted kick. But the sting has well and truly come out of this game.
Yep.
I'm not sure that the Dogs, if this was the 5th day of the test, both captains would be coming together, I think, and saying, that'll do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at the SCG, Brisbane 7-7-49, lead the Sydney Swans 2-4-16. Approaching halftime there. We'll take you there at the completion of this match, not too far away. Bulldogs by 38 points. Liberatore gets the clearance. Good effort from Draper to try and lunge a tackle. Works it all the way back to Bailey Dale, who got it from Dunkley. Kicks up towards half forward. Gathered by Kelly for the Bombers. Hand pass to Heppel. To Cutler. Back to Kelly hard against the boundary. The Bombers hemmed in. Cutler tries to hand pass to Parrish hard against the boundary line, but out of play. And a boundary throw in. How long will Dyson Heppel and those who defend on him rely on? But he took over the job in a crisis. Do you want me to keep reading some of these, Corby? Or?
Keep them coming.
Okay. You call, I'll try and compile a few.
Dogs by 38. Steph Martin knocks it down. Big Draper trying to soccer his way through the stoppage. Comes the Dogs' way. Dale bounces straight off Stringer, his former teammate. Hand pass back to Treloar. And the Dogs running through the back edge of the centre square. Treloar, ugly looking kick across the ground. Touched on the way through. Duray as he's been tackled by Waterman. Hand pass to Richards. Gives it back to Duray under pressure. He's coughed it up now. Parrish's hand pass knocked down. Here's Guelphy. A hand pass away to Parrish, to Merritt. Swings his handball out to Cutler. Big sweeping Polyfarmer hand pass away to Hobbs. Links up with Stringer. Stringer into the goal square. Over his head of Peter Wright and through for a major. Padding some stats late, the Bombers, and wiping off a bit of the pain on the scoreboard. Having trailed by 50 moments ago, they've kicked the last 3 and the Dogs lead cut to 32. 16-7, 103, the Western Bulldogs. Essendon 10-11, 71. 28 played, final term on Grandstand AFL.
We're certainly just playing out a bit of time at the moment, the boys out there, but Good to see him still finishing off and having a crack and going through the corridor there. Some good quick hands through the middle of the ground by Parrish and Merritt, and Jackie Stringer did well to get on the end of it and just to outwork his opponent. But I just feel some of their gameplay sort of doesn't allow for the big tackling and the big pressure sort of plays. They sort of just tend to chip it around and don't really go too direct. So
play the keepings off game, you reckon, Murph, rather than going to contest and allowing that tackle pressure.
Exactly, and I just don't feel it gets him an opportunity to play that sort of hard-nosed style of football, which I think they were doing quite well last year.
Back in the middle, Liberatore gets a clearance for the Western Bulldogs, kicks around his shoulder, up towards half forward. Heppel gathers, hand pass back to Redmond on the defensive 50. Links up with Caldwell, 1-2 back to Redmond. Trying to use the footy through the middle of the ground, kicks towards Hobbs, spoiled away by Richards. A chance still for the Bulldogs through Liberatore. Out to Rourke Smith on the wing. Sliding in, Parrish wins it back for the Dons. To Redmond, kick smothered by Richards. It ricochets straight back to Redmond, who gathers. Hand pass back to Andy McGrath on half-back. Wants to switch across the defensive half-back line. High ball for Heppel to sit underneath as he backpedals. And marks in front of Josh Dunkley.
Heppel short to Shield, who takes the mark. His 11th touch coming on at half-time as the Medi sub. Kicks to Peter Wright, trying to take a juggled mark, can't complete it. Now lost possession, Bailey Williams from the back pocket. Hand pass to Dale, short kick to McRae, who can mark at half-back for the Bulldogs. Dogs by 32 points, 29 minutes into this final term.
McRae looks to kick up to the wing. Shaki, the marking target, flies from behind, brings it down to the front. McComb's tackled. Andy McGrath picks it up. Hand pass to Cutler, who looks inside the 50, squaring ball towards Parrish. He can't take the mark. Richard spoils down, and the siren sounds. The Bombers with the last 3 goals of the match, which only hides some of the pain. The Western Bulldogs find their bite and their bark. They down the Bombers by 32 points. The Western Bulldogs in front of 33,677 fans. 16-7, 103 to the Bombers 10-11-71. The Bulldogs by 4 points at quarter time, by 14 points at half time. They led by 36 at three-quarter time and eventually run out 32-point winners. They did get out by 50 points midway through the final term, but the Dons with the last 3 goals of the match. The Western Bulldogs move to 3-4 for the Bombers. Well, they're 1-6, their worst start to a season since 2014.
Bulldogs through and through. Bulldogs fight and Bulldogs roar. We give our very best. 'Cause you can't beat the boys of the Bulldog breed. We're the team of the mighty West. 'Cause you can't beat the boys of the Bulldog breed. The team of the mighty West.
The Western Bulldogs winners by 32 points here at Docklands. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Well, if you're a dog supporter, you're pretty happy with that. I think they took the foot right off the pedal towards the end of that game. But the real question marks, Murph, are around the Bombers and what they're going to stand for going forward. Look, I probably had we said at the start of the game that the Dogs were the team that we thought were going to win. Wasn't sure how the Bombers could. It was going to be in the midfield. They had their chances. They had enough of the footy, but they just refused to go forward with it. Continually go on lateral and give. Ultimately, I think they fell down across their forward line. They just didn't have another big target they could use. You know, Peter Wright's down there. He provides that target. Ran under the footy quite a few times tonight, and that doesn't bring your smaller forwards into the game. They bring that ball to ground, bring it to the front, allow them to get into position and then apply some of those tackles and things that we spoke about. Put some pressure on it, keep it in your front half for more than
repeat lock-ins.
Well, that's it. And then you spend, and therefore they don't look as cooked in that last quarter because they're just chasing backsides. And then we even spoke about, I reckon it was in the second quarter, where they were given, the Bulldogs just a luxury of just changing direction whenever they felt like it and being able to go, switch the ball, and then therefore your midfielders have to do that work as well. They're the ones that have to cover the ground to try and fill the corridor and get over to the next contest. So do your work early and keep the ball long down the line. Like the D's are the best at it at the moment, granted, but do your work early, shut it down, force them into a long kick, and then you don't have to add the 100 metres to the GPS, as our coaches used to say to us.
Well, I made mention of it during the call that I just thought the Essendon midfielders were reverting back a lot from stoppage, and then they were going back to support the defence. But once the ball goes from defence out, they've got to actually work hard to work forward of the ball. So that when you do go inside 50, you work in unison with your half forwards, your smalls. So when the ball does come to ground, you've got at least one or two mids who've worked their backsides off to get to that drop of the ball to, one, either win the football, or two, to put pressure on and tackle and maintain the ball inside your forward 50. So I think some of their running patterns need to be addressed, and no doubt they're looking at it because they've got some real class through their midfield, but they're not getting it in dangerous enough position to really hurt the opposition. They're getting a lot of the ball, doing a lot of the hard things in terms of winning the ball around the contest, but they are going back and around and not getting hard enough forward to actually put on pressure and actually be damaging with their ball use, whether that be by hand or foot.
We said at the start of the game, will it be the Dogs? They'll have to kick a winning score from their midfield. Well, they got some good spread, but it wasn't just their midfield, it was their small forwards who got the job done ultimately. And McNeil got 3, Waitman got his 2 in the end, Wallace got 2 in the first. McComb was I suppose he's a half mid, half forward. Is he high half forward that gets up and down the ground? Bailey Smith got 1 from the midfield, which is good. Rourke Smith played on a wing. Marcus Bontempelli probably kicked his goal when he was a forward. So good even spread, but I suppose we can highlight the job that Jordan Ridley did on Aaron Norton. I thought he was fantastic all day for Essendon, can really hold his head up high. But other than that, I probably let down a little bit across their back line, well beaten by especially their small backs on their small forwards. They've done their job. And how could you not get energy from watching Cody Waitman apply pressure? Like, he's just constantly running back with the flight, running, chasing, tackling, diving to try and put Smothers on. That just invites enthusiasm, doesn't it, from your other forwards? And you don't know who that person is in the Essendon forward line.
You needed that. You needed someone from Essendon to be that little spark, just to.
Well, we know who he is. Well, there's probably a couple of them, but they're not playing, are they? So that makes it hard.
Who do you reckon, Lids?
Well, there's no doubt that McDonald Tippett-Woody provides that spark for him. There was a run, and Corby, you'll be able to back me up on this one, where when he played well, that they would win. Will Snelling's probably another one. He's that connector almost for him that comes from half forward, gets up the ground, but then empties, puts that pressure on around the midfielders that aren't doing their work, and then gets back inside because of his huge work rate. So they're missing those two boys, no doubt, but the rest of the game can't revolve around those two blokes.
Yeah, and I know Essendon have started to trot that out in the last 2 weeks about personnel that's absent, and we spoke about it pre-game. So, yeah, Snelling, Jones is a young forward. Hurley they haven't had for 2 years. Langford had a big pre-season, did his string badly in round 1, but their problems look broader than personnel. This is a big-time system breakdown for the Bombers in what we've seen through the first 7 weeks.
You can throw Bruce, Keith, JJ, English, Hunter, Jamara, Ugle-Hagan, all missing for the Western Bulldogs. So every team can run through players that are without their best 22. For the Bulldogs, 3 goals to Lockie McNeil, 2 to Dunkley, to Waitman, to Wallace, to McComb, and individuals to Vandermeer, Rourke Smith, Bailey Smith, and Zane Cordy and Marcus Bontempelli. So Aaron Norton kicked 1 behind, and they kicked 16 goals for the match. So that's probably a positive for the Bulldogs. Meanwhile, for the Bombers, 4 goals to Peter Wright, 2 to Cutler, individuals to Draper, Stringer, Guelphy and Baldwin. So the Bulldogs winners by 32 points, and the Bombers, 1-6. It's their worst start since back in the Asada days, back in 2016.
Oof. Yeah, it's not where they obviously didn't want to be there, or they didn't foresee themselves being there, but something's not quite right at the moment, and there's no doubt you can see in the way they're playing that they're devoid of confidence at the moment, aren't they? They're not taking the game on and not playing certainly the way they played last year.
And there's no doubt that's heightened because of what they were able to achieve last year, and to be able to play finals last year when it was probably almost off the charts for them to get there last year. When I was talking before the game, I thought they were going to be a bottom 2 team last year, and to play finals, they probably thought the natural progression was going to be upwards and they'd be in the same sort of boat that they were last year, but it hasn't worked out for them this year. They look like they're down on confidence. They're all second-guessing themselves in terms of what they're doing. The midfielders are getting a lot of the ball, but they're not really being damaging whatsoever and giving their forwards their opportunity. But it's almost when you come to the football, you sort of don't know what you get when you're watching Essendon at the moment, unfortunately, and we sort of made light of the fact they're being consistent of giving up 105 points a game, so a bit of work to do.
The siren sounded. The kids get to go on to Docklands and have a kick on this Sunday afternoon. Let's go and join the Bulldogs with Jess Webster.
Oh, well, the Bulldogs players certainly got a rousing reception when they came into the rooms. All of the remaining players gave them massive hugs and pats on the backs, and certainly plenty of cheers as they're gathering in their circle now, and Robbie McComb is getting drenched with a sports drink in the middle of the circle at the moment. Mitch Wallace without the boots on, and let's have a listen to the song.
So the Bulldogs winners by 32 points. In around 6 minutes' time, we'll take you to the SCG where it's halftime there. The Brisbane Lions 7-7-49, leading the Swans 2-4-16. So as you'd imagine, there's a lot of correspondence coming in around Essendon, wondering the direction of the club. To me, they feel like a bit of a similar story to the Saints almost, in a sense.
Can't trust them.
Made finals, but they're an unpredictable side.
Yep.
And they are so reliant on top-end talent that when that top-end talent is either out of form or out of confidence or out of the side, then all of a sudden that exposes some of their other deficiencies. Is that a good comparison or...?
Yeah, I don't know, Clinch. It's not a comparison I would want for my team.
No.
I think, for the Bombers, it's going to be about not being that... I think everyone spoke about how nice they were to watch and how exciting they were. So they've gone away and thought, right, well, how do we, drill down on that a little bit and become, more exciting? Or can you just go backwards and just be like, well, let's not be as free-flowing. Why don't we make it a little bit more down? But unfortunately, they're going so sideways now that they become, it's easy to score against because their midfield's so spread, because they're going sideways and lateral, that their midfielders aren't there to put pressure on when it does have to go long down the line. So it's they're shooting themselves in the foot, essentially, without just saying, righto, get your numbers out the contest, we're going to go long, and then if we don't win it, we're going to put pressure on.
Yeah, it's almost like when they win the ball at the stoppage, they need to take contact sometimes and really drive towards goal and then give off to one of their teammates. It seems at the moment they're pretty quick just to flick it and go back and wide, and that just sort of invites pressure against the really good sides anyway.
Going to go 3, 2 and 1 in just a moment from you, Murph. Let's head down to the Bulldogs rooms with Jess Webster.
Thanks, Clinchy. I'm here with Josh Dunkley. Thanks for joining us. You bounced back in style to get back on the winners list. What was the most pleasing aspect of that win?
Yeah, I mean, we kicked straight and we put ourselves in a position to win games of footy. We haven't been too far away from it. I mean, last week Adelaide really challenged us, and to come out today against the Bombers, who played some good footy against Collingwood last week, and we knew that they were going to be up for the task. So to kick straight, like I mentioned, but pressure the ball carrier and then really outnumber across the ground worked for us.
How important was this win to the confidence levels? Given the start to the year, it keeps you in touch with the top 8. Is it just what you needed?
Oh, probably. I mean, you always want to win games of footy, and we were 2-4 coming into this weekend, but we did know, as I mentioned, that we weren't too far away from it. So to be able to win today is really important for us, and hopefully it kick-starts our year, and we can get a few more wins over the coming weeks.
And Mitch Wallace back into the side this week after, a terrible family tragedy, but also welcoming the birth of his baby boy. I mean, how inspirational was it to see him come out and kick the first goal of the game and get a couple on the board tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Mitch Wallace and he just signifies what our footy club's all about. I mean, he's always, doing the little things, and to hear about what happened last week to him, obviously the loss of his mother-in-law, and then to have his new baby born is really important. And I think Mitchy's just a well-loved character around the group, and he's always been there for us. So for him to come back in today and play the way that he did, we always knew he was capable of doing so. So very proud of him and love being there with him.
Yeah, wonderful scenes out there on the footy field. Let's head upstairs to our experts, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
I might just jump in there, Josh. It's Corbin Middlemass here. You play 100 games today for the club in which you won a premiership with. You almost went to Essendon 2 years ago. What does it mean to get 100 games for the Bulldogs?
Yeah, it's obviously a massive achievement of mine. I mean, you look back and I'll just sort of reflect on your career and the ups and downs that we've all been through, and not only myself but everyone here, and I'm sure everyone in the wider community as well with COVID and whatnot. So to come here today and play against the Bombers and get the win in my 100th game it's awesome, and I'm very happy to do it in the Doggies colours. You're
obviously off contract again at season's end. Where is the contract situation at?
To be honest, I don't really know. It's we haven't really spoken too much about it of late, but I just let my manager Liam Pickering look after that, and I just keep playing footy, my role for the team, and it's just exciting. Hopefully this kick starts our year.
Do you have a timeline on it?
Not really. I'm not too fussed about how it all happens. I mean, it's always to do with the managers and what they do. So as I mentioned, Pickers will get the job done for me, and we'll go from there.
I know a good one if you need one, mate.
You obviously wanted to go 2 years ago, Josh. Has your mood changed on that front?
Oh, it's obviously good winning games of footy, and the way that we finished last year, and then to play the consistent brand that we did, it's very important. And I wouldn't be saying anything at the moment, to be honest, because I'm what is it, round 7, and we just won our first game after a couple of weeks. So for me, it's all about winning, and as I mentioned, playing my role for the team and as best as I can do so, and I'm sure that stuff will look after itself.
Josh, we appreciate your time. 3 and 4. Well done on the win in your milestone game.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Bulldogs winners by 32 points. He survived the Inquisition.
Oh, what about that?
You got a minute for your 3, 2 and 1 for the ABC Footballer of the Year.
Oh, it's pretty easy to turn around and say I want to stay, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't want to say that yet, does he?
I think
3,
I think
2
he's gone.
and 1.
So I think honourable mention, Jordan Ridley. I thought he was terrific on Aaron Norton all day. So he's an honourable mention. Caleb Daniel, I thought was very good. He gets my 1 vote for today. He had 32 disposals and sets up his team really well. Bally Smith, I thought, was really good again today. Good to see him get on the goal scoring list. I think it's something really important for the Bulldogs to see their midfielders kicking goals. So I thought he was terrific. Had 2 scoring assists as well as 8 score involvements from his 26 disposals. So making his disposals count. And then my 3 votes goes to the man who's probably going to leave at the end of the year by that interview, Josh Dunkley, having 29 disposals and kicking 2 goals, 1, and did most things on the ground very well today.
Beautifully done. Thank you, Merv. Thank you to Lids. Thanks to Corby. Thanks to Jeff Swoopster. Thanks to Stu Hollywood-Baker. The Bulldogs winners by 22 points. Let's join our team at the SCG. Brett Sprigg, Daniel Garb, Matt Primus and Callum Sinclair.